Sometimes in life there are moments when you observe the skills of other people, which you can't believe even if you see them in real life. It's an amazing skill to admire. Our hero is tired of being ignored, but his life is changed thanks to this book. When he reads it, everything that is written in it happens to him. Anything can become a miracle. And finally, the secret of the Book of Experience was revealed. The place where he works is a little hard, but nevertheless, he likes this place. The food is delicious, and they make a small income from the elementary school students. But it's not enough, and the cafe is struggling financially. The guy was sleeping on the table. Then the girl hit him on the back and asked why he was sleeping again. She just caught him red-handed. Charlie, 19 years old, they have had little income lately. You could say it's almost non-existent. There are only receipts for expenses and debts. He decided that it would be better if he went into the army after school. Charlie went out and the girl asked if he was going to the bookstore again. The guy said it was a bookstore. The girl asked if now was the best time to read books. Charlie thought about giving up the idea of reading books. He wouldn't even think about it. After all, it was one of the cheap pleasures. The friends met Charlie and the girl said that they were going to Sam's to study English. The guy added, and after school, they wanted to eat somewhere. Charlie answered awkwardly. He was just heading to the bookstore. Then the guy said they couldn't believe someone was still going to the library. He can read books on the internet. But then the blonde guy said, "Don't bother him. He's doing everything right." The boys went forward and Charlie thought, he is bad at many things, and the only thing that makes him happy, this is reading books in a bookstore. Charlie came into the store and said hello. The old man said hello and said, "Charlie is early today." Charlie asked if there were any new books. The old man replied that they were inside and that he should put them in order. It's one of the most beautiful moments. You don't know what's inside when you open it. It feels like you're opening a treasure chest, Charlie said sadly. It looks like there's nothing new today. That's when he noticed that unusual book. Only 2 copies and without even a title. He opened the book, but the pages were blank. Suddenly, the book began to glow, and then an inscription appeared. "Would you like to write down your experience in the Book of Experience?" Charlie thought. What is this? Did he really imagine it? Experience, and he has it. But what will happen if he writes something down in this book? Charlie answered, "Books." Yes. The book lit up again and told Charlie he was the new author of the Book of Experience. After some time, Charlie climbed the mountain, and in this place many thoughts arose in his mind. And special memories come to mind, like the moment Charlie found the book. Charlie continued to climb the mountain when suddenly his foot slipped and Charlie fell rapidly down. Luckily, Charlie managed to grab onto a branch, avoiding falling from a great height. Finally, Charlie reached the top of the mountain and sat down. He took out a book, and she asked him again if he would like to write down his experience in a book. Charlie asked how his experience is recorded. The book answered that when he records it, it turns into experience points. The guy asked how he could get experience points. The book answered by recording his actions. He gets points. Were there other experienced owners of this book? Charlie wondered. He asked. The experience he was getting gave him the opportunity to do some good things. The book answered yes. Charlie asked if all the experiences he would have a positive effect on him. The book answered again yes. Then Charlie thought about his family and asked if the book had a recipe for tteokbokki sauce, which the book didn't have. Charlie wrote down, today he found a copy of this book in a bookstore and signed up for it, so Charlie got experience points. The hero was surprised that it was so easy to get experience points, so he plunged into his memories. It was a winter day, when Charlie was walking through the city and noticed a drunkard. It was deadly cold. The man smelled terrible, Charlie thought. But if you slept in this weather, you could freeze to death. So he decided to call an ambulance, since the road was icy, and the ambulance would arrive later than usual. Charlie took off his jacket and put it on the man, and told him that the ambulance would be here soon, but in the meantime, he should cheer up. Then he just left. Charlie wrote down this experience in the book, and received 2,500 experience points. Then Charlie decided to write something else. Last year, Charlie was walking down the street when he saw a truck flying towards an old man. And Charlie heroically ran to his aid. He was able to save the old man. The car was finally able to stop. There were no casualties. Our hero turned out to be brave and kind. Charlie asked the old man if he was okay, if he was not wounded anywhere. The old man thanked him and said he was okay. He apologized and explained that his hearing had been deteriorating lately, and Charlie asked him to look at the traffic light before crossing the road. Charlie recorded this experience and received 500,000 points, even if it was a unique case. He thinks that a similar experience will give less points than the first one. And now what experience should he write? Charlie took out his botanist, crumbled it, and gave it to the pigeons. Then Charlie thought. Recently, he heard a girl talking about how their house could be taken away as payment for a debt. At this rate, they would be losing money instead of making it. And they also had to send Charlie to college, the boys said. Then Charlie got himself together and thought, first he must save the restaurant. He went down the mountain. And at home he took out the book again. Charlie wrote that he wanted to become a good cook. He used his glasses for this. In the morning, Mom shouted. She had already made him breakfast, so let him eat and go to school. A spasm ran through Charlie as he saw the inscription on the book. He had earned 2,000 points of culinary experience. Charlie felt sleepy after reading the book. In his dream, he gained the experience of the chefs he read about. Then Charlie ran downstairs and got the sauce out of the fridge. He tried the sauce and said, as expected, it was a failure. Dad asked. Failure, Charlie replied. This has become the norm, a very weak taste of spiciness and sweetness. Then he took out the sauces and mixed them, and then his hands cut the daikon perfectly on their own. Mom came running and asked what they were making. This is the sauce they were going to sell. Charlie asked her to try the sauce. Mom tried it and said it was great. Dad tried it too and liked it. Charlie said he had to go to school. Good luck at the restaurant today. Today the restaurant was full. Children were screaming and pushing. My mother said how long the line was. That night Dad said they made $350, and with that rate they could get rich. It's a shame they're short on ingredients. The spicy rice cakes are so good. Charlie looked at the book, and I thought, his culinary skills. Does this situation make any sense at all? What he might write next? Studying, dating, training. Which of these would help him the most? Charlie asked if any learning experience was available. Charlie wrote something down and immediately felt sleepy. Opening his eyes, Charlie found himself in an unknown place. Shurikens flew towards Charlie. Then he used his air manipulation skill to reflect them. However, after the shurikens, Charlie was attacked by bandits, and Charlie skillfully dodged their attacks. Charlie cut the bandits' swords with one hand, then somehow managed to attack all the bandits at once. Suddenly, Charlie opened his eyes and heard his mother calling him. Charlie wondered if it was all a dream. He fell asleep while reading a book. He looked at the book and there was an inscription, Kung Fu Training. Charlie mastered martial arts by helping the Murang group, Charlie thought. So that's why he had that dream. Mom shouted, "Is he dead or something? Let him come down quickly." Then Charlie got up and went to wash himself. He took a shower and saw his reflection in the mirror. Charlie was shocked. His body had completely changed. Then Charlie thought, when he dreamed about becoming a chef, his culinary skills improved. After the dream where he was a student, his body also changed. Did he really have to sleep to gain experience? No, he gained experience by reading books to adapt. His body needs sleep, that's all. The Book of Experience gives Charlie answers to his questions about experience. But there is no information about how to be the master of the book. The air manipulation in his dream was the ability of the Mudong group. Apparently Charlie had become stronger. He noticed a can on the road and hit it. The can flew far ahead. Just as Charlie was thinking that maybe he should try playing football, he felt someone sneaking up behind him. Then he quickly dodged. The guy fell on the asphalt. It turned out that it was Charlie's friend. Ian asked why he dodged him. His nose was bleeding. Charlie asked if Ian had jumped on him first. Then Ian asked Charlie if he had good reflexes. How could he dodge like that? Charlie wondered if he had actually become stronger. At school, Ian told Charlie it was time to go eat. Charlie asked him to wait and took something out of the drawer. Ian asked what he took. Charlie said salt, sugar, and pepper. Ian asked why he needed them. Charlie replied, "Ian knows that lunch isn't very tasty." Ian replied, "It seems okay." Then Charlie said he thought so too. They came to the dining room and Ian was very happy with the dinner. And Charlie thought he usually liked this menu. Only here the pork has a normal taste. It's at least edible. His sense of taste has changed a lot. This lunch shouldn't taste as good as it used to. He understands that now. Charlie sighed. The guys called Charlie and the girl offered to sit with them. Ian quickly sat down at the table. And Charlie continued to stand. Ian asked why he was standing there. Let him sit down already. The girl again suggested having something to eat together. But the blonde was unhappy. Apparently he was irritated that the girl was talking so nicely to Charlie. Charlie noticed this. Hell stood up and the girl asked where he was going. Hell replied that he had lost his appetite. Ian asked if he could have his portion. Hell refused him. And the girl asked Charlie not to be offended. Charlie started eating, as expected. He didn't like the taste of the food at all. So he took out some salt and sprinkled it on the food. Ian asked why he had ground the salt. Charlie replied that it would have melted on its own. But since the food was cold, it would have taken time. The guy said, "This lunch is delicious as it is. Why does Charlie want to ruin it?" Charlie replied, "Quantity over quality." Then Ian said he wanted to try it. Wanted to see if it would change the taste. Ian only tried a little bit and immediately shouted, "This is excellent," but that's all Charlie did. "It's just adding salt and pepper, but the taste is completely different," Charlie replied. If the food doesn't taste good, then the problem is in the seasonings. All he did was increase the sunniness and spiciness. Ian asked if that was all it took to change the taste. Charlie replied, "The difference between a glass of water pouring out and not pouring out." Ian asked what it was. Charlie replied, "It's just 1 drop of water." All he did was add 1 drop of flavor, and the girl handed over the tray and asked him to do the same for her. Meanwhile, Hell asked his older friend about something. Hell asked his friend, "He understands what they are talking about." The guy wasn't sure, so Hell said it was okay, but he wasn't going to force him. Suddenly a girl ran up to them and called for Hell. Then Hell told the elder that he could go, and the girl said, "Charlie seasons the food in the cafeteria, and people go crazy for her." The first person he approached was Gina. Hell asked why she came here. She should have enjoyed lunch with them. The girl answered in confusion. She wanted to eat with him. Then Hell stood up and asked why he would dine with her. "This is what makes him lose his appetite," the guy added before leaving. The next lesson began. At their school they learn Judo during physical education. Their elders teach them Judo. The scariest of them all was Hank. He shouted to the boys to watch their movements. They had to move quickly. Hank was glaring at Charlie. Hell's voice was in his head. Hell was asking. Hank was going to elite judo college, wasn't he? He won't be able to get into such a college with his current skills. His father is the chairman of the college. Then Hank yelled at Charlie what a terrible stance that was. Charlie was surprised and said his stance was correct. Ian said yes, that seemed right. But Hank shouted, "Why is he being so rude to him? Let him come forward." The boys started talking about what was wrong with him. Why was the older one acting like that? Did Charlie do something wrong? Suddenly Hank told Charlie to get ready for sparring. Everyone was surprised. Ian thought Charlie was about to be turned into a pancake. Hell told Hank if he wanted to go to college, he had to listen to his request. Hank told Charlie he wasn't going to be a small fry like Charlie now. Especially in his own hall, Hank was determined to destroy Charlie in order to dishonestly get into college. Hank thought that Charlie should be given away, so that he could not walk with his head held high. But his plan didn't work. Charlie was able to turn his body and fall on his back in such a situation. While Hank was thinking, "This must be a lucky break," Charlie stood up and said, "This wasn't fair." The guys supported him. They shouted at the same time, "It was unfair. How could this be?" Hank yelled at them, and the boys quieted down, and Charlie asked the older one to fight him again. The guys supported Charlie again. They shouted, "Charlie is really brave, go ahead." And Hank was thinking, "Where does all this confidence come from?" Gina suddenly shouted at Charlie, "Don't do this." The other girls asked her if she was worried about Charlie, and Hank told Charlie, "Okay, let her go to him, or he'll come running himself." Hank ran and grabbed Charlie by the uniform. The boys were screaming. The older one was too rude. Gina was worried, and the Malfoy double was gloating. However, Charlie did not feel like he would lose. He was confident in himself. Charlie freed himself from his grip and threw the older man over himself, Hank hitting his head hard on the floor. The boys started shouting, "Did he hit the older one? What just happened? Did Charlie win?" It's true. Charlie is so cool, only Hell was unhappy and Charlie was still in shock. He thought he had just used air manipulation on Hank, and Hank was still lying on the field. He thought he had just lost to this bastard. He was shaking all over, and yet he got up. The guys screamed, "Another round." Charlie thought he didn't win because of luck, so he could win again. But Hell suddenly screamed at the top of his voice, "No more sparring." He told him to stop. Hank obediently stopped. Even so, Hank was still shaking from shock. After school, everyone was going home and Gina continued to think about something. Then Hell approached her. Hell said he wanted to talk to her about something. Gina asked what it was. Then Hell asked, "What does she feel for him?" Gina answered confusedly, "Of course, they are just friends." But the answer did not satisfy Hell. He said it straight out, but he wants more. Gina felt uncomfortable and asked him to stop joking like that. However, Hell continued to press. He said he didn't want to interfere and see what would happen, but he didn't like that she was getting close to Charlie. Gina replied, "He and Charlie are both his friends, so why does he think so?" Hell stated, "Because he chose her." He brazenly approached her and said, "She is his woman, so stop communicating with others. He doesn't like it even more when she eats with them." Gina asked him to stop or she would get angry, but Hell just smirked. Then Gina asked him why he thought she wouldn't be mad at him just because he was handsome, smart, and a good student. She admits that he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Many are crazy about him. Hell asked what about her. Did she like him? Gina answered straight out, "No, she didn't like him." Hell asked why. Gina replied that she didn't like his excessive possessiveness. He didn't even have an ounce of attentiveness. That's why he made many girls cry, but she has no desire to become his property. She left, and Hell wondered by whose permission he would never allow the woman he chose to leave. Gina came to Charlie's family restaurant. Her mother asked what she was doing there. Judging by her uniform, she was from Charlie's school. She bowed and said she was Charlie's friend and classmate. Jeannie called Charlie's mother, Mother. Charlie's mom asked, Mom? Why is she her mom? Then Gina got embarrassed and blushed. Charlie's mom laughed. Dad came up and asked who this was. Charlie's girl. This guy is just like his dad, right? Mom yelled at him to shut up and go fry potatoes or something, Gina asked awkwardly, and Charlie wasn't home yet. Then my mother replied that he was most likely in the library now. Let him come in, he should be here soon anyway, so let him eat while he waits. Charlie was actually in the library. He was reading a book and he thought, there are even these kinds of books here. The book, The Wang Family Diary, was written based on the sayings and mottos of the Wang family. If someone is in a higher position, then he must look after those. Those below his position and those in low positions must focus on only one goal at hand, the old man asked. Does Charlie even understand what is written there? Charlie answered uncertainly, yes. Then the old man said. He was sure that the book in his hand was written in Chinese. Charlie himself didn't seem to notice that he was reading a book in another language, but it wasn't Chinese, but Elvish. Charlie suddenly said out loud, Book of Experience. Then the old man asked what was he talking about? And Charlie said in confusion, nothing. Charlie could easily read the Wang Family Diary. He understands not only the symbols, but also the meaning of what he reads. This is the learning experience from Myung. For him, reading Chinese symbols would be as easy as pie. Thanks to his background in Chinese, Charlie could read Chinese characters fluently, he thought. If he can read and write Chinese, does that mean he can speak it? He tried to think of words in Chinese that he could say in English, but he still couldn't come up with anything concrete. Apparently he needed some kind of trigger for it to work. Charlie came home and saw Gina. Mom said not to misunderstand them. It was just Gina who insisted on helping. Charlie asked what she was doing there. Was something wrong? Maybe she wanted some spicy rice cakes. Gina blushed and said uncertainly, No, it's okay, she'd better go, she's ready. She said goodbye to Charlie's mother. Her mother asked Gina to get home more carefully. Gina thanked them for letting her stay. Dad told her to come again. Gina left, and Charlie asked why she was there. Then Dad shouted, Charlie is an idiot. He actually thinks she came here to eat cakes. She came here to see him. Charlie asked why. The guy shouted, I mean why? Because she likes him. He should be more attentive to women's feelings. But let him remember that personality is much more important than appearance. His father fell in love with his mother's face. In the end, this is what it led to. His mother hit him and shouted at him for teaching their son. Gina sighed, thinking, after all, she didn't say anything. But strangely enough, she felt happy. Scientific analysis, it sees the effect of physical improvement. But then what exactly does scientific analysis give? Today, during the lesson, he still didn't feel any difference. And the difficult topics didn't become any easier either. If physical improvement affects the body, then scientific analysis should somehow affect his academic abilities. This is also like physical improvement, super taste and knife master. One of the types of experience. But if you compare it with games, then perhaps it is similar to passive skills. The results from the super taste and the knife master were obvious. But as for the scientific analysis, he can't figure out what it's for. He definitely has some kind of effect, scientific analysis. Maybe if he hears something, he will be able to learn it. Charlie solved the equation. He wondered if he had really solved it. He knew from the first glance that it was a difficult problem. There are more letters than numbers here, but he solved it, he understood, scientific analysis. He analyzes and understands what he learned and does not forget it. But he suddenly froze and thought he can't solve the problem that he solved before. Charlie thought about it for a moment, and then realized that he hadn't covered this topic yet, so it wouldn't work with topics he hadn't covered before. Even if he reads the next topic, it does not mean that he will understand it completely. Then it is worth concentrating and repeating this topic from the very beginning. All the rules and examples that the teacher gives from the book. So this might mean that he can become the best student in school. I wonder how his parents will react to that. That he would become the best student in school? He studied hard and very diligently. Who knew? Studying can be interesting, especially when you understand all the material the first time. So now he has started writing. Even if it is not very much, the reserves still bring experience. The book said he wrote down a normal dating experience and got 25 points. Suddenly he remembered the diary. Charlie decided to search for the Wang Family Diary online, but there were no results. He thought it was a famous book, or something like that, but it seems he was wrong. I wonder what will happen if he writes that he took the Wang Family Diary from the library. And now he can read Chinese characters, the book told. He wrote down the experience of finding the diary of the noble Wang family, and received 2,500 points. The notes about Charlie saving a man and reading some diary gave him 2,500 points. But how did he get so many points just by finding the diary of the noble Wang family? He actually thought that the things said in that diary were very good and correct. He thought they were very good at first. He didn't know anything about Chinese characters. So what right did he have to judge what was written there? The next day, Charlie returned to school, and all the girls noticed that Charlie had changed somehow. He looks completely different. You can flirt with him, although you shouldn't. Charlie came into the classroom. Suddenly the firecracker exploded. Charlie asked what was going on. Ian happily greeted Charlie. And he asked if he hadn't noticed how the girls were looking at him while he was walking here, had he? After Charlie defeated the leader of the Judo club, his ranking rose and Charlie became a hero. Charlie said awkwardly, he didn't win then, that was it. But Ian jumped on Charlie with a hug and said he was so glad Charlie was his friend. Hell said let them stop their annoying chatter. They were interfering with his studies. Ian wanted to say something, but Hell interrupted him and said he told him to shut up. Later, the class teacher came forward and asked everyone to calm down, and asked everyone to bring their things. The children answered yes. Then the teacher said he wanted them to draw any plant. The teacher walked past the desks and stopped at Charlie's desk, dedicating the bamboo and its stem. It is said that the refined bamboo is the dedicated disciple, and the bamboo stalk is the disciple's mind. He can confidently say that the tree drawing is also magnificent. But Charlie didn't even use a candle to write. The teacher asked what outstanding calligraphy was. Where did Charlie learn it? Charlie replied, from a book. Then the teacher asked, only from the book? Charlie answered. Yes, the teacher thought. He could write it with an ordinary brush. The teacher asked Charlie to come to the art class after lunch. Sure, Charlie replied. Okay. Ian asked why the art teacher had called him. Had he really asked him to draw something lewd? Charlie replied, no, nothing like that. They were walking to the dining room and Ian asked what it was. It looked like a thermos. Charlie replied, yes. As soon as they entered the dining room, the girls all ran to Charlie with trays. Each one asked Charlie to season their food. Ian stopped them and asked them to stand in a line. Then Charlie said, he's not a cook. How can he continue to season their food? He apologized and went to the table with Gina, then asked her to try it. He took out a thermos. They were spicy rice cakes. Charlie said the taste would change if they got cold, so he brought them in a thermos. Gina said sheepishly that he didn't have to do that. Charlie replied that yesterday she was just helping. He wasn't feeling well, so he brought them. Ian asked if he could season the food with them then, but the girls didn't need him. Gina and Charlie were having lunch together, the girl said with displeasure. She knew that sooner or later he would make his move. The guy asked what was wrong, they looked good together, and then asked where Hell was. The girl replied that he didn't want to see this, so he didn't come on purpose. Then the fat man asked, so Hell refused Gina. The guy laughed and said, no, that can't be. They know Hell. He can't stand it when someone tries to take anything from him. The art teacher went to the principal, and the principal offered him a cup of coffee. But the teacher said, instead of coffee. He asked the principal to look at it. He gave Charlie's drawing to the principal, and he looked at it. The teacher asked if such an expert as the director could not see outstanding calligraphy here. The director asked how he could call himself a professional only after a few calligraphy lessons from his grandfather. However, it doesn't look like it's printer ink, the teacher asked. It looks like it was written recently. The principal asked if it was the teacher who wrote this. The teacher replied, no, it wasn't him, but his student from the art class. And he did it with a simple paintbrush. The principal said, there is no reason not to meet a student with such magnificent calligraphy. Charlie was waiting for the teacher in the classroom and wondering when the art teacher would come. The lesson would start soon, and then the principal and the teacher came in. Then Charlie bowed to them, and the director asked if he was Charlie, and Charlie replied, yes. The principal asked, so he heard that Charlie was a wonderful calligrapher, the teacher said. The principal saw his work and praised it highly. Then the director took out a piece of paper and asked if he could watch Charlie write. The teacher took out the ink, and the director said that for calligraphy, the ink must be rubbed by the one who writes. Then Charlie took the ink in his hands and wondered if ink always felt like this. They had calligraphy lessons in art class before, so he knows how to rub ink, but this is the first time he holds it so naturally. His mind seems to become calm and steady as he grinds the rough ink into a soft liquid. The principal thought what an amazing level of concentration. He remembered how the teacher said that everything starts with rubbing the ink. He learned calligraphy from his grandfather, who won first place in the Joseon Dynasty national examinations, so he was proud of having a deep knowledge of the art of calligraphy. But to become a master, it takes a master. Charlie asked what he should write. The director suggested that Charlie write a phrase that he liked. Since he remembered the phrase that was in the diary, listening comprehension. One can earn the trust of another by listening to him. The director said the handwriting itself is bold and rich, yet at the same time has a touch of elegance. Plus the free and clean strokes. What a wonderful feeling. It's almost like looking at Wang Mungen's own work. Charlie heard a familiar name. The director asked who taught Charlie calligraphy. Charlie replied that he learned it by reading books. The principal was surprised and asked if Charlie had only read books and had never taken lessons from a teacher or other adults. He said it was very difficult to learn calligraphy to this level on your own. How commendable. The director handed over the money and said it was for the calligraphy. Charlie replied no need. But the director insisted and said he insists. This money is not from the teacher. It is from someone who appreciates calligraphy and wants to thank him for such a masterpiece. It would be great if they continue writing calligraphy in the future. The bell rang and the principal said it looked like the lesson was about to start. He can go. Charlie bowed and left, and the principal said, "Great phrase." The teacher asked what it meant. The director replied that this means that in order to earn the trust of another, one must listen carefully to the other. When he does not impose his judgments on another, he can listen, understand the topics, ideas that the person likes, and on the basis of this continue the conversation, or whatever. The principal asked the teacher to take a photo of him and let him focus on the calligraphy and not on him. The teacher said he also had a lesson and left, and the principal told his friends he wanted to share this wonderful work he had recently acquired. The more he looks at her, the more she fascinates him. Friends responded to his message. His friends wrote that the handwriting was amazing. They wanted to see it in person. The director laughed and thought, it seems they are more interested than he is. During class, Charlie kept thinking about the name Wang Moon-gen. Maybe this is the person who wrote the Wang family diary. Whether the author copied Wang Moon-gen's handwriting, and whether this person was famous, Charlie decided to look him up on the internet. He found little information about this man. It seems there is little information about him since he is Chinese. After that, Charlie Googled the price of Han Sun's calligraphy work, and it was around $7 million. The parents said that Charlie has exams starting today. Good luck. Let him get good grades. Charlie went to school thinking this was the first time he had ever waited for exams to start. Now he was sure. Looking at the sheet, Charlie thought, it's not that hard. He asked his mother to wait a little. He will give her the accepted gift. The exam was over. The kids were shouting joyfully. The exams were finally over, although there will be more tomorrow. Gina approached Charlie and asked how he wrote his exams. Charlie answered uncertainly. He thought it was not bad. The boys said he definitely looked over his test paper until his eyes popped. Anyway, the one who will get the best grade has already been determined. Isn't it, Mr. Best Student Hell? Second will be Gina, and Charlie will be in the middle of the list with average scores, as always. Hell called out to Gina, but she quickly turned around and taking Charlie's hand walked out of the school. Gina asked if they could go to the library together. They could study for tomorrow's exams together. Charlie apologized and said that he would study at home. Then Gina asked if maybe they could go for a walk after the exams. And Charlie answered of course. Gina was happy and said, then she would go. See you later. The teacher was checking the answers when the math teacher came up to him and said that a student from his class had received the highest mark in math. Then teacher Chan said, it must be Hell. He's the best student in the class and always gets the highest grade, so it's not surprising. But the mathematician said, no, it's not him, it's not Hool this time who got the highest score. The next day, the class teacher said that today he would be the examiner at their exams. Ian said, shouldn't the examiners be the subject teachers? But why is it the class teacher today? The teacher reminded them that cheating was prohibited, and if they were caught, their work would not be counted. Charlie thought, well, English will be first today. He can figure it out. Charlie started writing. The teacher looked at his answers and thought, he asked the English teacher for the answers in advance and learned them before coming here. And while all of Charlie's answers are correct, the exams are over and the kids rush to look at the results. Everyone was shocked because Charlie got the highest score in all subjects, 300. Hell was annoyed at second place. Ian hugged Charlie and said he knew Charlie could do it. It was not for nothing that he put so much effort into his training. The guys said what Ian was talking about. He took 5th place from the bottom. Gina came up and congratulated Charlie, then asked if Charlie seemed to be studying very hard. Suddenly, some lout pushed Gina out of the way and called out to Charlie. It was Kim, the main bully of their school. Kim asked, Charlie cheated? He thinks he can be the best student in school. Charlie cheated, didn't he? Let him tell him how Charlie did it so he can do the same, Kim ordered. Then Charlie brushed his hand away and said, there is no secret or method here, so let him take his hand away. Kim got angry and said Charlie just hit him. Is the kid crazy that Charlie is now in first place? It seems Charlie thought that he was now allowed to do anything. The guys started talking. They were going to fight. Hell was very pleased with the situation. The fat man said that if he interfered, he would get it too. If this continued, Charlie might not be able to walk home on his own, and Gina was very worried. Kim grabbed Charlie by the shirt and swung, but Charlie easily dodged the blow. Then Charlie himself hit the guy in the side. The The hooligan didn't expect that, and neither did the others. Everyone froze for a couple of seconds and looked at them. Then Charlie said he didn't cheat. The bully attacked Charlie again, but he easily dodged and then tripped him, causing the bully to fall. The boys shouted, "Could Charlie really defeat this tyrant?" It turns out that his defeat of the judo captain was no accident. Then Charlie walked up to the bully and repeated again, "He never cheated." The bully trembled with fear. Then Charlie walked out of the classroom. Ian asked him to wait, and the boys were still in shock. Charlie sat down to rest and wondered if maybe he should have answered a couple of questions incorrectly. He asked if Ian also thought he cheated on his exams. Ian replied, "He didn't say anything, did he?" Charlie may or may not have had something more important to do. Charlie asked what the important thing was. Ian grabbed him and said, Charlie could have helped him cheat as well, but instead he passed with flying colors and left his friend behind. Charlie returned home and saw that the restaurant was already closed, so he went upstairs to the house. As soon as he entered the house, his mother jumped on him with a scream, her wonderful son. She found out that Charlie had gotten first place in the rankings among the entire school. Charlie asked how they found out. Mom answered. His class teacher called them. He said that Charlie got first place and asked to cook some tasty food for him. Dad said, "The teacher said he was very proud of him," Charlie asked, "and they don't doubt him." Then Dad asked why they should doubt him. Charlie replied, "What if he cheated or something?" Dad said, "He went to school too. You can't get first place by cheating alone. It's impossible. Even when he memorized the answers to tests, he always made a few mistakes. And besides, his dad trusts his son." Dad said they were going out to eat today. It was the first time in a long time. When he went out to eat and his expectations were high, the food was, to put it mildly, tasteless. Due to the super taste, the pork ribs he loved were tasteless. However, he could not complain since his parents enjoyed their dinner. And thanks to this situation, he learned something new. You can eat food just for the taste, but who you eat it with is much more important. Soon after the exams, the holidays came and a very awkward situation arose. His first date with a girl. What should he do? Isn't he taking too long to wash his hair? This is already the third time he's washed his hair, Charlie thought. But then Charlie remembered Gina and decided, although it was strange, he didn't think it would hurt. The boys went to an amusement park after they met, then they had lunch together. And they watched a movie, then they were in a cafe, then Gina said that she felt like something was missing. Then Charlie said he would try and improve the taste a little. But Gina said she didn't mean juice. Charlie asked. Then what? Gina asked. They didn't hold hands today. It's a little upsetting. They walked out of the cafe and Gina took Charlie's hand, then asked if she could hold his hand. Charlie blushed and said of course. At that moment Charlie thought the grasshoppers were chirping louder than usual. Summer heat, a young couple in the woods. Charlie pulled Gina towards him and kissed her. She hugged him and kissed him back. However, it was all just a dream. Charlie opened his eyes and realized that he had been kissing his pillow the whole time. Charlie jumped out and said why he was having such dreams. They were just holding hands. The next day, Charlie knocked and the director allowed him to come in. Then Charlie came in and said hello. Charlie said, even though they were on vacation, the principal still came to school. The principal showed the posters and asked if they were his work. How were they Charlie's? And Charlie said he thought they were great, so the director asked if Charlie was busy right now. Charlie asked why, something happened. The director said there would be a literary club meeting later. He would be glad if Charlie could join them. They all want to meet him. Charlie replied, okay, and then asked, does the director know Wang Mun-gen? Then the director asked. It's because he said their handwriting is similar. Wang Mun-gen was a famous scholar in Teng. His sentences are short, but at the same time elegant and beautiful. This book contains several works of Wang Mun-gen. Charlie said it was a very old book. The director said there were similar books that had been published recently. But when you read his works like this, they seem more meaningful. And this is certainly what Wang's handwriting looks like. Let Charlie take it and read it. Charlie thanked him. They went out and Charlie asked if Wang was also known as Han Sen. The director replied, yes, of course, he was one of the best among all calligraphers in Teng. Charlie asked how much his work might be worth. The director said, it is not good to evaluate the importance of work in money. But he thinks it would be worth several million won. Charlie asked, what if this book was written by Van Mun himself? The director asked if it was something that Wang Mun himself wrote. It would cost about 1 billion won. Since it is not so well known here, it is only that much. In China, it would cost much more. They arrived and Charlie asked if this was his house. The director laughed and said that with his current salary, it was simply impossible. This is the restaurant they chose for the meeting. They walked in and the manager said, it looks like he was the last one to arrive. The old man said he's always late. The director said this is the guy he was talking about. Mr. Charlie, Charlie thought then. He suddenly felt old. But then all the old people stood up and bowed to him. Charlie became embarrassed and quickly bowed. then introduced himself. The director laughed and said, "There is no need to strain yourself so much." The old man said, "How can they talk informally with such a wonderful calligrapher?" The director said he hadn't thought about it. He hoped Mr. Charlie would forgive him for being rude. Charlie was embarrassed. They finally sat down at the table, and the director asked Charlie to eat a little and wait a little. Charlie tried it, and it was delicious. This is the first time food tastes good after he got the super taste. It is not too sweet and a little spicy, and the tea has a delicate taste, like the sweet scent of flowers. Suddenly the director took out Charlie's calligraphy, which surprised him very much. He wondered why the director brought it here. The man asked if Charlie was okay, and Charlie said she was okay, and then a girl came and took the cup away. Charlie said he would finish the tea, but the girl said she would bring him another glass of tea. Looking at the girl, Charlie blushed, thinking that she was cuter than most of the stars. And the men looked at Charlie's calligraphy and said that the smell of ink was very light, and that this calligraphy looked much better in real life. He referred to Wang Moongen's calligraphy. Obviously he studied well. He is self-taught, the director added. The man asked if he could ask him to write something. Charlie said yes. Charlie asked the director what he should write. Then the director asked the man if he had any suggestions. The man shouted, "Loyalty and patriotism." The director asked. The soldier's spirit awakened. Then the man became embarrassed and quietly asked Charlie to write about loyalty and patriotism, to repay his country with loyalty. It is said that General Yue's mother, who was a commander and scholar in the southern Song dynasty, wrote this on his back. Loyalty is as sharp as a sword. Patriotism is as calm as a lake. Loyalty is the soul of a warrior. Patriotism is the heart of a scholar. The men said what beautiful calligraphy it was. Excellent. It suited a soldier like him. Then the soldier asked Charlie if he had a signature. Charlie replied that he didn't have one. The soldier asked him to write his name in Chinese at the bottom. The director explained to Charlie that it was the law to sign your work, and that you had to write your name in Chinese characters. The soldier hung the calligraphy on the wall and said he would feed them lunch. The men laughed and asked if their lunch hadn't already been paid for. The director asked what they thought Mr. Charlie's calligraphy was good. The men clapped Charlie and said, "Very good indeed." The man told Charlie that if he got sick or needed an examination, he should come to the hospital where he worked. He will give them a free examination for his beautiful calligraphy, the soldier said. He will also give them his business card. Charlie didn't understand anything at first. He turned the business card over and saw the inscription, Lieutenant General of the Second Corps. Others also gave their business cards to Charlie. One of them was a Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, another a former Minister of the Ministry of Culture and Sports. Charlie thought the director had such good connections. The director offered to eat. The food arrived and Charlie thought, taste is important, but you can't forget about form and aroma. It looks delicious, but so little. The girls said they will bring food until they are full, so they can eat as much as they want. Charlie started eating and thought, very tasty. The beef and radish soup is very spicy and aromatic. Then Charlie took a perilla leaf and tried it. But he found the taste very strange, so he spat it out. The girl immediately noticed this and apologized, then took the plate and returned to the kitchen. Yang Tong's Pure Silver is a membership restaurant, so there aren't many customers, and if there is a problem, it's dealt with right away. Since it is a high-class restaurant, the girl said, the customers spat out the perilla leaves while eating. The cook tried the leaf and asked if he liked the rest. The girl answered, yes. The customer liked everything except the perilla leaves. The men were discussing and laughing, and Charlie was enjoying his tea. Then the girl returned. She put something on the table and said, "This is the food they asked for," the director said to Charlie. He seemed to like the food. Let him treat his parents to it. Charlie thanked him. Then the old man came to them. The director greeted the boss and said that they hadn't seen each other for a long time. The old man said that he was glad that they always came to see them. Then the director asked if the chef still checked the identity of the guests. The old man answered, "No. His granddaughter does it for him." "One of today's dishes was spoiled," the old people said, "but they enjoyed the dinner." The boss replied, "Yes. The problem was in the perilla leaves," the director asked. "Couldn't it be? Were they rotten?" And the boss replied, "No. The problem is in his taste. Today's lunch is at their expense," the director said. "Today the soldier should have paid." The soldier said that next time he would arrange a good dinner for them, and that Charlie should definitely come. The director said he was looking forward to their next meeting. The chef said next time he would prepare them a decent meal. They went out and the boss said he heard Charlie didn't like the perilla leaves. Charlie said there was no need to speak to him formally. He can address him as his grandson. The boss asked not to make him feel awkward. He asked if the leaves tasted strange. Could he ask what was wrong? Charlie replied, "The taste was a bit nasty." The chef said, "Yes, it did taste disgusting. Charlie has an amazing sense of taste." Charlie said tiredly, "Because of his taste, it is really difficult for him to eat," the boss asked. If he has such high standards of taste, then Charlie is constantly forced to eat bad food. Charlie replied that he always carries it with him. The food in the school cafeteria is disgusting, so he seasons it. The chef asked if the taste of the food changed much after seasoning it. Charlie replied that maybe that was just all he could do. Then the boss gave me his business card and said that he could call him if he wanted to meet in person. Charlie thanked them and bowed. The girl said goodbye to him, and Charlie left. The boss said he was a very unusual child. The girl said she thought so too. Then the boss said he noticed that his granddaughter could not take her eyes off him. The girl said he is a student, and she is a student. In the car, the principal asked Charlie if the food in the school cafeteria was disgusting. Charlie said uncertainly, "No, she's not that bad." The director said he just needed to know, and Charlie replied, "A little." In a restaurant, an old man kicked the cook and asked him if he called himself a chef. But he still hadn't learned how to cook well. The cook apologized. The old man asked why he decided to add perilla leaves. The cook replied to enhance and improve the taste of the food. "It's not a main dish, but his goal was to balance the meal," the old man asked, and he calls it the right decision. Charlie came home. Charlie asked if they closed the cafe early. Dad replied that the schools were on holiday. That's why they closed early. Then Charlie put the food on the table and Dad asked what it was. Charlie replied that it was food from the restaurant where he was with the director. "It's very tasty," Mom said. Then he should eat it himself. She tried the food, and she said it was so delicious. Dad tried it too and asked if there was such a good restaurant nearby. Charlie walked into the room and thought, elementary school students are their main customers, but they are on vacation now. How could he help them while staying at home? What should he do? Then he looked at the book, and he asked if he could get a lot of money if he sold it, although they were not bankrupt. Moreover, he is not the owner of the book. He bought it for 1,001, but he should return it to the owner of the bookstore. But how can he make money by cooking? The whole business aimed at school children experiences difficulties during the holidays. Maybe he's worrying for nothing. His parents have a day off so they can rest. In the morning, Charlie got a call. He asked what happened. Charlie was asked to come to the charity center. Charlie asked why. Ian asked, why? Community service. Isn't he planning on volunteering this summer? Then Charlie asked how many hours he had already worked. 16 hours, so he was already finished. Ian replied, yes, he had finished. Charlie asked, then why did he continue to do it? Ian replied, volunteering comes from the heart. He's going to continue. Let him come if he wants. Charlie replied, okay, he'll come. Probably. Charlie got dressed and ran out into the street. He noticed the old man and said hello, then came closer. And he asked why he was looking at the wall. The man replied, because this wall looks terrible. But to tear it down and build a new one would take a lot of time and money. Suddenly Charlie asked, what about the drawing on the wall? He thinks it would be nice if it was painted, Charlie said. The man asked, but what to paint on it? Charlie said, well, it's at eye level with the younger students. The man asked, who will draw it? Charlie replied, him. The man asked if he had heard that Charlie had won first place in school. But could he draw? Charlie asked to trust him with it. Then the man said that if he didn't like it, Charlie would have to erase it all. Later, Charlie started drawing and called his friend. He said that he would come starting from tomorrow. Something came up. A friend said tomorrow is Saturday, so they'll see each other on Monday. Charlie thought he would first draw the background and then one of the Avengers. The man returned and saw the drawing. He was shocked. Charlie asked how he felt. The man replied, yes, he is just like the real thing. On Monday, Charlie came to the charity center with a friend, who introduced him to a girl. The girl said that it had been hard for her lately because there were no volunteers. Then she introduced herself. Her name is Yuna. Charlie looked at his friend and thought, volunteering. Yes, it really does come from the heart. Noticing how he blushed. Yuna asked if she had to go to the orphanage today. They didn't mind. Her friend shouted, no, they would be happy to accompany her. Then Yuna patted him on the head and said, Jung is so cute. Ian said he would do whatever she asked. Charlie looked at his friend and thought, he is like a dog serving his mistress. Yuna asked if they could take those boxes to the car. Ian quickly picked them up and said, yes, ma'am. The girl offered to take them together. Charlie and his friend went out, and Ian asked if it was possible to marry someone who had the same last name as you. Charlie replied, he doesn't know. Then Ian said, it's in the past. Charlie asked what he was talking about. Ian said sheepishly, the laws have changed. Now marriage is allowed even if the last names are the same. Charlie asked if she was the same age as his older sister. Ian replied, well, yeah. Then Charlie told his friend that even without the age difference, he had little chance of coming to terms with it. But Ian said he was ready to die for her. Yuna said, even though they are young, the two of them are very strong. This is very convenient. Ian asked to entrust this to him. Then Ian asked if he could drive, but Yuna said no. She had been driving for 3 years already. Charlie wanted to get into the car, but Ian ran to him and shouted that he would get in there. Charlie just laughed. And I thought, it looks like Ian is going through adolescence too. Ian was happy that he was sitting next to her. Charlie asked if this was her car. Ian got angry that he was talking to her, and Yuna calmly replied, yes. Then Charlie asked why a truck. Yuna replied because a truck was perfect for her job. They arrived, and Yuna asked if they could get the boxes out of the truck. Ian said she could trust him with everything. The boys lifted the boxes, and Ian asked Charlie to hurry up. Charlie asked, and Ian was not tired. Then Ian said cheerfully that he could do anything for Yuna. Charlie thought that he seemed to be in love. As soon as they put the boxes down, the children ran forward and shouted, "Sweets!" The girl handed Charlie a box of milk as a token of gratitude, and Charlie thanked her. They finished and got into the car. Yuna asked where Charlie lived. Charlie replied, opposite the elementary school. Yuna said they were done for the day, so she would take them home. The boys earned 3 hours of volunteering. They arrived at Charlie's neighborhood and saw the drawings on the wall that Charlie had made on Friday. Yuna took a photo of the drawings and said she had seen a wall similar to this one when she was traveling in France. Charlie asked if she knew anything about paintings. Yuna replied that she wouldn't say so. She's just beautiful. She really likes it. Yuna asked, wondering who painted it. She hadn't seen it before. Charlie said he painted the picture. Then Yuna happily said, "It seems he draws well," Charlie replied, "just a little." Yuna asked how long it took him. Charlie replied 2 days. He even got paid a little for these drawings. Charlie laughed, and Yuna thought about something and asked if Charlie could come by tomorrow at 9. Then Charlie asked why. Yuna answered, because his talent could be useful. Charlie replied, "Okay, he will come, because he still needs to get enough volunteer hours." Suddenly, a car stopped nearby, and the girl from the restaurant got out of it. Charlie asked what brought her here. The girl replied that she was here to return the container. Then Charlie wondered if it was a gift. Then he apologized for speaking to her informally. The girl replied, "It's okay. They're not in a restaurant right now to be formal, right?" Ian asked Charlie who she was, his friend. Then the girl came closer and asked, the two of them, who like older girls. Charlie asked what she was talking about. Yuna works at a charity center. Charlie said he would bring her the container if she waited a little, but the girl refused. She told him to bring it himself next week, then got into the car and drove away. Then Ian asked who this girl was. She was so cool, but immediately remembered Yuna. And Charlie said, "But Yuna is much nicer than her, of course." Then he left with Yuna. Charlie said goodbye to them. The next day, Charlie came to the charity center as promised, and Yuna asked how he was doing. She uploaded a photo of Charlie's drawing and asked if Charlie liked it. He said yes, it looks good. Yuna said people would like to know the author of the work and asked if Charlie would mind telling them. Charlie didn't mind, so Yuna wrote his name down. Then they went outside and Yuna said it was time to work. "We had to take all this to the truck. There was a lot of paint in the warehouse, and Charlie asked if they would paint. Yuna said that we could draw something on the walls of the orphanage, because they look so boring and sad. Ian asked if the neighbors would mind. Yuna replied that she just wanted it to look better. Then Young said all these paints were bought by Yuna. Charlie asked why. Ian answered because she is an angel. Charlie thought, even if she is not an angel, she is still a good person. They took the paints to the orphanage. The director came to them and Yuna greeted him, then asked if the director wanted them to draw something specific. And the director said no, he just wants it to be warm and bright. Charlie asked, "Is he a Christian?" The man replied, "Yes, of course. An orphanage is a place built on faith." Charlie then asked, "What about the portrait of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus?" Charlie added that he would like to borrow 2 pairs of clothes that could be thrown away later, if that was possible. The director replied, "No problem." Yuna said she had things to do, so she would go and feed them lunch later. Ian wanted to leave with Yuna, but she said he had to help Charlie, so he happily shouted, "Yes, of course." Later, Yuna came back and wondered how they were doing. Then she saw a beautiful picture. She reminded Yuna of her deceased mother. Yuna went into the dining room and asked if they were already eating. Ian asked if she had already had lunch. Yuna replied that she wanted to treat them. Then the worker said, "Charlie cooks very well." Yuna asked if he cooked this. Charlie replied, "Just the side dish." The worker put a tray of food down for Yuna, and Ian said, "Charlie cooked it. Let her try it." Yuna tried it and said it was so delicious. Charlie stood up and said he would go and finish the painting. She asked if he would eat any more. Charlie replied that he was already full. Let him eat with Ian. Charlie thought, after all, unrequited love is still love. He went to the painting. Yuna thought Charlie was good at cooking, drawing, and studying, and Ian was good at eating food. At home, Charlie took a shower and thought, drawing all day is exhausting. But he enjoyed it. He wrote in the book that today he painted the wall of an orphanage. It was a picture of the Virgin Mary and Jesus. Charlie thought his painting was a masterpiece. That time it was just a drawing of a hero. It turns out the better he draws, the the more experience he gets. From now on, he will be much more serious about the things he does. If he works another 5 hours, he will finish the volunteer work he has to do. Tomorrow is his last day. In the morning, Charlie went to the roof. He knows martial arts, but he has never trained before. After the painting on the wall of the orphanage, the experience increased, and now it's time to take up martial arts. Training increases his experience and also improves his physical fitness. Charlie hit the punching bag. After training, Charlie went to the charity center. Yuna asked him to look at the laptop. Yuna uploaded Charlie's painting to the internet again, and people commented on it. The reviews were positive. Then Yuna said that Charlie would finish all 15 hours of volunteering today, so she would treat them to lunch. They went to a cafe and ate. Yuna asked if it was delicious, wasn't it? Charlie answered that he hadn't eaten this dish for a long time. After eating, they got into the car. Charlie noticed the car and thought he saw it in front of the office. Then he asked if Yuna could stop by the grocery store over there. Yuna asked why. He wanted to buy something, Charlie replied. He wanted to buy himself a drink. Then she offered to buy it herself, but Charlie said he would feel uneasy if she bought him everything. Yuna said that if that was the case, then let him buy them drinks too. Charlie bought them and then went to the car. He knocked and asked why they were following them. This was the third time. It was not a coincidence. The man said it was a misunderstanding. He wasn't following their truck. Charlie said he said car. He didn't mention truck. He knows they are after Yuna, so he can't just leave the stalker. The man said he was not a stalker and drove away. Charlie shouted that he remembered their number and would report them. He got into the car, and Ian asked if he knew the man. Charlie said he had been following them since the office. Yuna said no need to worry. Charlie asked if she knew him. Yuna replied her father ordered to keep an eye on her. Ian asked if she was a bodyguard. Yuna said something like that. Charlie asked if she was from a rich family. Yuna asked why he was so interested. Charlie replied, "Interesting. She has a personal bodyguard." Ian said he was curious too. Yuna said just don't tell anyone, her dad is the president. The guys were shocked, and Yuna asked if being the president's daughter was something special. She was an ordinary person. If adults find out that she is the president's daughter, then there will immediately be awkwardness in communication, Charlie asked. So no one in the center knows who her father is. Yuna replied, "They just think that they have the same names. No one would even think that her father is the president." Then Charlie thought, he is working with the president's daughter. Will he be able to earn experience points? The guys arrived and Ian was sitting sadly on the steps. Charlie asked what was wrong with him. Ian replied that his love had died. They say there are no barriers to love, but the fact that she is the president's daughter is too big a barrier. Charlie replied that he thought that was the least significant obstacle between him and the eldest. Yuna called Charlie and said that this was a certificate of volunteer activity. Then she asked if she could help if she needed to draw anything else. She won't be able to give him a large sum, but it will be enough for pocket money. Charlie replied that if he is not busy, he will help. Charlie asked why she worked here. Yuna replied that she was a civil servant by profession. That's why she worked here. Ian asked, but with her data, she could find a better job, Yuna answered. She likes to help people. Charlie asked if it was not necessary to work at this center. There were many other ways to help people, weren't there? Ian said it would be possible to work in the Ministry of Health. Yuna said that it is not she who is the president, but her father. Moreover, she likes to help those she meets personally, Yuna asked. He underestimates her profession. Does he at least know what the competition is for this position? Ian asked. Why are there so many people wanting to? Yuna answered. Of course, she herself, when she was preparing for the civil servant exam, thought that she would die from this study. Charlie said she was so lucky because she was doing what she loved at work. Yuna asked what Charlie would like to do. And Charlie replied, he doesn't know yet, Yuna asked. Surely there is something he likes to do, Charlie replied. He likes to read books, but such a profession is difficult to find, Yuna said. It seems he thinks a lot about his future. The main thing is to decide what he will do in the future and how he will live. When he finds such an occupation, he must be ready for it. While he is young, it is worth trying a little bit of everything, gaining experience and choosing what you like best. Charlie asked what kind of experience was worth getting. Yuna asked, how about traveling? When you find yourself in an unfamiliar place, you can see yourself from a different side, Yuna said. Charlie said she gave him a great idea. Yuna said, that's good, see you then. Then Charlie told Ian it was cool that his first love was such a cool person. Ian laughed and asked, did he just realize it now, Charlie said. Wish his love come true? Keep it up. Charlie came to the bookstore, but it was closed, Charlie thought. They only take breaks on big holidays. Why is it closed here? Suddenly Charlie was called. Charlie turned around and greeted his grandmother, then asked where the owner was. Grandma replied that he was in the hospital now. Charlie asked why. Something was hurting him. Then the grandmother answered sadly. They told him that he had liver cancer. Charlie, of course, went to see him in the hospital. Earlier, Charlie was sitting in the car with the director, when suddenly he received a call. The director asked what happened. He was asked if they could get an inscription from that schoolboy. They had to write the word medicine. And here was another one of Charlie's inscriptions hanging in a frame. Now in the hospital. Charlie didn't expect it to be hung in the lobby. Charlie entered the old man's room and, after greeting him, asked how he was feeling. The old man replied, "There is no need to worry so much. It is cancer, but it will be quickly detected and cured at an early stage." Charlie said that was good. The old man thought for a moment, then took the key out of the locker and said, "These are the keys to the bookstore." Charlie asked why. The old man replied that if it was closed, the books would get moldy. Let him open the store sometimes, air out the books, and sometimes visitors will come and buy books. Charlie said he would do his best. The old man said not to forget and closed the door to the shop well. Then Charlie said, "Okay," and asked if his uncle remembered the old book he had recently picked up from the bookstore. The old man said, "Yes, he got it at a discount," Charlie said. "He found the same book, only in a different store. It turns out to be very expensive. He thinks that it would be possible to sell the book to another person." Then the old man said, "Apparently, Charlie is worried about the fact that he is in the hospital now," Charlie answered. "Right." Then the old man asked how much it would be better to sell this book for, in order to earn a little money for his living. He said he would have given the thing to Charlie anyway, no need to worry, if he had expensive things. For example, a TV or a tea shop that cost 3,000,000 won, he would still give them to him. The reason he opens an old bookstore is because he loves books and wants to sell them to people. And then, Charlie found a valuable book that he didn't know about. That's why Charlie is the master who knows the value of this book. The old man asked. Charlie thought about this book for a long time, Charlie answered. He lied to him a little. And the old man asked, "So how much is this book worth?" Charlie answered. He has not checked the original yet, but he thinks it is quite expensive. The old man asked again how much, and for some reason said, "Okay, let him not tell. If he thinks about it, it seems to him that his liver will hurt even more because of cancer. This book belongs to Charlie. Let him do with it what he wants." Charlie was pleased with his winnings. He went out and thought he would sell the book. His uncle told him that he could do whatever he wanted with the book, so he would pay him for the treatment. Suddenly a familiar doctor called Charlie, and he turned around. Charlie recognized him and said hello. The doctor asked him where he was going in such a hurry. He didn't even answer to his own name. Charlie answered. They called him Mister. "So I thought that someone was calling the doctor, not him," the doctor answered, understandably, and asked, "Is there someone sick at Charlie's place?" Charlie replied that he had come to visit his uncle. He was sick and asked him to look after his shop. The doctor said he was lucky the liver cancer was caught early and surgery and chemotherapy would help him feel better. Charlie said, "That's great." The doctor asked, "Did the mister see the sign in the lobby?" Charlie said, "Yes." Then the doctor said that everyone who was treated here praised this inscription, and he offered Charlie some tea. The doctor poured him some tea and asked him what that inscription was. Charlie turned around and looked at another inscription. Charlie said it means that if you eat well, you become the medicine to fight your disease. The doctor asked if they were having a meeting for guests soon, and if Mr. Charlie could join them. Charlie asked when the meeting would be. The doctor replied it would be next Saturday. Then, Charlie asked to be notified when they were going to that restaurant, then asked if the doctor remembered doing a physical examination on his parents. The doctor replied, "Of course. They can come to him again at any time." Back at the restaurant, Charlie is busy now as his parents have gone for a medical checkup. Charlie cooked and served the dish to the guests himself. The girl said that their tteokbokki was very tasty, and people on the street were taking pictures in front of Charlie's drawings, and then Charlie asked how they knew about this alley. The girls answered. They told her it was beautiful here, so she came here. Charlie thought they must have seen Yuna's photo. "That's right." The girl asked if he knew the person who made this post. Charlie replied, "His friend." Then the girl asked who painted these pictures. Charlie answered, he did. The guys were surprised. Charlie said he wanted the place to look nice, so he painted some pictures, and he was glad people liked them. At home, fortunately, his parents' health checkup was all right, but he was very worried. So he is very glad that everything is fine with them. Suddenly he got a call and he went into another room to answer. The man asked if this was Charlie's number. Charlie said yes. Then the man said, this was the restaurant chef. Charlie said hello, and the cook asked if Charlie had time. Maybe they could meet at the restaurant. The cook said he would wait at the restaurant and treat Charlie to something tasty. Charlie was happy that he would eat tasty food. He got ready and told his mother that he was leaving. His mother asked him to eat first, but Charlie said it was okay. He would eat at the meeting with the director. The girl asked if this was the same son she had bragged about. The mother replied, Yes. Her son also paints pictures. Then the girl said that this was the 4th time she had heard this, and she wanted another serving of tteokbokki. Mom said, to be honest, her son also cooked this delicious dish. The girl asked, he studies well, draws and cooks well. Then the mother said that her son was the best, and put a new portion of tteokbokki in the girl's hand. Meanwhile, Charlie came to the restaurant. The girl said that Charlie was already expected. Charlie thought she was already speaking formally, although they had not yet entered the restaurant. The restaurant's garden is still very beautiful. The atmosphere is very different. It's hard to believe that it's still in Seoul. The boss met him and asked if he had finally arrived. Charlie greeted him. The boss asked if he had already eaten. Charlie answered no. He's going to make some sauce today, so if Charlie doesn't mind, he can help him. As he gets older, his sense of taste gets worse and worse. But Charlie is young and wants to add pickles and lettuce to the sauce. Charlie said he wasn't sure he could help. The chef said no need to worry. Charlie would just need to try the sauce. Then Charlie said, okay, he just needs to try it and give his opinion. Charlie saw the number of barrels and was surprised. The chef said, nothing is as important as the taste of the past. All these jugs contain soy sauce. There is a lot of it, Charlie said. The chef opened one barrel. The chef took out some sauce and gave it to Charlie to try. He tried it and didn't like it. Charlie said he smelled something like sauce. Perhaps the sauce was made with pickling leaves. The chef thought that he had smelled a similar odor, which meant that this sauce was not suitable. And then he gave it to the cook to try. The cook said it was okay, but the smell wasn't very good, so the chef told the other cooks to try it. They tried it and the chef said he knew what they were thinking. It smelled bad, didn't it? People will not think that the smell is strange, because its smell is not very strong. This soy sauce is used in all Korean dishes in their restaurant. There shouldn't be even the slightest difference in taste. The chef asked how many days had passed since he brought it from the mountain. The cook replied, 10 days. When he tried the soy sauce there, it was wonderful. The chef said that if everything is as he says, then the sauce brought from the mountain has changed in 10 days. Then the chief ordered to check the rest of the jugs. Charlie wondered if he really had to try every jug. Charlie has already tried 10 of them and is starting to feel sick. The boss finally said they were done. This made Charlie happy, and the chef said he could tell the taste of the sauce by looking at his face. This is a rice ball. It is the most delicious in the restaurant. Let him try it, the chef suggested. Charlie tried it and thought, the rice doesn't even stick to your palm. It's delicious. It's perfectly cooked. And these grains give a piquant taste, the chef asked. Well, how is it? Charlie answered. Very tasty. The chef asked him what he thought it was made of. Charlie replied, rice and salt, I think, but he didn't know what was inside. Then the chef asked him to think and say. Charlie ate and thought, the rice is very sweet, and the salt covering the rice grains gives a harmonious taste. And these grains, they are small, but they definitely have a piquant taste. Isn't that meat? The chef said he would teach him how to make this rice ball if he could guess what kind of grain it was. Charlie asked how much they cost. He has a snack bar in his house. They make tteokbokki and fish cakes. But they don't even have a menu, but he thinks he can make good money, the chef replied. Yes, so if Charlie guesses what kind of grains, he will teach Charlie how to cook it. Charlie wondered what the hell this was. It looks like meat, but the taste is not greasy. Also this texture, it is like meat, but when you chew Poraria is a plant. If it's that plant, then he tried it as a child. He's so stupid. When he was a child, he thought it was tree bark. Charlie said he thought the soy sauce tasted like braised pork, and the chef asked him why he thought that. And Charlie replied that the chef himself had told him that this soy sauce is used in all traditional Korean dishes. Beef is a very valuable food in Korean cuisine, and rice balls are a food that even the oldest people can eat comfortably. But beef is difficult to use in rice balls, so he thought of braised pork. Of course, this idea comes from traditional Korean cuisine, but he has nothing to say about modern cuisine. The chef said that if he hadn't given the correct answer, he would have thought that Charlie didn't know traditional cuisine well. Rice balls are a food that has come a long way. Inside the ball, instead of beef, they added pork. Charlie asked how it could be so lean. There was no oil in it. The chef replied that it was all because it was made from jerky. But they did the same thing, but only with pork. If you mix it with rice grains, it will turn out not fatty and light. They don't have any specific proportions. They just prepare this dish with love day after day. Charlie thought he should try making pork tteokbokki too, and the chef asked if Charlie could make these rice balls. Then Charlie said he had a little idea how to make them, but he thought the taste would be a little different. The chef thought that the assistants at the restaurant have been training for a long time to make rice balls, which is why they turn out so delicious. And he, having tried it once, thinks that he can repeat it. Others need at least 2 years of training. How stupid. The chef said that now he needed to know why the taste of the sauce had changed over the past 10 days. The cook said that they were good at monitoring the condition of each jug. The chef said to bring him a document about the condition of each jug. The chef said it says here when the soy sauce was added and when the lid was closed, and it also says the amount of salt added to the sauce. Charlie thought they needed help finding the problem with the sauce's taste, but he felt like it was beyond his power. He can try to help them with the taste of the sauce, but he thinks that the chef's taste buds work much better. Also, his culinary background is not Korean but Western cuisine, so he has nothing to say about traditional Korean sauce. But why does the sauce taste different? The change in taste of the sauce in the jugs is the worst thing about Korean food. Didn't they say in dramas that if the taste in the jugs changed, then the houses and the country itself might suffer? If you think about it, this is exactly like a scene from a drama. In the drama, the taste of the sauce changed due to the wrong salt. Charlie ran his finger on the ground and realized that there was salt there. The boss asked what he was doing. Charlie asked. The boss was watching a drama about a restaurant. The boss said that the drama was filmed here, but he didn't know about it. But only in this drama the taste of the sauce changed, because they added salt from 3 years ago. But they don't make such mistakes. The chef said they have been carefully monitoring the expiration date of the salt for 5 years now. Then Charlie asked for a pen and a piece of paper. Charlie wondered if the Book of Experience would answer him. There is a cause for a result. The result and the cause are apparently different, but at the same time similar. Based on what is written, he thinks that this is the thought of a scientist. It is like a question for a teacher. Then, as the inscription suspects, the result is a change in taste. But there is no longer an answer, even if he knows the result, but does not know the reason. Charlie asked. When the taste of the sauce changed, the chef replied that he noticed it when Charlie tasted the sauce and said. Then Charlie said, "So it could have happened earlier." The chef said, "The sauce was tried 2 days ago." If it was 2 days ago, then what happened before he tried this sauce? Then, perhaps the sauce was changed somehow before he tried it. The chef said. He checked the documents. Everything was fine there too. No changes. Charlie said that maybe something changed while the chef was away. He can't figure out yet what caused the change in taste. The cook said that during his absence, they hadn't changed anything, that's for sure, the boss asked. Nothing at all. Charlie asked if the taste had changed in all the jugs. The chef said maybe the taste had changed in just one. Then Charlie asked if they had a diagram of the location of all these jugs, and the cook brought a diagram. The taste changed mid-row. The chef asked Charlie if he thought there might be a problem with the soil. Charlie replied that there were no other reasons, since only bad soil or outside interference could change the taste of the sauce. The cook started digging and found dead rats lying underground. Charlie asked how the rats could die underground. Then the aunt apologized. She manages the storage of jugs, and sometimes in the mornings she does rituals. Auntie said that they must have eaten the food they gave to the spirits and died. She would take better care of the jugs, but the chief said they couldn't die because of the chamois. Among the Korean spirits there is one who protects these jugs, a spirit that keeps the contents of the jars from spoiling, but he thinks they ate the grains that were laced with rat poison. Charlie asked why they thought the rats had suddenly died because they had eaten poisoned grains, and the boss asked to call the staff. And Charlie asked, besides, the rats weren't in the jugs, but under them, so why did the taste change? The chef replied that the jug steeps the sauce for a long time, so even if they always make the sauce from the same ingredients, the taste still changes depending on the environment. If the jugs were tainted with the smell of rats, the taste could change dramatically, Charlie asked. So what to do with the other jugs? The boss replied, throw it away, this unpleasant smell. Some people may not notice, but if this smell comes from a dead rat, then it can be very harmful to people's health. They have too good a reputation to sell spoiled soy sauce, the staff later gathered. Then the chef said that if they sold this sauce, it would destroy the image of their restaurant. And not only that. Whoever brought the rat poison, let them come forward. There is no need to be afraid. He just wants to talk. The food clerk came forward. Maybe the rats had somehow gotten into the clothes, and he put the clothes in the grain warehouse. The chief said that if the rats die, their bodies will rot, and that will only make the situation worse. Then he ordered to dig up the soil where the rats were and replace it with new soil, the cook replied. Okay. The boss thanked Charlie for helping him in difficult times. Charlie replied that everything was fine, and he asked if rats didn't burrow in the ground. The boss replied that rats lived wherever they could. It's good that everything is worked out, and there are no more problems. Today, he had to work hard. It's time to eat. Today's food was amazing, Charlie thought. But it was no better than rice balls, pretty ordinary food. But still, the taste is excellent, especially this healthy soup. It is a little seasoned, but very refreshing. The girl asked how the food tasted, Charlie replied. Very tasty. He would eat something like this every day. They ate and left the restaurant. The chef said he was glad they met today. They could give him a ride home. Charlie replied, Everything is fine. But the boss said, no but. Charlie helped him solve a serious problem. In the car, Charlie asked if the chef would not be working at the restaurant today. The chef replied that he does not work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Charlie asked if that meant he had 2 days off, and the boss replied that he only had Tuesdays off, and Wednesdays were a ritual. They arrived and the boss said, what a beautiful picture. Charlie said he drew it. The girl gave him the food and said that she saw how he happily ate her food, so she decided to cook him some more. Suddenly the girls surrounded the boss and asked to take a photo with him. The boss allowed it. Charlie said that the chef is apparently very popular. He heard from his director that the chef prepares the best Korean cuisine. The girl said Charlie could do it too. She would help him. Charlie answered shyly, yes. Mom came out and asked. Charlie said that he would eat at some place. It was Chef Koo's restaurant. Charlie asked if she knew this restaurant. Mom replied, of course. It's the place where Koreans go in the morning. Mom asked who this was. The girl bowed and said she was Chief Koo's grandson. Mom said, nice to meet you. Then the boss came up and asked if she was Charlie's mother, and the mother replied, yes, she was a fan of his. She suggested going to a cafe and having a cup of tea, but the chef said he would rather try the tteokbokki. They entered the cafe and people gathered around it. Charlie asked if they could go up to the second floor. The boss said he was used to this kind of excitement. Charlie asked. It seems the boss has already been shown on TV, and the chef replied that he doesn't like that. But now is the time when traditional cuisine is becoming a thing of the past. Therefore, he must continue its existence and pass on knowledge about it to other people. Mom brought the food and said she would be very happy if the boss liked it. The boss said he could already smell it. The chef asked. Charlie made a menu. Charlie answered and thought, all the food in their diner is delicious, but what if he doesn't like it? Then the boss said, don't worry, he doesn't eat to criticize. He tried it and said he thought it had too much seasoning. The girl said he used sweet potato noodles. Charlie said this sweet dish goes well with the spicy tteokbokki. The chef said Charlie is right. Of course, he can eat their food. However, he will not be able to analyze it and improve it. The girl said she thought he inherited his cooking talent from his mother, which was not true. The chef told my mother that her dishes are quite tasty, unlike other eateries. It is quite pleasant here. Mom said to rinse the fish cakes in water and get rid of the fat. The chef said she cooked these dishes perfectly. Then Mom said that Charlie cooked this dish. The chef asked where he learned to cook like that. Charlie replied that he read it in a book, and that he wasn't really lying to him, because he really did learn to cook from a book. They finished eating and thanked their mother for the food, and their mother said it was a great honor for her. The boss left, and the mother asked her son if he knew the boss. Charlie awkwardly answered yes. Then she thought her son had changed a lot. In the car, the boss asked her how the tteokbokki was, and her granddaughter replied that they were great. The boss said, stop talking like an amateur, the girl replied. This taste reminded her of rice balls. He managed to create a superb taste in a very simple dish. Radish and tanmen go well together, and together, they create a great taste. The chef said she was thinking in the right direction. She asked if Grandpa would like to make Charlie a cook. The boss asked her what she thought, and the girl replied that Charlie's taste buds were very similar to his. Then the chef said that just having good taste buds doesn't make you a good cook. After talking to the boss, Charlie gained a lot of experience. He wrote it down in the book. Now he has a few extra experience points. He also wrote down the taste impression and got 500 points. Charlie wondered if he could really get points from food he cooked himself. Experience in eating food also gives experience points. Apparently it was a delicious dish. This book is of great value. I wonder if it would be possible to value this book if he could sell it. Then he could pay his uncle's hospital bills. Charlie went down and decided to cook some food. Then he noticed his sleeping parents. Charlie picked up his mother and thought, apparently she's very tired. He should put her to bed. He noticed that her shoulders were very tense and began asking for a book on wellness massage. The book answered, there is a massage called Judo. You need to press and massage the back with your palm so that the blood circulates through a large area of the back. If there is heaviness and acute pain in the back, this means that blood circulation has been disrupted. Charlie thought if he got experience in massage, he could help his parents. He used his glasses and got the skill. This massage, he would like to visit the place where it originated. As soon as he said so, a palace appeared before his eyes. The student entered the palace and saw that the teacher was suffering from back pain, so he said that he would help him relieve this pain. He asked the teacher to lie down and said that he would now demonstrate a massage called Judo. Then he hit the teacher on the back, using the cord. The monk hits the teacher on the back to relieve tension. At this moment you feel hellish pain, but when the procedure is over, you will feel light and the tension will immediately go away. The student studied martial arts and medicine and then left. When he was going down, he heard screams. 3 vile men grabbed the girl and she screamed for help. Then the student ordered them to stop. But they told him to get lost, so the guy picked up a stick and ran at the men. The guy easily hit the first man, then the second. They didn't even have time to do anything. As soon as the men realized that they could not defeat him, they quickly ran away. Then he asked if the girl was okay. The girl asked how she could thank him. But he only picked up his bag and, apologizing, said he had important things to do, and the monk descended from the mountain. The monk went through many trials. His life was like a martial arts novel. The main reason he began studying Judo was to heal the people he needed. Charlie asked the book to tell him about the experience of striking. The book answered, "The history of the origin is the main craft of the Shaolin Temple. Hit quickly and strongly. Strike. Deliver pinpoint blows to the back to test the experience gained. He needs to sleep and gain strength." He lay down on the bed and wondered who that girl was. Then he remembered the girl from the restaurant and blushed. In the morning, Charlie took a shower and looked in the mirror and thought, unlike his previous body, this is much better. Then he decided to test his body and went on another hike, where he hung on the edge of a cliff. At home, Dad lay on his back and Charlie said there was some work to be done. Dad asked why he decided he needed a massage. Charlie told his father to trust him. He needed to test this skill to see how effective it would be. But after the first blow, Dad stopped Charlie and told him, "It hurts. It hurts a lot." Charlie replied that it was only a little while before he would feel much better after this massage. He continued to beat his dad. Then Dad asked if Charlie was sure he was doing everything right. Charlie said that after this massage, Dad would finally be able to go to the toilet. Charlie told his dad to go to the toilet after eating. Dad said he went in the morning. Finally, the massage ended and Charlie asked if it hurt now. Dad replied that it hurt at first, but it's better now. Then Dad rushed to the toilet. Charlie told him to sit there for a good while so that it wouldn't seize up again later. Mom came in and asked what kind of massage it was. His dad even went to the toilet. Charlie replied that he gave him a bowel massage. Then he took his mother's hand and asked her to lie on her back. His mother lay down and said that Charlie could begin. But Charlie said it would be better to start when Daddy came out of the toilet so that he could support her. But Mom said she was little and could handle it herself. Mom asked where he learned this massage. Charlie replied. He read it in a book. Charlie remembered that she had tension in her shoulders. Charlie asked her when she straightened up, her back hurt. Mom answered, "There is a little, so what?" If Charlie understood correctly, it must be a pelvic curvature. So he asked his mother to sit up and straighten her back. He hugged his mother and asked her to exhale slowly and pressed sharply on her leg. The crunch was quite strong. Mom screamed in pain and fell to the floor. Charlie asked if she was feeling better. She answered uncertainly, "Better already." Charlie shouted to his father, "He will be there soon!" His mother shouted, "He will sit there all day!" Charlie asked his mother to lie back down. Finally, the door opened and Dad came out of the toilet. Mom shouted to open the window quickly. While Charlie was yelling at his dad to open the door wide, his mom couldn't hold back after the bowel massage. The next morning, at the restaurant, today is the day of the literary circle meeting. Charlie came with the director. Charlie brought the book and wondered how much this manuscript was worth. 1,000,001, maybe more. A girl greeted them and said that she would show them the way and asked them to follow her. Suddenly, Charlie grabbed her hand and asked her to wait. Then the girl said she was at work. Charlie sheepishly lowered her hand and said, "He made those very rice balls that the chef talked about." He gave her some to try and said he had made them a little his own. The girl said they were delicious, but the salt took away a little of the sweetness of the rice. She thought it wasn't like store-bought rice balls, and he made it with pork, just like Grandpa. Charlie said he would go to the meeting. The girl said the boss was not here yet. She would return the container when he returned. The old man and Charlie sat down at the table and drank tea. The old man said that a book expert would arrive here soon. Then the director said, "Mr. Charlie has something he would like to show them." Charlie took out the manuscript. And he said, he studied this book and wanted to sell it, the old man said. He thinks that this book is more than 200 years old. The director said that this was the manuscript of Van Mungen himself. The old men were surprised and began to discuss it. Charlie thought, the reviews are good. I wonder what the price will be. Then Cedric, a worker from the National Museum, walked in. He put on gloves and said, Van Mungen's book says that he moved from China to Korea during the Japanese colonial era. The men looked at the book and said it was the original. Everyone was shocked, and the old men shouted, "How much is it worth then?" And Cedric asked who bought this book. Charlie answered, "It was him." Then Cedric asked, "He is the owner of this book." "Where did he buy this book?" Charlie asked. "It is so important. He is only interested in the price of this book." Then Charlie wondered why everyone was so surprised. Wasn't he suited to be a merchant? Cedric asked how much he wanted and thought the book was worth a fortune. If he asks for a small amount, he will buy it. But if for a large amount, he will say that it is not worth it. Charlie asked how much he could give. Cedric thought, and said that this author was not so famous in their country. He is more popular in China, so Charlie said that if that is the case, he will sell the manuscript in China. Just as Cedric said he didn't know how well the boy knew about old books, Charlie interrupted him, asking, "He is an expert on old books, right? So he must know Chinese characters." "He is right," Cedric answered, "Of course." Then he took out a piece of paper and asked how he liked the handwriting. Cedric answered, "Very good." Copied Moongen's handwriting. Very cool. Cedric thought he was in some kind of calligraphy group. Cedric said that such handwriting is very difficult to copy, but still, who copied this handwriting? Charlie replied, "It was him." Then Cedric asked, "The guy copied Moongen's handwriting." "It's amazing," Charlie laughed. Cedric said he was interested in the reason why the guy wanted to sell the manuscript. Charlie replied that right now, someone dear to him is in the hospital and needs treatment. Then Cedric said, "While Moongen's book is very expensive, but it is not in very good condition. There is no author's mark on this book." Charlie asked how much it was worth. Cedric replied that some collectors would be willing to pay up to 200 million to 300 million for it. Then Charlie thought, "That's too much for a tattered book," Cedric said, "if he needs money right now. Then he could buy it for 100 million for a museum," Charlie thought. A museum sounds better than collectors. Then he asked the doctor how much his uncle's treatment cost. The doctor replied that he didn't remember, but it was significantly less than that amount. Charlie asked if he could take a break to think about the deal. Cedric said yes, and asked him to think about his offer. In the garden, Charlie thought, the difference between 100 million and a trust million is very big. Perhaps taking advantage of the merchant's experience and trying to sell this book at his expense. The girl approached Charlie and asked what he was thinking about. And she said he was worried about the book. Charlie replied, "Yes, if it was about money, then it would be better to sell it to a collector." Then the girl said that he needed to look a little further than money. Think about what he originally wanted to do, and then about money. Charlie thought about it. He thought that selling the book to this man would be the right decision, since the treatment costs would be high. The girl said money is important, but people and peace of mind are more important. Charlie realized that he had to make the right decision. Charlie stood up and said he thought he had made a good point. Thanks to her, he would go first. But the girl stopped him and asked if her grandfather would be filming a movie soon, and if Charlie would like to come. "He will be filming Korean Morning. It could be a good experience for Charlie," Charlie replied. "Cool. He will come." Charlie returned to the old people and said that he had decided to sell the book to the museum and asked how much Cedric was willing to pay. Cedric replied they would pay once the book was verified. Charlie asked if they would verify the authenticity again, and Cedric replied, yes, there was no other way, and he wanted to ask again if Charlie was absolutely sure of his decision. Charlie wanted to answer, but one old man asked to wait a minute and Charlie and him went out into the corridor. The old man asked Charlie for a coin. He gave him a coin and the old man asked if Charlie would like to hire him as his lawyer. Charlie asked in surprise if he wanted to be his lawyer. The old man replied yes. If Charlie didn't know the laws, he would help him. Then Charlie asked what the coin was for. The lawyer asked if Charlie had ever seen an underpaid lawyer. Now Charlie is his client, and therefore he will defend his rights by law. Charlie thanked the lawyer. Charlie came to the hospital to see his uncle. The old man asked what Charlie was doing there, then treated him to a tangerine. And Charlie asked, the store, which brings in only 50,000 won, 3,000 rubles daily. Uncle replied, yes. Charlie asked, then how does Uncle pay rent for the premises, with such a low income? Then the uncle answered, but he didn't tell him about this. He is the owner of this premises, and therefore does not pay rent for it. Charlie called out, the bookstore building is his. His uncle replied, yes. When he was young, he owned a bookstore and rented out computers. Then Charlie said that he sold the manuscript he was talking about, his uncle asked. And Charlie came here to give him some of the money, which he received from the sale of the book. Charlie replied, yes. It's just that the amount he received was very large, and he felt a little embarrassed in front of his uncle. Uncle said he didn't know how much Charlie got for the book, but he shouldn't worry so much about him. After all, he could easily pay for his treatment, and besides, he wasn't the owner of that book. So let him use the money when he needs it, after 20 years of running the business. His eyes became experienced, and he understood a lot. Charlie asked what he meant by that. His uncle answered, let him think that he invested this money in Charlie. Then the aunt came in and Charlie greeted her, and the uncle gestured for Charlie not to talk about the manuscript. The next day, Charlie went to school. Ian handed Charlie the letter, and Charlie asked if it was a love letter for him. Ian said it was from Jeannie. Charlie said he hadn't seen her for a long time. Ian shouted what Charlie had been doing all holiday. Gina moved. Charlie shouted. Though Ian answered, obviously, it looks like Charlie didn't even say goodbye to her. Charlie started reading the letter, Gina said that she tried to contact him and found out that he was very busy. So she came to his house to meet him to tell him that she was moving to Canada. And now she can confess to him that he was her first love, but apparently, it was not mutual. Gina loved Charlie even before he acquired the skills that made him popular. And Charlie remembered her only now. He remembered the dream where he kissed Jeannie and thought she was also his first love. And his first kiss was with her, albeit in a dream. Mom said that getting to the filming of Korean Morning was her cherished dream, which she could only fulfill in her sleep. Dad said the restaurant has very nice nature and great food. The chef said he is glad he likes this place. They arrived and were met by a man. The boss said he didn't want to keep them waiting. The man replied everything was fine. The food for today's shoot has already been prepared. The chef said these dishes are ideal for this season. Mom said she liked the smell. The boss asked her to go to the village and get something to drink. Then he asked to borrow Charlie for a while. Then Charlie came up to him and asked how he could help. The chef replied that he wanted Charlie to try the food and tell him his opinion. Charlie asked what if the food was not tasty. Then the chef asked Charlie if he knew who cooked the most delicious food in the world. Charlie replied, maybe Mom. The chef answered right on target, because how could the food that her child would eat not taste good really? Filming has started, the chef said. Spring has started to bloom. Today, they use the freshest ingredients for their dishes. He also wants to introduce them to his friend who is like a grandson to him. Charlie greeted the audience. The chef started cooking and said he had some lettuce and wormwood. Charlie thought he had a little time to do something. Charlie noticed the firewood and asked if he could split some for food. The girl replied that the boss would like it. And then, for some reason, Charlie started chopping wood, and people on the site noticed him. A cameraman came up to Charlie and asked if he could take it off, then shouted that he might catch a cold, and that they should bring sponsor clothes. The girl wanted to bring clothes, but the boss's granddaughter said that she was his manager and would bring the clothes herself. She walked up to Charlie and told him to stop for a minute and change his clothes so that he wouldn't catch a cold. Charlie agreed and took off his t-shirt. The girls looked at his body and they said that he was engaged in ripped. Then Charlie asked why they were filming him. The cameraman replied that they might not have enough footage in their program, so they can insert footage of him. Filming is over. Charlie's parents are asleep. Charlie said the boss was with them too, and they were snoring. The boss said it was no wonder that almost every person had spring sprout rice wine these days. The granddaughter said she also drank this wine. Charlie said his parents, who are in business, are very happy. The next day, Charlie went to school, and all the kids shouted, "Here comes their star." They showed Charlie footage of him. Then a reporter came up to him and called Charlie. He asked if Charlie remembered him, and Charlie said yes, he was from the filming. They met with the parents and the man said, "Tomorrow is Royal Cooking. It's a program where former chefs compete with each other and with idols." Mom said she was sure there would be great cooks on the show. The man replied yes. Basically, there are a lot of good cooks. But finding truly talented and young people is a great rarity. Filming of the program takes 2 days. He plans to do an episode with Charlie where he competes with others. Charlie said he agrees. The next day, Charlie came to the building and the girl greeted him and introduced herself. Her name is Sony. Charlie greeted her. Sony said that she was younger than him, so he could speak to her informally. The man suggested that Charlie go to the canteen to get ready for filming. Charlie asked what Sony wanted to eat. Her manager told her to eat as little as possible. She doesn't want to gain weight, does she? Sony was upset, and after thinking about it, she asked Charlie to cook some meat for her. Charlie started cooking. He quickly finished the dish and wished him a pleasant appetite. Sony began to eat and said it was very tasty. The man also tried it and said he thought she was playing along, but it was really delicious. But he feels like something is missing. Viewers won't be able to feel the taste through the screen. Charlie should satisfy not the taste, but the way the dish is prepared. Then Charlie asked if Sony could try another one of his dishes. Sony said of course. And Charlie started cooking again. The cameraman continued to film Charlie, and he thought, the sound of the dish being cooked. And Charlie himself thought that when she tried the dish, the taste must be excellent. Charlie finished the dish, and Sony tried the dish. She said what amazing noodles. The meat seemed to melt in the mouth. Then the man said, "Charlie is great. He thinks that's enough for today." Charlie asked, "Tomorrow there will be filming." The man said yes, but what they just captured was really exciting. Charlie thanked him. Charlie wondered if he could cook without getting nervous. The man said, "Charlie did a great job. See you tomorrow." The manager asked Sonia if she had eaten almost nothing, maybe because he was there. Sony said that he himself told her not to eat a lot. The manager said that she could eat, of course, but the main thing was not to overdo it. Otherwise, she would have to go on that hellish diet again, Charlie thought. If Sunny got any thinner, this would affect her health. He said goodbye to Sonia and she wished him good luck. In the morning, today Charlie goes to a cooking competition, thinking that he needs to win this competition. So I used my points to gain more experience in cooking, and went to the company. He came into the room and said, "Finally the competition," Sony said. He came early. Sony gave him the list of participants and Charlie read it, only he didn't have a reward. Then Sony wished him luck and asked him not to worry. The man came into the room and said, "They start in 5 minutes." The guy asked if he was Charlie, and Charlie asked how he knew him. The guy replied, "There are only 3 participants. This is participant A, and he is participant B. So he is a member named Charlie, but for them he is not a competitor. He doesn't even have any awards." The guy asked where he learned to cook. Charlie replied, "From a book." Then the guy laughed. Then he said, "So he's a newbie." Sony stood up for Charlie, saying he cooks very well, so if she were them, she would be worried. Then the guy said, "On this program, they show how professionals cook." Filming began, and the host said that today they had royal cooking, because they would ask why. Because they are made up of young chefs and idols. But first, let's welcome 3 teams. The first topic of today's cooking is the best dish he would like to cook for his parents. They have to use the ingredients that are close to them. They have 30 minutes. Sony said we had to ask, or they would take all the good ingredients. Charlie said, "Okay." The host asked if Sunny already knew what ingredients would be used. Apparently, there would be a lot of meat in this dish. Charlie asked if her parents were here. Sony said yes. Then Charlie asked what they liked. This task was to cook a dish for the parents of an idol. Sony said that her parent likes seafood. Charlie chose his ingredients. Sony asked if there were too few ingredients. Charlie answered, "They only have 30 minutes. It's time to start," the host said. Team C is cooking beef and chicken in one pan. They prepare the broth according to the allotted time. But why do they have another pot on the table? The old man said they were going to pour out the first broth and boil another one. It seemed Charlie had more cooking experience than they thought. Charlie broke the heads off the shrimp and fried them, then threw them into the water and made a delicious broth out of them. Participant A brushes olive oil on her steak, making it look moist and juicy. The guy was frying something in a frying pan, Charlie thought. It looks like he's the only one here who made soup. And while other participants used the skills they had honed over the years to prepare the dishes, Charlie simply used the book to gain cooking experience without putting any effort into it. The host asked if it should be eaten from there. "There is no decoration," Charlie replied. "The warmer the dish, the better." Then the host called today's judges. Then the parents of the idols came. Today they will be the judges. The judges do not know who prepared these dishes. As soon as they try the best dish, he will immediately say the name of this chef. But then Charlie raised his hand and said he was against such a selection. The girl asked what they should do. The producer suggested waiting. The host asked why Charlie was against it. Charlie replied that the task was to cook the best dish for his parents. Then the host said, "Everything is correct, so the parents should choose the best dish," Charlie said again. He is against such choices. The host asked if parents don't know how their children cook. Charlie is worried that another parent will be able to find a dish cooked by his child. Charlie replied, "No, it's the other way around." The host asked, "Why?" Charlie replied, "He thinks the best food is the one you can eat comfortably." He continued this pointless argument, the parents thought. Can't they find the dish their child cooked? The man said that we need to make sure that the parents choose 2 delicious dishes and nominate 2 people. They must choose 2 teams. The team that is not chosen by the judges will be eliminated. Then the host said it was time to let the parents try the dishes. Let them stand in front of the dishes that their children had prepared. Charlie said he knows Sonia's dad loves seafood, so he made this dish for him. Sony gave Dad a spoon with broth, and Dad tried the dish. Sony asked if he liked it. Dad answered, "Very tasty." The parents tried the dishes, then the host said, "And now the judge will sum up the results. In this challenge, one team will lose, and it will be Team A with the dish delicious steak." For some reason, Charlie won this round, even though he is not a professional like those guys, the host asked. "Why do they think Team C will win?" The woman said there is temperature in this dish. Due to the hot temperature, it also becomes filled with subtlety and harmony. The host asked what they could say about Team B's dish. They replied that the tasty cotton-shaped pork was less fatty. Then they approached Charlie and said he was a good cook. The woman asked if he was thinking of connecting his life with cooking. Charlie replied that it was just a hobby for him for now. The old man said that if it was his hobby, then cooks like him should die of hunger. They left, and the guy asked how dare he change the grading criteria. Charlie replied, "He just said what he thought." The guy said it was just a hobby for him. He'd been going down this road for 6 years, since high school. And for him, it's just a game. The guy was right. For them, it's an important step in their career. While for Charlie, it's just a game. Charlie replied that he didn't say anything about his dream in the culinary field. He just didn't claim to be a professional. The guy asked. Charlie knows how serious he is about cooking. He will do everything to make Charlie lose in the final. The second round has begun. A new task. A dish that can calm a person down at a time when a person feels bad. Charlie asked Sony if she had any food that calmed her down when she was sick. Sony thought about it. She remembered how she was sick and how her mother said that if it were up to her, she would have gotten sick along with her. Sony said that these were not the words she wanted to hear from her, and her mother asked what Sony would like to eat. Cook porridge? Sony said. No, she wants her most delicious dish. Mom asked if she wants kimchi hichige, thick soup. Mom and Sony made promises to each other that they would always support each other and stay close. Then Sony said, she wants thick soup. She always wants to eat her dish, even at this moment. The boys started preparing their dishes. Each of them tried their best. Time was up. Team C made a thick pork soup, and Team B made abalone porridge. Finally, everyone is ready. Both teams have prepared their best dishes, thanks to which they will feel much better. So Team B's idol tries the dish. The girl said she ate this dish when she was very little. It immediately smells like the ocean. The host asked how Ian prepared this dish. The guy replied that he prepared it thinking about her hometown Vano. He heard that Yui had been on a strict diet as a trainee, and she remembered the abalone porridge that her grandmother had made for her. The host said, "But abalone porridge smells like the ocean," Ian replied. "Yes, because the shellfish are easiest to get in the city of Vano. Usually anchovies and kelp are used as broth, so he wanted to give Yui the flavor of her native land. This is a wonderful abalone porridge that you can't eat without crying." Team B prepared a fairly common dish. When Sony is sick, she wants to eat thick soup, Sony replied when she was a high school student. Her mother went to heaven because of her illness. At that time, she thought that she would eat this soup all her life. Every time she was sick, she wanted this soup. Wherever she went, she couldn't find the exact taste of her mother's dish, and the snotty story tore the audience apart. The host asked if Charlie had cooked a dish for his parents with the same taste in that round. Sony replied, "Yes, the taste was very similar." The host asked if Charlie could replicate the taste of a dish he had never tried. Charlie replied, "Spoon. Old mothers don't have enough money, so they put a spoon at the end to make the dish more delicious." Sony said, "My mother did the same thing to make the dish more delicious," Charlie said later. He didn't know how to get it. The host said that both teams go hand in hand. Then the members of the commission who are responsible for screening will make a decision. So, the votes came in. The result is that they have a tie. Later, they will announce the final decision. During the break, the boss's granddaughter, Hina, said she was told the results. He was in the final. Charlie asked how she knew. Hina replied that the producer of this program is the producer of the Korean morning program, so she is familiar with him. "She knows he will win," Charlie replied. "Thank you." "He is a little nervous about the final," Hina said. "She doesn't know if Charlie needs advice. Let him not forget why he went there. When he participates in such a program, he must show everyone his cooking skills. There is no need to think about the people who will sell his dishes. Charlie should enjoy cooking." Later, Charlie said, "He's in the final now, so it's good that she told this story about her mom." Sony asked if the prize would be 10 million. Where was he going to spend the money? Charlie replied. He was going to pay for his education. "And she?" Charlie asked. Sony answered, "Her father needs an apartment, so she wants to give him money to buy it." Charlie said she'll do well when she becomes popular, so she shouldn't forget him. Sony said he shouldn't forget her when he becomes popular either. Ian asked if it was possible to become a famous chef if cooking was just a hobby for him. He managed to get to the final with his skills, Sonia said. He also just copied the scent of the ocean. There is nothing special about it. Ian replied that he had completely copied the smell of the sea using shellfish, and he just left a spoon in the pan. Charlie replied that he simply thought that it was more important to feed people with tasty food than to cook healthy food. Sony said he will still ask Charlie for forgiveness. He feels too confident now. Ian replied that he had a lot of fun competing against them, especially in the finals, because they were going to lose anyway. They left. Sony asked what the final task would be. Charlie replied that whatever it was, we had to try. Finally, the filming of the finale has begun. 2 teams are ready. Now there is a task. What do you want to eat right now? Charlie asked Sony what she wanted to eat now. Sony answered, "To be honest, nothing." In total, Charlie ate about 7 dishes from all the rounds, and all the viewers were tired from the long filming. Sony asked, "They won't lose," Charlie thought. "They need to cook the best dish, because it is the final one." He went to the ingredients. Sony asked if they were going to cook something with rice. Her stomach was going to burst. Charlie replied that everything was correct, and that he would now prepare a dish that she would want to try right now. "Isn't this a dish that will make a person feel better?" Charlie said. "This rice and cabbage dish." Sony asked if it was a light meal. Charlie replied that she had been eating mostly fatty foods and was not feeling well. Then Sony said she thought that the team was cooking an exotic dish. Charlie asked if she wanted meat. Sony replied that she felt sick just looking at the meat, and that he was a very good opponent. Charlie thought that just the sound of him cooking made him want to eat what he was cooking, and that Team's dish might seem delicious to the audience. But the judges are not spectators. Taste, hearing, sight, he must make sure that the judges like his dish. Charlie offered Sonia to try it while it was still hot. Sonia tried the food. The cameraman filmed the moment. At the time, Charlie thought they hadn't quite captured the atmosphere of cooking this dish. But Sony fixed it. Sony said it was very tasty, but the taste was a bit strong. Charlie said it was because it had fried rice. The judges said nurungi, fried rice, must be cooked thoroughly to retain its flavor. Charlie is good at cooking. If he finishes his dish first, Team B will be at a disadvantage. The host asked what he was talking about. The judge replied that they would find out if they tried the dishes. The teams finished cooking, and the judge and the audience began to taste the food. Ian thought this dish represented all his cooking skills. It was hard to compare it to flatbreads. Sony thought his dish looked better, but their dish tasted better. She hoped they would win. But none of the judges or spectators tried Chef Ian's dish. He thought they were full after Charlie's dish. He did everything to make sure that all the judges turned their full attention to his dish, thereby making them lose interest in his dishes. And of course, thanks to the skill book and just plain luck, Charlie beat Chef Ian, who worked hard to win. Later, Sunny got ready and said she had to go already. She was getting ready to release a new album. Charlie thanked her and told her to give him an autograph later when she became a star. Sony said goodbye to him and left. The producer asked if the filming had gone well, when the program would be shown on TV, and if Charlie would like to take part in it again. Charlie replied, "No. He is a high school student. He doesn't have much free time." The producer said if he needs help, he should call. Ian asked if he was being too cocky or just enjoying the filming. Charlie replied that he was in high school, Ian asked, and he wasn't. But unlike him, he took cooking seriously. And Charlie said he thought he won because of his skills, which he got easily from the book. Ian said he couldn't believe Charlie won. All the judges liked his dish because, Charlie replied, there is a way to cope with a cold thanks to an injection in the hospital, or just relax and eat your favorite dish. It is necessary to consider not only the beauty of the dish, but also its contents. Ian's dish had nothing from the given theme. Ian said cooking was his life. People like Ian make good cooks, Charlie said. He doesn't want to become a chef yet, so Honey's advice was very useful for him. Let him think about his intentions and not about winning. Ian is so good at cooking that he doesn't need to think about winning. Charlie came home and took out his skill book. He wrote down his experience in the cooking competition. He had been holding his breath ever since he received the book of experience, the secret that no one knows about. He gained recognition for his culinary skills and gained the strength to protect his family and friends. Even with his good grades in school, he also helped his parents buy a house. Charlie remembered Ian talking about how he spent years of his life building skills. Then he thought about what he would do in the future. Then Hina asked if Charlie would like to meet now. Charlie came out and asked what happened. It was so late, Hina said. He won. She came to congratulate him. Even though she is too busy at the restaurant, she made this cake herself. Let her make a wish. Charlie blew out the candles and Hina asked him what he wished for. Charlie replied that he wished for what she advised him to. Hina asked if he should probably become a cook. He is very talented and smart. But Charlie replied, no. After winning, he realized something. He doesn't want to connect his life with cooking. Hina asked what he wanted to do. Charlie replied that he didn't know yet, and asked what about her, would she continue the family business? And Hina replied that she didn't want to get into this business, but apparently she was destined to work there. What you are good at and what you want to do are two different things. The best thing is to find what you love, and enjoy it. After talking for a while, Hina asked Charlie if he had someone he liked. Charlie replied that he was still too young, Hina asked, and she didn't know anything about love. Charlie said that he hadn't thought about it yet. Hina asked if he knew he was popular now. Charlie replied, oh well, not that popular. Charlie thanked her for the advice and said he had thought carefully about her advice about traveling. Honey wished him luck, and they said goodbye. She decided not to confess to him. And Charlie came home, and Dad asked where he was at that time. Charlie answered, he met Honey for a short time. Dad asked if he was meeting Honey at such a late hour. Charlie replied, well, yes, Dad replied. It's just like a glass, which must be filled with water so that you can drink from it. There is no such thing as an unprovoked meeting. Charlie asked what kind of strange example this was, and Dad replied that women don't do what they don't want to do. Then Charlie said, Honey, studying at a prestigious university and she's so beautiful, he can't tell her that. Dad replied, let him tell her this. Sometimes he imagines that he is a bee looking at a beautiful flower. Then Dad got a blow on the back from Mom. She shouted, Charlie should go to bed already. Dad said that he could only say such words to her. Mom asked if he thought she would believe him. Then Mom told Charlie, even if it wasn't Honey, she didn't want him to regret his choice. The next day, Ian invited Charlie to go to the beach with him. Charlie asked how they would get there. Ian replied that his older brother was a policeman in that area, and they weren't allowed to rent a room in a hostel on their own yet, so he would help. Charlie asked why the beach. Ian asked who doesn't want to look at a muscular guy. Ian took out his phone and said it was about Charlie. Then Charlie asked him to stop. After the exams, they went to the beach to relax and spend the night in tents, and a policeman helped them rent a room in a hostel. And the parents gave permission. The kids went out to the beach, and Charlie shouted how cool it was. Ian was staring at the girls. Then Charlie closed his eyes and asked if he was looking at the sea or what. Then Ian asked Charlie to wait here, and he went up to the two girls and talked to them about something. But no matter what Ian said, the girls would answer that they just wanted to relax on the beach or that they had their own party. Ian started whining and Charlie said, "Don't be so sad, they came here to have fun together." But Ian said it was okay, but he wanted to bury himself in the sand. Charlie said not the best idea. Suddenly the girl started screaming for help, and of course only Charlie ran to help her. Instead of the lifeguard, Charlie jumped into the water and quickly swam to the girl, who continued to scream. Charlie caught the girl and began to swim to the shore, but it seems the girl lost consciousness. Then Charlie laid her on the sand and began to massage her heart, but the girl did not wake up. Then Charlie gave her artificial respiration, then vigorously massaged her heart again. Finally the girl woke up. She started coughing, and Charlie picked her up and asked if she was okay. The girl replied, yes. Then she apologized and repeated, she was fine. Charlie realized that he continued to hold her. Then he let her go, and finally the rescuers came running. They shouted, "The girl is okay." They put her on a stretcher and carried her away. The girl thanked Charlie for saving her before leaving. Afterwards, Ian came up to Charlie and said that his little brother had become a hero again. Only then did Charlie see that everyone was staring at him. Charlie said he would move away because he was all wet. But Ian asked why he didn't stay in his wet t-shirt. If he changed his clothes, the girls would leave. So Charlie grabbed him and said, "That's enough. It's time to go." But then two girls called Charlie and said hello. One of them said she saw him save that girl. And if they don't have company, could they sit together? The girls asked. Ian was glad. He said they had no company. Charlie interrupted her, saying he had to change. Then Ian said they would be back soon. Charlie asked if they looked like high school girls. The girls replied, yes, they were in high school. Then Charlie asked if they were having fun here, and where were their parents. The girls answered, at home. Their houses are close. Charlie said they should be careful and not get involved with other men on their way home. He took Ian by the arm and told the girls to go home because their parents were probably worried. Ian asked. Charlie just released their caught fish. Charlie dared to call the girls small fish. Later, the sun had already set, and Charlie said that he was hungry and wanted to eat ramen. Charlie said he made very tasty ramen. Ian replied discontentedly, he also makes good ramen. Then Charlie added the ingredients, and Ian asked when he had time to prepare it. Charlie replied that he had brought food from home with him. They ate, and Ian said, by the way, that girl that Charlie saved, she's as beautiful as all the girls on the beach. Charlie should have asked them for a number. Charlie didn't even touch the girl's breasts. Then Charlie said, that girl was beautiful. Charlie's attention was like a puppy's. Ian asked, is there a girl who is more beautiful than Haina? Charlie asked why he suddenly started talking about her. Ian replied, Charlie is thinking about her. Charlie replied, she is older than him. Suddenly they heard screams. Some guys were yelling at those girls. The guy was yelling why she was still walking around here. Charlie decided to turn on the hero again and said, these guys are going to get it now. Ian shouted, he's going to get in trouble. He ran up to them and asked what was going on. The girl replied that they wanted to go home, but these guys wouldn't let them go. Charlie said they look like they are students, and they are a high school student. Why are they pestering them late at night? The guy shouted, who the hell is he? Charlie asked why he didn't let the girls go. The guy got even angrier. Charlie told the girls to leave quickly, when suddenly the guy grabbed him by the collar and shouted at him, who does he think he is? But Charlie stopped his hand and threw him to the ground himself before the guy could react. Ian shouted, be careful! Charlie turned around and saw the second guy swinging at him. Charlie dodged, then started punching the guy in the stomach, punching him without giving him a break. The guy wanted to kick Charlie, but Charlie kicked him with the other foot, and the guy fell to the ground. Then Charlie hit the guy in the stomach a few more times, and after a few seconds he went to the toilet. And Charlie walked up to the girls and told them that they needed to be more careful next time. Then Ian asked what it was. Charlie asked what he was talking about. Ian answered, Charlie continues to play the hero. It was as if he had entered some kind of drama. There was something similar in the drama where two heroes from the Joseon dynasty came together. Why did they even come here? He couldn't even eat meat and never talk to the girls. Charlie noticed two girls and said, we can eat meat and chat with the girls. He called the girls. And he asked if they were high school students. right? They answered yes. Charlie asked if he could help them. Ian stood forward and lit a fire. He began to fry the meat. The girl thanked him. Charlie asked if they could give him a minute and a half and said that if he cooked the meat completely over the coals, it would burn. It's raw inside, not cooked through. Many say you need to turn the meat over twice. Charlie explained cooking as if it were rocket science. He said you had to keep an eye on the meat all the time. To avoid any charcoal smoke, once everything is ready, you can cut it and eat it. The girls said it was very tasty, well fried. Charlie replied that he was glad they liked it. Then he asked if they wanted to fry some shrimp. The girls answered yes. Then he, like a sly fox, said good luck to them and turned away. The girl asked if he would show her how to cook shrimp properly. Charlie asked if his friend could join them. They said, of course. Then Charlie started cooking shrimp on the grill. The girl asked what it was for. Charlie replied that the salt would keep the shrimp from burning and the foil would help retain moisture. Then Charlie asked if she had a boyfriend. The girl replied that her boyfriend had joined the army. Ian was upset. The girl said there were 3 of them here. Their friend would come soon and they would be able to have fun. Ian cheered up and said he hoped so too. Charlie finally cooked the shrimp and served them to the girls. But unexpectedly, the girl took the shrimp first and said discontentedly that they didn't wait for her. The girl asked if Sumi was okay. Sumi replied yes, she had just returned from the hospital. Sumi asked if this was the guy who saved her life. Charlie asked if she was okay now. She said yes. Ian asked why they didn't say that it was this girl with them. The girls replied that they wanted to see the reaction. The girls laughed, and Charlie apparently fell in love with a new girl once again. Sumi said, "He cooks well." Ian said, "This boy won the cooking competition." Ian said, "Here's the proof." He showed the photos on his phone. Sumi said, "It's true." Charlie was looking at Sumi and accidentally burned the foil instead of meat, causing a fire. Sumi put out the fire and then asked if he was okay. Charlie answered a little awkwardly. "Yes, everything is fine," Sumi said. "Apparently he should change his clothes," Charlie replied. "Yes, their place is nearby." Sumi apologized and said it was all her fault. Charlie replied that everything was fine and there was no need to worry. Ian said they had a shower and a bed in the hostel to sleep in. They could come visit them. For some reason the girls agreed, and Ian said, let Charlie choose his partner. Although there was no point in even thinking about it. He liked Sumi. A little later, Charlie and Sumi were walking along the beach together. Sumi said how fresh it was. "How nice it is to listen to the sound of the sea," Charlie asked. "Does she like the sound of the sea?" Sumi asked. He laughs. Charlie asked what was wrong. Sumi said to let him figure it out. Sometimes he speaks to her informally, and sometimes he switches to informal. Then Charlie said, "Okay, he will speak informally," Sumi asked. He chose a partner for himself. Charlie asked if she liked him. Sumi asked if she shouldn't have asked first. Suddenly, Charlie grabbed her and asked if she wanted an answer, and if he didn't like her, she would still be with him. Charlie said he liked her. Well, they had never had a proper conversation before, and had only seen each other this morning. And Charlie thought he confessed his feelings to a girl older than him. It seems he is putting too much pressure on her. The trip was good. Charlie took her hand. Sumi asked if the guys weren't there. But Charlie said, oh well, apparently Charlie stopped worrying about putting pressure on the girl in a second. Sumi said if he did anything weird she would kill him. Charlie asked if he looked like a bad guy. They sat down on the sand, and Charlie asked if she was studying at university. Sumi answered, yes, she takes part in plays. For some reason, Sumi asked why he was speaking to her informally. Charlie said, they are holding hands now. Then she said, enough, my hand was sweaty. Then she asked, does he come here often, but what about school? Charlie said he is in first place as the best student in the school, thanks to the book of experience. Sumi said he himself said that he was not a very good cook, even though he won a cooking competition. He also says that he is not a good student, although he is at the top of the student list. Sumi asked if he knew the most beautiful alley. She walked there with friends. It was very beautiful. Charlie asked, so she had already met her parents. His house is there, and it was he who painted those pictures. Charlie showed his photographs. Charlie told Sumi, what next time we'll draw her portrait? Sumi asked, seriously. Then she hopes for the next meeting. Charlie asked if she wanted to meet. Sumi said yes. Then he grabbed her face. No pressure at all. Sumi stopped him and said that it was not possible yet. He was still little, and they had only met today. Then she gave him her phone number and asked Charlie to write it down. She said she wanted to talk. Then they returned home and Sumi said, finally they came. She wants to rest. Ian asked. They came together. He is jealous. Everything went well, Charlie said. He wants to eat. Charlie cooked dinner for everyone and put the frying pan on the table. The guys all ate. Sumi said she was so tired it was time to sleep. They went to the room, and the guys decided to sleep in the living room. The boys went to bed, and Charlie thought he didn't feel like sleeping at all. For some reason, he decided that this was the first time he took a girl's hand. Charlie thought, next to her he wanted to seem like a tough guy. He looked at her and wanted to see her face again. Is this really his first love? He previously called Gina his first love, but apparently he had already forgotten about her existence. Sumi wrote to him. She asked if he was sleeping. Charlie replied, "Not yet." "Why isn't she sleeping?" She replied that she wanted to drink coffee. Charlie wondered why she wanted to drink coffee so late, or if this was an excuse. Charlie came out and met Sumi. She asked. He likes warm coffee. Charlie sat down next to him. Then Charlie said there was only a 2-year difference between them. Sumi said he was lucky. He was lucky to be having coffee with a nice girl like her. Sumi rested her head on Charlie's shoulder. Sumi asked if Charlie could warm her up. Charlie hugged her and said maybe. Sumi said, "Not so close." Charlie said this trip changed him so much. It was the best trip he'd ever taken, because he met her. He asked if they would meet again today. Sumi said that today was a bit inconvenient, so let him come to her at the university tomorrow. They can have a tasty meal in the canteen, she treats them, Charlie replied. Okay. The sun rose and the guys were getting ready to go back. Suddenly, Charlie grabbed Sumi and kissed her on the cheek. He wondered where such courage came from. Later, Charlie fell asleep at the bus stop. Ian shouted to him. It was time. The bus had arrived. Ian asked if he hadn't slept enough or something. Why was he so sleepy? Charlie replied. The world of idols that children don't know. Charlie came home. After a shower, he took out the book of experience and wrote about his first kiss. The next day, Charlie came to the university and said that these clothes suit her. She's just like a student, Sumi said. That's right, she is a student. Charlie took her hand, but Sumi said it was school. Charlie said, it's really not the best place. Sumi said if he meets someone he knows, he can let go of her hand. Sumi took out a meal ticket, but Charlie said he wouldn't need the ticket and showed her his lunchbox. Charlie asked if she knew Chef Ku. Sumi said yes, he is very popular. Charlie said the chef showed him how to cook it properly. They sat down to eat. Sumi ate a rice ball and said it was very tasty when suddenly someone approached them. The guy ate one ball and asked if she made it. Charlie was unhappy and thought he should control himself. Then the guy noticed Charlie and asked if he was a student. Charlie introduced himself, and the guy said that it meant Sumi decided to show him the faculty. Sumi said it was her boyfriend. Maybe we missed something, the guy asked. He was still a schoolboy. Then the guy said, okay, I apologize for bothering you. See you later. Sumi said goodbye to him. Charlie asked who he was. Sumi said a senior colleague. Charlie asked if this was how one talks to a senior. Sumi replied that he was from her theater department and they had many joint works, so she should communicate with him politely. Charlie asked if he was her close friend. Sumi replied that they just do projects together but they are not close. But this did not calm Charlie down, and he said, he just brazenly started eating the food. If this happens again, he will finish him off. It's a pity that he couldn't fight him back, because he didn't really know what kind of person he was. Charlie thought this asshole had feelings for Sumi. Then he remembered how she called him boyfriend and smiled. They ate and went outside. Charlie gave the drawing to Sumi. She said that he drew her after all. Charlie asked if she liked it. Sumi replied, of course, she is so beautiful. Charlie replied, she is his girlfriend. Sumi said she was a beauty even before she became his girlfriend. Then Charlie gave him another drawing. Charlie said this is the best moment of his life. The title of this picture is The First Kiss. Sumi asked if it was his first kiss. Charlie replied, of course, but it wasn't her first. She answered, despite her age. Sumi took out a pen and wrote, the first kiss of two people. Then they went to the faculty. When they came out, it was already late. Suddenly Sumi's phone rang. Sumi answered and asked what happened. She was told not to catch the eye of the elder. She asked why, and they told her that he was drunk now, so he might argue with her boyfriend. Sumi asked what was wrong with him. The girl said that he shouldn't run into him. If she was still at university now, then she should go home quickly. Then Sumi thanked and turned off the phone. Charlie asked if it was about that guy. Sumi asked how he knew. Charlie replied, male intuition. Apparently he likes her, Sumi said. She received a love confession. But she told him that her feelings were not mutual, Charlie said. The prodigal son has returned. The elder one could barely walk. He saw Sumi and said that she knows that he likes her. But instead she's dating some little girl. He walked up to Charlie and said that the little puppy should find himself some other girl. Charlie said he was very drunk so he should watch his language. Then the guy grabbed Charlie. He tried to grab Sumi but Charlie stopped him and said, Sumi is his girlfriend. The guy got angry and tried to hit Charlie, but Charlie dodged. The guy shouted why he didn't attack. Charlie ran to the car with the dash cam. He wasn't going to run away. He wanted the dash cam to capture the attack. He let the guy hit him. Sumi screamed, stop! She screamed. And Charlie thought, if the boy hit him again, he thought Sumi would cry, but he was too kind. Charlie grabbed him by the arm and pulled him over himself, and the boy fell to the ground. Then Charlie climbed on him and tied his hand. The boy screamed in pain. Charlie told him next time he shouldn't dare go near Sumi. Then the other guys came and told Charlie to stop. Then Charlie said he was in self-defense. The guys said, "Just look at him," Charlie replied, before blaming him. "Let them look there. With the help of the video recorder, he will be punished to the fullest." Then he ordered the guy to say that he would never go near Sumi again. He sent him. Then Charlie squeezed his hand harder. Then the boy started whining and said, "Okay." Charlie ordered him to promise and threatened to break his arm. The guy promised and his friends dragged him away from there. Charlie asked if everything was okay. Sumi replied, everything was okay, but his face. Charlie said that nothing hurt. She even cried. Sumi asked him not to get into fights anymore. The next day, Sumi went to her hometown, and Charlie came to the restaurant after a long time. The doctor asked if Charlie had much free time, right? Charlie replied, "No need to worry. She had plenty of free time." Then the doctor said, to be honest, he wanted to show him something valuable. He took out a poster with an inscription. The soldier read the inscription. He sits motionless, and his delicious brewed tea has cooled and the flowers are beginning to open. The director said John liked to drink tea when he was on Jeju Island. Charlie said he really liked John's handwriting. "This is the writer from the Joseon dynasty, but isn't it a fake?" Charlie asked. The soldier said he thought it was real handwriting. The doctor asked why Charlie thought it was fake. Charlie replied that he didn't know John's writing very well, but that handwriting looked too beautiful. If you look at each hieroglyph closely, you can see that it is written in perfect script, which raises suspicion. "It may look like John's handwriting, but this particular text is a fake," the doctor asked. "Since the handwriting is similar, then how can it be a fake?" The director asked Charlie to explain more clearly. Then Charlie said that he thought it was an ordinary seal. "This fake text is not worth a penny," the doctor asked, meaning that this fake cannot be sold even for cheap. Charlie replied, "Everything is correct," the soldier said, "but they don't even see the difference between a fake and real handwriting." Then Charlie wrote the hieroglyph and said, "In the Seoul hospital in the lobby there is his text with the hieroglyph medicine hanging. He hopes that the people who are in this hospital will feel much better and will continue to recover. There is an atmosphere in Chinese characters, as if they have a heart, but he does not feel the atmosphere when looking at this text." Charlie closed his eyes and imagined the island, then wrote the text. The old people said it turned out well. The lawyer said there was no need to be too upset. The doctor replied, no, he was not too upset. Then the lawyer asked how much he paid for this fake. The doctor replied, 80 million won, 5 million rubles. If he paid 80 million for 14 hieroglyphs, then one hieroglyph is worth about 6 million. The doctor said that if this is a fake text, then it is of very high quality, but this is still a cheap price. The lawyer asked where he bought it. The doctor replied that he bought it from a merchant who was famous for his really good work. He bought it in Jintan. The lawyer said he knew roughly where the store was. The director said it was quite a popular place to sell ancient scrolls. I wonder who else fell for the same trick they did. Charlie asked if he thought no one would know he was selling counterfeit scrolls. The lawyer said it turned out the merchant was cheating. The doctor said, but this is a popular place for selling scrolls. How could something like this happen there? The lawyer replied, there are many types of swindlers, Charlie said. This is a small swindler who deceived so meanly. After all, a great swindler hides a lie in the truth. If you hide 1 out of 10 lies, no one will understand. Take the cookies from this restaurant as an example. The cookies from this restaurant are delicious. But what if one of them goes bad? You won't know until you eat it. So people have this belief that cookies are delicious. The director asked, so what will they do with the 80 million won? And what if this merchant cheats a few more people? The lawyer said he would sort it out now. He called and said that one of his friends had been deceived by a merchant. He wants to come to Jintang. Charlie said he needs to choose the people who want to go with him. If they go together, they can prove to him that the fake thing is not worth that kind of money. Charlie asked if there would be a few fraudulent traders there and they would say that the text was not a fake. The lawyer said Charlie would go with them. The director said yes. Together, they would expose the fraudster. Then the lawyer told his people to tell the seller that he would now have customers. In the car, the doctor said he heard that the merchant had a large loan, the lawyer asked, and with the help of forged letters, he wants to pay it off. And he said that his whole family had emigrated. The director said that it was all suspicious. He was becoming more and more convinced of this. Charlie said he would introduce himself to the merchant as his grandson to avoid suspicion. They arrived, and the merchants greeted them. The lawyer said his friend had bought that good letter, so they wanted to buy something too. The merchant said he was buying John's work. This work is quite popular. Many people wanted to buy it. The lawyer asked if he had any more work. The merchant said, of course, he would show them. The director asked if it was Bong Xiong's work. The merchant said yes. It was painted in the Ming dynasty during the Japanese invasion of Korea. Charlie thought that, except for the prince's work, everything else was fake. He was sure that all these works were completely fake. He told this to the lawyer. Then the lawyer said he wanted to buy the prince's work, and the merchant became noticeably nervous. The lawyer asked if he liked the work, how much it cost. The merchant asked if Bon Sun's work was also good. Maybe hers. And the lawyer replied, Bon Sun's work is too expensive, the merchant said. He has good taste. This letter is worth 150 million. Then the lawyer said, it's not such an expensive job. He thought it would be more expensive. The merchant said, it's an expensive job. Bong Song wrote this work as a gift to the Ming dynasty. The lawyer replied that if it was true, he could pay 200 million won. But isn't this a fake? Asked the lawyer. The merchant said what he was talking about. This is real work. The lawyer asked if he was trying to deceive him. The merchant said it was clearly Bong Sun's handwriting. Then the lawyer said that the handwriting looked like Bong Sun's, but he thought it was an ordinary seal. The merchant got angry and shouted that it was a lie. The lawyer said let him tell him everything as it is. His late father was a good man. So why is he ruining his family's reputation and selling fakes? The merchant shouted. What is he talking about? These are real works. Then the lawyer rang the bell, and a minute later the police knocked on the door, and the merchant quickly ran away. But Charlie pushed him to the floor and held him down. There were more than 50 fake works in Jintan. Of these, 6 were long scrolls, and all the rest were fakes. Except for the scrolls, there were many things that had already been sold. If the police hadn't caught him, he could have earned about 100 billion won. At home, Charlie told them about the trip, and his parents asked him. He was still in school, where he was going. Charlie replied that he hadn't decided yet. Mom asked who he was going to go with. Charlie replied, alone. Mom shouted, it's dangerous alone, Dad said. Only Charlie can go. He has to call every day 3 times a day. But Mom was unhappy. Dad said they should trust him. Then he gave them a card. Dad asked when he was going to leave. Charlie replied tomorrow. Mom was still against it, but both her husband and son ignored her. Charlie thought, he doesn't want to lose his parents' trust, so he has to get home safe and sound. He went into the room and took out a map. He was thinking about which place would be best to choose for the trip. The next day, Charlie sat on the bus and thought that maybe he should get some experience before the trip. Charlie took out a book and asked where he could go to avoid starving to death. The book answered. The request was heard. The book took him back to the time when he was born and was abandoned under a bridge to beggars. Growing up and becoming homeless, he can say that the life of a beggar can also be good. He played and ate. One of his favorite things to do was to fight with dogs, for which he only needed 1 bamboo stick. Later, it was his lunchtime, and when people had eaten their fill, they gave them their food. Charlie came to the city and thought, it's very hot. He can't find a place where he can rest. He called Sumi and said he came to Chunatron. Sumi asked if he came himself. Isn't he a schoolboy? Charlie said that when he travels, he always meets only good people. Sumi asked, so he went on the trip to meet another girl. He replied, no, Sumi said. She was joking, Charlie said. He's going to see the play now. Sumi said the play was great. He could see the actors live, Charlie said. But he wanted to see her most of all. She replied that she would also like to see him. Later the guy asked Charlie. He had been here for quite a long time, what he wanted. Charlie replied that he would like to see the play. The guy said, okay. He is the writer of this script. His name is Ken. Then Charlie said he was a high school student. Ken said since he was younger than him, he would speak to him informally. He ate, Ken asked. Charlie said, not yet. Then Ken said, then they can eat kimbap. They went into the theater and Charlie was eating. Ken asked if Charlie would like to act in the play. Charlie thought about it and Ken said, no objections. Let him go get ready, Charlie thought. So many things had happened to him on this trip. After the show, the band had a party. Ken asked how he liked it. It was his first time on stage. Charlie replied, it was fun. Ken asked why Charlie decided to go on the trip. Charlie replied, he wants to find his dream. Ken asked what Charlie was good at. Charlie replied, studying, cooking, drawing, giving massage. Then Ken said, so much, Charlie is even better than him. Charlie asked to show how he cooks. Ken said, of course. Charlie said cooking is about making incompatible ingredients come together, and it turns out to be a really good dish, and these ingredients really do make a delicious dish. Ken said, Charlie is good. He better choose a job that he really loves. And so that this business would bring him money, Charlie asked how his favorite job was. Ken answered, yes. His favorite job in business is writing scripts. He gets good money for his favorite thing. Charlie asked how he should choose between what he likes and what he is good at, which way he should go. Ken asked why Charlie was so worried about this. Then Charlie thought, this is the answer to the question of life, so what to do? They look happy and they have money. Is it just fame or what? Different people have different answers to questions. As their ups and downs, should he make his choice, Charlie treated the boys to food. In the morning, Charlie thanked Ken for his hospitality and advice. Ken asked if Charlie would be going home now. Charlie replied, no, he was going to walk to Seoul. Ken replied, very strange decision. Ken wished him good luck. Charlie went forward thinking, go step by step. He was already ready to go to Seoul. Charlie was picking grass and thinking he was going to try to get the hell out of here. Nature has quite a lot of food to offer him. Charlie caught himself some dinner. The car stopped and the man asked what he was doing there alone. The aunt said that she thought he was very young. They came down and the man said, they are dishonest here. So they went on a trip. Charlie said hello to them. The man asked what he was doing. Charlie replied that he was cooking. The man said that it smelled like some kind of medicine. Charlie replied that it just smelled like medicinal herbs. He collected the herbs in the mountains and made a fire. The man said he would help and began to rummage through the fire himself. The aunt said he was an Eastern doctor. He just wants to look at the medicinal herb, the man said. It's just difficult to distinguish poisonous herb from medicinal one. They joined him for dinner. The sun went down, the man said. Delicious, the aunt added. She never thought she would taste such delicious food outdoors. Then she invited Charlie for tea. The three of them walked up to the car and Charlie said, he's so big, the man said. Let him lie down. He'll give him acupuncture. Charlie asked if he did acupuncture at the campsite. The man said it was free. He has already traveled all over the country to cure many sick people with this procedure. Charlie asked if it was possible to cure the sick with just one procedure. The man replied, of course. His procedure helped everyone. Then Charlie said that since he didn't have to pay for it, he would like to see the result already. The man asked if he was going to Gangwon-do tomorrow. Charlie wanted to go with them. Charlie replied, with pleasure. Charlie wrote down his experience in the play, the conversation and the meetings, then thought about the medicine that could cure without money. Is it possible to replace the medicine with common folk remedies like green onions and garlic? Charlie asked the book if there was a person from another era who practiced folk medicine. The book answered yes. Then Charlie spent 5,000 points on folk medicine, the highest points he ever had in saving a person's life. Then the book sent Charlie back to the past, to the city of the dead, where all his parents and relatives died. The man was begging for alms, but after this incident his life stopped and he is going to find medicine. In order to help people in the future, he read all the books on medicine, and good doctors helped him. He treated people with the help of advice and books he read, but it didn't work yet. Because of him, people were dying, and he wondered if there really wasn't a suitable medicine. How much blood would be on his hands now? Charlie wondered what kind of crazy person this was going to do. This man was definitely a doctor. In exchange for human life, more people are saved than killed, so he will continue to experiment and heal more and more people. Charlie thought it was some kind of horror movie. He decided to sleep. The book gave him a skill, the procedure of bloodletting. In the morning, Charlie and his aunt went out for some air, and Charlie asked if she could give him her hand. Her body is weak, but she has an oriental doctor for a husband, so he can take care of her, Charlie thought. But suddenly he became nervous. She was in the same condition as the patients of that doctor in the book. He can see her chakra just like that doctor. He even learned to see people's chakra. And now, with the help of his experience, he can see the chakra. And Charlie also noticed a brain tumor. Charlie started giving her a massage. The aunt asked what he was doing. Charlie replied, he was just going to give her a massage. He thought it was hard to cure, but when that crazy doctor had people he couldn't cure. Then he used another means. It is forbidden to harm the body, hair, flesh, and bones, so he could not harm the patient's body. He knew this, but still decided to do it. So his patients died. He tried to use folk medicine. But even this didn't help. This doctor looks more like Jack the Ripper than a doctor. Charlie thought he just needed to lower her blood pressure and relieve her fatigue. The aunt asked him to let go of her hand. It was already itching, and said he could finish the examination. Charlie thought her body had reacted somehow to the story of that doctor in the book. The man brought her tea. Then Charlie realized that her husband knew about her condition and that this might be their last trip. They came to the village and Charlie said, "This village is in the mountains," the man said. "This village is so remote, they didn't even know there was a war on the 25th. The old man approached the man and greeted him. The aunt asked if he had eaten. The man replied that he had gotten a little hungry on the way. The man asked if they had seen Chong. The old man replied that he had left last year and might be back soon. Then the man touched his hand and asked if he was a little nervous. The old man said that when he arrives, he always makes noise. The man said he just needed to change his lifestyle to feel better. Soon a line formed outside the car, and the man began to do acupuncture. Will asked if he was okay. The old man answered yes, then asked if it was Will's grandson, so friendly and sweet. It had been a full day of seeing patients. The sun was starting to set. Charlie said there was one last patient left. Charlie asked if she was tired. The aunt replied, a little. Then Charlie suggested that she lie down so he could give her a massage. Auntie said Charlie is so good. Charlie doing massage. Thought he had a lot of experience with massage court. He was determined to relieve the fatigue. But he still couldn't help but think about curing her completely. Charlie decided to climb the mountain for herbs. Will went with him. Charlie collected herbs. Will said Charlie knew more about medicinal herbs than he did. Charlie said not at all. Charlie thought that if it weren't for the Book of Experience, he would never have been able to recognize ginseng. Will suggested they take a rest. They sat down and Charlie said the root was raw, so it had a lot of water in it. Then Will said, he's so young, but he knows more than him lately. Because of his wife, he can't relax. Charlie said he must be tired. Will said yes. His head was splitting, he wouldn't be able to sleep with that kind of pain. Then Charlie asked if Grandpa was sick, like Grandma. Will was noticeably surprised, then became sad. Charlie asked if he had any ginseng. Ginseng is one of the best medicinal plants. It strengthens the internal organs, calms the body and mind. Charlie said he wanted to cook it. Will asked himself, it's not that easy if you don't know the recipe, Charlie thought. He didn't know before. If he says he has learned a lot, he will believe it. Charlie asked if Grandpa knows about the Shaolin Monastery. Will replied, yes. Charlie said that the massage that Grandma needs to be given is also his secret. And he learned a thing or two from one monk. Charlie began to show off his massage skills. Charlie said the monk told him that this tree is sacred to them. Will said it was like he met Bruce Lee. Then Charlie suggested making medicine together. Will replied that in herbalism harmony is needed. So you can't just mix A, B, and C and expect a good result. You have to follow the law of the 5 elements. Will said. Charlie thought of putting out the medicine. Charlie replied, it's best to dry it, but he doesn't have time. Charlie finished making the medicine and asked if Will wanted to try it. Will said it was good. And then I thought, use tie on the 1,000-year-old tree to get the ingredients, weird kid. Charlie said he wanted to give it to his grandma. Will said she was already taking medication, and she was under anesthesia. And Charlie said it was okay because it improved circulation, and his aunt came over and asked what they were doing there. She asked, so Charlie made the medicine. Will said Charlie himself got and prepared the medicinal herbs. Aunt tried the medicine. She said Charlie did it for her. She had to try it. Will said, now let him go to bed. It's time for acupuncture. The 3 of them went into another room. After checking her pulse, Will realized that her pulse had become much better. She began the procedure. But Charlie thought that this needed to be done a little deeper. And this was too deep. The skill of doctors was no joke. Grandpa had good skills, but something was wrong. Charlie asked himself to calm down and think about everything. The next morning, the boys started eating. Auntie said, it's so delicious. The miso soup is amazing. Charlie said it was because the ingredients were sourced from the mountains. And his aunt asked what the difference was between mountain miso and city miso. In plastic containers, Charlie replied, you need a breathable jar. Fermentation needs to take place. Miso needs to be infused with good natural ingredients. Aunt asked if there was anything Charlie didn't know. Charlie replied that he had a habit of studying what he liked, and his aunt asked what he liked most. This question caught Charlie off guard, he thought. He does a lot of things well, thanks to the book. But what does he like most? Charlie answered. Helping people, his aunt asked. And how is he going to do it? Charlie answered as best he could. Charlie had been to many places with his grandparents, and he helped people who needed help. He was happy in this picturesque place. More than anywhere else, Charlie was glad to have been here. Soon they arrived in Seoul. Charlie asked if this was really an Oriental medicine clinic. Will asked if it looked too good. Will asked, Charlie loves books. There's a library at the hospital. If he wants, he can go. Charlie said sure. Will said he had to work, so see you later. Charlie came to the library. He found a book about medicinal herbs and got engrossed in reading. A man approached Charlie and said hello. His name is Julius. He said that Charlie's parents praised him very much. Charlie said hello to him. Julius said Dan is hard to read because it has a lot of Chinese characters. Charlie replied, he likes Chinese characters. Then Julius asked. He heard that Charlie was in high school and had already chosen a university. Charlie replied, yes. He was going to enter the Eastern Medical University. He wants to formalize his knowledge. Charlie wanted to prove that skills do not require abilities. Will said, that sounds great, and asked, that school is quite prestigious. I'm sure he can handle it. Charlie asked if his grandfather had studied there. Will replied that he was an acupuncture professor. And this is the professor and his grandson. Julius said they will see each other often when Charlie enters. Julius gave him a book and said his father wrote it. Charlie took it and thanked him. Charlie returned home and his parents ran to him. His mother said that her son had lost so much weight. Then Charlie explained that he was fine, and the next day he went to school. He took a photo of his grades and sent it to Sumi. She said he did well on his exams. What reward does he want? Charlie asked how about a date. Sumi said, let her take the final test first. Then Charlie suggested dinner. Ian asked, wow, an affair with a schoolgirl. Charlie reminded that she was a student. After school, he met Sumi and said it was so delicious because he was next to Sumi. She asked if there was any news. Charlie replied that he had decided to enroll in the Oriental Medicine program. Sumi asked why not at Seoul University. And Charlie replied, Ken University is famous for its Department of Oriental Medicine. Sumi asked, and that's it. Charlie replied. Sumi is there, Sumi said. It's so nice to have a smart guy, then Charlie suggested. Going on a date to the library. Sumi laughed and asked if he liked her or the library. Charlie asked if she wanted to go somewhere else. Sumi replied she was joking. Then the phone rang and asked how Grandma was doing. She replied, Charlie is doing well too, right? Charlie said he wanted to go to the herbal market tomorrow and suggested going together. Grandma said to come to the market at 6 in the morning. Charlie replied, okay, see you tomorrow. Sumi asked, so this is his grandmother, Charlie answered. Yes, it is she, Sumi said. Charlie is a good person. Charlie answered, of course, and laughed. He said that he wanted to pass his final exams faster and become an adult. Sumi asked, that's all she could think about, Charlie asked. He said it out loud. They laughed. Then Charlie thought about it, and finally his future path in life was determined. In the morning, Charlie came to the market with his grandparents. The man greeted them. Will asked how business was. The man replied, in fact, there is a decline in production now. Charlie noticed dried safflower flowers. Will asked if he knew what they were for. Charlie replied, it helps with sore joints. They are good at treating women's diseases, the aunt replied. This is her grandson, the man said, and he knows a lot about herbs. Then Charlie decided to pick out some herbs for his mom and dad. The man said all his herbs were good, but he only chooses the best ones. Aunt asked if it was great. Charlie also noticed the acupuncture games. Will asked if he liked the needles. Charlie said whether they were good or not. He would only know when he touched them, but they looked good. Then Will told him to touch it. Charlie asked if it was possible. The man nodded. Charlie touched the needles and thought, good center of gravity, similar to the needles that doctor used. He said they were perfect. Will asked if he could promise not to use them madly until he became more experienced. Charlie said sure. Then Will said if that was the case he would buy them for him. It would be a reminder of him. Then Will told Charlie to go to his grandmother. He would pay and join them later. Will told the man to pack them for his grandson. The man asked if that was too much. Will said he could handle it. The man said, but these needles would cost 5 million won. Charlie didn't know about it. Will said the price was so high because there was only one person in Korea who could make them. A great master of acupuncture, he is renowned for his ability to perform the most delicate work. Will thought that unless his eyes were lying to him, these needles would not be a waste of money. The final exam began. A lot of time had passed since Charlie found the experience book, and he studied cooking, martial arts, and even Oriental medicine. Today is the day of the decisive battle. He's on his way to his dream. Charlie has prepared some things just in case. He's a little nervous. Sumi said let him show his knowledge, number 1 in the ranking. Charlie asked if he does well, she will reward him. Then Sumi asked if he thought about it all the time. Charlie laughed and said not all the time. It seems like he won't give up. But if she kisses him, he'll cope, Sumi said. No way. Then she said that then he would think only about her and would definitely fail the important exam. Charlie said then, after finishing, let her put on lemon-flavored lipstick. Sumi asked why. Charlie replied so it would taste better. Sumi told him to focus on the exam, now that coming of age is just around the corner. At school, Ian said if they were seated next to each other, he would cheat. Charlie asked if he could share something. Charlie gave him the medicine he had recently made. Ian asked if he was right. Charlie was a future doctor after all. The bell rang. The first stage was over. Then the second stage began. The students tried their best. As expected, Charlie passed the test with flying colors and received his long-awaited reward. Charlie said, delicious. Sumi called him a pervert. Then Charlie said he was talking about lemon lipstick. Sumi was embarrassed, and Charlie asked if she wore that lipstick for him. Sumi replied no, it was just a coincidence. Charlie said she chose it because it was his favorite flavor. Sumi screamed no. When the exam was over, he thought he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But then he received a request for help from Hina. She said that there was a problem with the restaurant. The next day, Charlie went to a restaurant. The boss asked if he wrote the test well. Charlie answered yes. Then the boss said that if that was the case, he would treat him to some delicious food as a reward for passing the exam. He asked what he thought made good food. Charlie replied, fresh seasonal ingredients. The chef answered, yes, today he is going to cook saberfish and mackerel as well as shellfish. Charlie said it would taste better if grilled. The chef said yes. Grilled fish tastes much better. The boss asked if he had already chosen a specialty. Charlie answered, yes. He would enroll in a course in Oriental medicine. Then the chef said he hoped Charlie would choose cooking and become his apprentice. Charlie replied he was sorry. The chef gave Charlie a clam to try, then Charlie gave the chef a fish to try. After eating, they sat down to talk. Charlie said it was much tastier than he expected. The chef said he was glad he liked it. The wood warms. It's so calming to watch the burning coals. Charlie took him by the hand and asked if something was bothering him. The boss replied, "Nothing special. Thanks for your concern." But then Charlie saw that the boss's heart was on fire. It was fire syndrome. Fire syndrome is a phenomenon in Eastern medicine, explained by stagnation of cardiac energy. It has terrible stress. It looked like he hadn't slept for several nights in a row, and his life force was running out. Charlie wondered what was going on. He asked what happened to the boss. The boss replied, "No." Then Charlie asked the chef if he remembered how he helped him in the sauce incident. The chef replied, how could he forget that? Suddenly a guy came up to them and said that the guests wanted the chef to receive them. The chef asked Charlie to wait here. Hina came up and put down the firewood, then asked if he had already chosen a specialty, Oriental medicine. Charlie replied, yes, he realized a lot on the trip. Hina asked, his dreams are finally defined. And Charlie thought, yes, now he even has a girlfriend. Earlier, he came with Sumi to his parents. Mom asked if they only came here to eat. Dad suggested listening to them until the end. Charlie said Sumi asked to have dinner together, Mom said, so he only came because Sumi asked. Then Charlie asked if there was a fight between his mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. His mother hit him and yelled at him. He called her a bad mother-in-law. Charlie said, don't worry, she's always like this. Mom shouted, isn't it absurd to get married at that age? Hina thought that she herself recommended the trip, and on it he met his beloved. Her unrequited love will remain unrequited, then Hina told. Grandpa wanted Charlie to become a cook. Charlie said he was sorry, but he would try to come more often. And he said, it seems that something bad is happening to the boss, Hina said. That's why she invited him. Not long ago, world-class gourmet Michael, an American of Chinese descent, came to visit them. Something happened. Michael wrote on his social networks that the taste had changed, and he had no choice but to cry. Charlie said the boss really seemed to have changed. Hina said it wouldn't be a big deal if there were fewer guests. Then Charlie asked if it was the ingredients. Hina replied that almost all the food was eaten, but they tried what was left. The problem is not with them. Charlie asked if the problem is with the service. Hina answered that the service in the restaurant is the best. Charlie asked what the problem was then. Hina replied that she didn't know, but her grandfather was getting worse and worse. More and more copies of the restaurant are appearing, thanks to word of mouth and social networks. Bad rumors are spreading. Charlie asked if this was the work of competitors. Hina answered no. Such a wealthy person honestly evaluates everything according to his own taste. Then Charlie said that if he held a grudge or something like that. Hina replied that he knew his grandfather's character. He is very non-confrontational. Charlie asked if he could show him the post again. Charlie said it didn't sound like a restaurant. Maybe he meant that it didn't taste the same as it used to. Hina asked if she meant that Michael's taste had changed. Charlie replied, if a person is in poor health, his taste buds dulled. Charlie asked if they had tried contacting Michael. Hina replied, no. Charlie said if he explains on social media that he can't taste because he's not feeling well. But Hina said it wasn't that easy. Charlie stood up abruptly and said he would go to the boss. Charlie asked the book if Michael could clarify the situation. The book replied that it was impossible. The workers would worry if they knew their boss was sick, Charlie thought, even if Michael was sick. He won't reveal his position, but something needs to be done with the boss. There has to be a way. Charlie went to the boss and said he needed to tell the boss something. The boss said, I think he talked to Hina. And Charlie said he had heard about Michael. The boss replied, nothing special. But Charlie replied that the chef had not cooked all his life to hear this addressed to him. The boss thanked him for making Charlie think that way. Charlie replied that it wasn't about his food. Charlie said it was Michael's taste sensitivities. Something was wrong with his health. Then Charlie suggested inviting Michael again. The boss replied. Michael mentioned that he would stay in Korea for a few days. He would call him. Charlie went to the bookstore, and his uncle said that the loss of taste could be due to liver disease. You hardly feel the sweet, only the salty, Charlie asked. Is it better for him? The uncle answered. He is on the verge of death. After all, alcohol and tobacco were forbidden to him. Charlie asked him to take care of himself. His uncle thanked him. Then Charlie went to the hospital. The doctor said the fraud case was resolved, and he asked if he had already chosen a specialty. Charlie answered, yes. He decided to enter the University of Oriental Medicine. The doctor said, modern medicine or Oriental? There is little difference, Charlie asked. When a person is sick, his perception of taste changes. So. Then Charlie asked if the doctor could send him some materials on the topic. The doctor asked for an email address. At home, Charlie read the article in English. The translation from English became easier thanks to the book of experience. He decided to help the chef cope with stress. A few days later, he came to the restaurant. Michael came to the restaurant again. Michael said hello and said he was very glad to receive an invitation from them. The boss invited him inside, and Charlie watched Michael and thought, dragging his left leg. Now he was sure of his illness. Hina brought him a tray of sauces, and the chef asked him to choose the optimal salty and sweet sauce. Michael tasted it and said, 7th is salty, 9th is sweet, and Charlie thought, he really doesn't feel the taste. In the kitchen, the chef also tasted it, and said it was worse than he thought. Charlie said the chef needed to add more seasoning today than before. The boss said it won't work. Charlie said it, but he has to. Then the boss shouted it's impossible. Food with that much salt is poison, the chef explained. Charlie said Michael was sick, and that was the only way he could taste it. The boss said he wanted to do the right thing. Charlie said he hadn't thought of that. The boss said the customer's health was more important than the taste of the food. Charlie asked what to do then. The chef returned to Michael and asked if Michael could come into the kitchen. Michael replied that it was a great honor for him to be in the chef's kitchen. Charlie thought that this was probably the first time there was a guest in the kitchen. The chef chopped up the daikon and offered Michael a taste. Michael took a bite and said it was juicy, and the texture was great. Charlie watched from the side and thought, all texture and juiciness, no mention of sweetness. The chef served oysters, tender and meaty. He asked to swallow them whole, but it was unlikely to work on Michael. In cool weather, spicy cod soup would be great, said the chef. Charlie and Michael looked at the soup. Charlie thought, it looks delicious. You can tell the taste of food by its appearance, smell, and aroma. The right approach for someone who has no sense of taste. If he were a writer, he would write a book about the chef. Heart is more important than experience, the chef said. It is much more pleasant to eat freshly prepared food. Michael started eating the dish and the chef was cleaning up. Charlie thought the chef wasn't nervous. After finishing his meal, Michael shouted that it was the most delicious food in his life, and the chef thanked him. Hina came into the kitchen and said the car was waiting for Michael. Then they went out. The cooks started to clean up, but Charlie asked them to wait. Then he took a photo of the dish. At the exit, the boss said that he had eaten well today. The boss asked him to come again. Charlie whispered to Hina to talk to him about social media. The boss said he would take Michael there. Hina went up to the boss and said, Grandpa must be tired, he can see Michael out. But the boss said it himself. Hina looked at Charlie and he thought what was going on. Charlie said that next time he should ask Michael to post this photo on social media, and showed his phone. Hina asked why this. Charlie replied that it would make a bigger impression than full plates. In the evening, Hina called Charlie and told him that Michael had posted on social media. Charlie said he would look into it. Hina thanked him for helping with Michael and for the incident with the sauces. And Charlie said it was a thank you for always making great food. Hina said she was going to the French section of the restaurant. Charlie said, okay, and asked her to contact him when she got back. Hina thanked him. They turned off the phone, and Charlie looked at Michael's post, in which he praised the restaurant. Then Charlie thought, France, so suddenly with Hina so many memories, a meeting is always followed by a parting. He got up and wrote about the experience in a book. He thought that all this experience was gained thanks to close people, and he doesn't want to lose such important memories for him. Then Charlie remembered that today was the day of admission of applicants. Later, Charlie's parents congratulated him on his admission, and Charlie asked if they had made beef samgyeopsal themselves. Mom apologized and said they couldn't buy anything better. Dad poured Charlie a drink and said the day had come. Charlie tried it and shouted, bitter. Dad replied, don't judge by the first feeling. The first shot is always drunk with Dad. Dad poured Charlie some alcohol again. Then Dad invited Mom to have a drink with them. Mom asked if this was just an excuse to get drunk, right? Mom asked if he had ever seen her drink. Dad said that before marriage she liked to drink. Charlie stood up and said he would pour them a drink and said thank you for raising him. Sumi called him and said the university was holding an MT. When students from one department go drinking for a few days for freshmen. Charlie asked, and it's so important, Sumi said. Of course, it's a great experience, Charlie said. Well, if she says so. Sumi wished him to take care of himself. Charlie asked if she would kiss him. Sumi said it was stupid, but kissed him anyway. The next day, Charlie went to university, he thought, to go to the MT in the impudent academic year. Then Charlie noticed his grandfather and his son, now his professors. They waved to him, and Charlie bowed. Charlie thought, a new stage in his life is beginning? So exciting, the man said. He is the curator of the third group, Heath. If any difficulties arise or something is needed, let them contact him. The boys laughed when they heard his name. Then the curator said that if they found his name so funny, they could call him brother. Then one of the guys asked if there were any girls in their group. The curator replied, no. All the guys except Charlie were upset. Suddenly the curator shouted, "Attention! From now on there will be hellish competition between them." Their hellish competition in Oriental medicine begins, as they see that there are pores on the surface of the tangerine. In these pores they must place 10 needles. The needles must not go beyond the skin. If even a drop of juice spills, they are disqualified. The trick is to relax your fingers. If you press too lightly, the needle will bend. If you press too hard, you can damage the pulp. If you don't insert it all the way, the needles will simply fall out. Whoever manages to do it will get a double portion of booze from him. Charlie thought, if he poked the wrong way, he would bend this way and that. They would all be doing this for the first time here. One almost broke the needles. The other immediately pierced the orange pulp. The curator approached Charlie, and he asked if he had finished yet. Charlie replied yes. Then the curator asked to look at his work. He thought that if a person was dexterous, the task could be completed in 10 minutes, although a good result would require about 30. But how did this guy do it all in 3 minutes? He even only managed to pierce the skin. The curator said he did it, then suggested trying again in front of him. Charlie did everything in an instant. The curator was shocked and could not believe his eyes. The other students also froze, looking at Charlie. The curator brought an orange to another teacher, and he said, "Here are all 10. The teacher asked, "Already? Accuracy is more important than speed." The teacher started checking the work and said, "Amazing accuracy. Incredible work. I can't even believe it." He asked who did it. The curator said Charlie from the third group. The teacher asked if Heath did it. The curator said no. Then the teacher called Charlie and asked him to repeat what he had done once. Charlie demonstrated his skills again, and both the students and teachers could not believe what they were seeing. The teacher thought this was professor-level acupuncture, and then he announced the winner of the test. The students said, "Already, it's only been 5 minutes. This is a new record." The teacher gave Charlie a present, and he congratulated him on his victory. And as a reward, Charlie received a good Western whiskey. Then came the arm wrestling, and ancient kanji deciphering competitions. Charlie quickly became popular. The next morning, Charlie woke up with a terrible hangover. The other guys probably felt bad. Then Charlie got up and went to the kitchen. He took out a couple of packs of ramen to make breakfast. The curator also woke up and asked what that pleasant smell was. Charlie replied, "Hangover soup." Charlie gave the curator a taste and the curator said it melted in the mouth. Charlie asked if it wasn't just kimchi and ramen soup. But the curator said the taste was amazing. The guys finally woke up and said they wanted to eat too. Charlie gave them a portion and the guys said it was delicious. It even made them feel better. First acupuncture and now cooking. "Is there anything he can't do?" asked the student. Charlie replied, "Singing and dancing." 2 weeks later, Charlie went to university, passed the MT successfully. It was time to join the club. Charlie was thinking about which club he should join when he noticed a strange room downstairs. He knocked, but no one answered. So he went inside himself and looked around. Charlie was wondering what kind of club this was. Suddenly a man came up from behind and asked who he was. Charlie apologized. And he said he knocked, but no one answered. The man said his name is Norman, he is from architecture, and asked, "And Charlie?" Charlie replied, "Charlie is a first-year student in the Faculty of Oriental Medicine," Norman asked. So Charlie was interested in the club. And Charlie replied, while he was looking around, "What wasn't there?" Norman replied, "That's because there is accommodation and food provided here." Norman said to write his name and contact details. Charlie asked if he was already filling out an application. Then Norman asked if it was too early. Could they eat a little first? Food brings people together. They started eating and Charlie asked the name of the club, Blind Sim. Norman replied, "Yes, it is a volunteer club." Charlie asked what they do. Norman replied that he volunteers at a kindergarten, preparing food. "In the summer, I went to the village, worked on the farm, helped." Charlie said that classes would start soon. It was time for him to go. Norman said, "Okay, let him go." Charlie thanked him for the food and went to the exit. But Norman threw him a soda before he left and said it was dessert. Charlie thanked him and left. Grandpa wrote to Charlie. He asked Charlie to come to the hospital after school. After school, Charlie immediately went to the hospital. He was worried that something had happened to his grandmother. Charlie greeted his grandfather and asked what it was. His grandfather said it was the results of the analysis of the ingredients of the pills he had prepared. A comparative analysis was conducted between rats that ate the tablets and rats that did not. Surprisingly, the rats that took the drug were healthier in many ways. "It looks like a medicine from the Shaolin Temple, so he is thinking about selling the drug." Charlie said he thought this medicine would help many people. Grandpa said Charlie needed to give his permission for it. If the drug hits the market, Charlie will receive about 10% of its sales. Grandpa asked him why he was so surprised. Charlie said it both pleased and puzzled him. Then grandfather suggested going to the library on the 6th floor to see grandmother. They went upstairs and Charlie said hello to his grandmother. She said, "Here is her sweet grandson." Charlie took her hand and asked if she was feeling better. He used his abilities and found out that she was feeling better. Her energy was gradually getting stronger. Grandfather put down a box of books and said, "These are books on Oriental medicine." "Charlie knows Chinese?" asked the grandfather. Charlie answered, "Yes, he has already read the 4 books." Grandpa asked if Charlie could write down what he said. Charlie said okay. And the grandfather said that a noble man has 3 joys, and ruling the celestial empire is not one of them. Charlie wrote everything down and Grandpa said, "Charlie is really good at writing with a pen." But Charlie said it would be better with a brush. Grandpa asked, "Does he mean Charlie writes calligraphy?" Charlie answered yes. Then his grandfather brought him a piece of paper and some ink brushes and asked. Grandpa asked, "Now would Charlie like to try again?" Charlie asked, "handwriting or font?" And Grandpa asked if he had a favorite writing style or font. Charlie said Mr. Bon or Wang. Then Grandpa asked, "So much, can he repeat Mr. Chu's handwriting?" Charlie concentrated. Charlie wrote calligraphy, and Grandpa hung up the poster. Charlie asked if he liked it. Grandpa answered, "Calligraphy and Chinese characters are also used in Eastern medicine, and as a reward he wants to show him something." Charlie asked if this was an ink pot, and Grandpa replied, "Yes, it was made from Dua stone. The best ink pots are made from this stone. They call her the Queen of Inkwells. She was made by Ben. His works are considered a cultural heritage in the province of Northern Vincent." Charlie asked if he could try it. Grandpa said sure. Charlie started trying the inkwell. And then Charlie immediately realized that there was a huge difference from other ink pens. The color was pure and streak-free. He said it was so calming. Grandpa said a good inkwell relieves stress and helps you relax. Charlie said it looked like a black lake and asked if Grandpa had a good brush. Grandpa said there is a great one from the province. It is the 4 Seasons method from Tang. This would do just fine. Grandpa said he should hang it up, Charlie thought. He was such a child sometimes. Grandpa asked. Charlie is probably hungry. He suggested going home. They went to Grandpa's house. At home, my grandfather's son said that this is a difficult year. It would be good to study Chinese in advance. Grandfather came up and said that Charlie could teach them himself. Julius asked what he was talking about. And Grandpa answered. Charlie showed him something in the library. Julius asked, did he write it? But what about the handwriting? Grandpa replied. This is Mr. Chu's handwriting. Charlie can copy the handwriting of many famous people. Then Grandma came up and said, enough chatting. It's time to eat. Grandpa told Charlie to invite his parents to the clinic. At home, Charlie wrote about his experience in a book, when suddenly the director called and Charlie asked what was going on. The principal asked how Charlie was. Was he enjoying school? Charlie replied yes. He hoped he would be free soon and they would meet. Then the director asked what happened. Charlie asked for a meeting for the first time. Charlie replied, today he tried the ink pot for the first time. And she reminded him of the principal. Charlie asked if the principal had already met the new students. The director answered, what? Charlie asked. Does he know Will? The director answered, of course. A famous doctor and professor of Oriental medicine, Charlie said. And he's also a teacher at his university. The director replied, apparently. Will's son also teaches. The next day, the director and Charlie met. The director apologized for meeting him alone. Charlie replied, nothing. The meeting should not cause discomfort, the director asked. So Charlie chose Oriental medicine. The director replied that he was glad that Charlie had found a worthy mentor. Charlie said that the director said that the doctor and Will had a bad relationship. Then the director said that his wife was sick and was undergoing treatment in a soul hospital. Charlie said, now it's clear, but it's not the doctor's fault, the director replied. It's over. But actually, there is something to be angry about. They arrived and Charlie said hello to everyone. The doctor said he was still grateful for that incident. It was a gift to mark his admission. Charlie opened it and saw that it was a MacBook. He said, it's too expensive a gift, the doctor replied. He asked the students who came to the internship what they needed most, and they chose this. They ate, and then Charlie and the doctor went out. Charlie asked, he knows Will. The doctor asked if he knew his teacher. Charlie said they met by chance during the trip, and became close. He helped people with acupuncture and herbs. It's good to be able to help even without drugs. The doctor said conventional medicine was more effective. Charlie said yes. But it might be difficult for older people in the mountains. Then the doctor asked, does that mean Charlie wants to become a volunteer? Charlie replied, yes, he likes helping people. The doctor said that in their hospital they also go to remote islands to do volunteer work. But Charlie said that he had already chosen his path. The doctor asked if he would continue about Will. Charlie answered, yes. The doctor said Will was desperate. His wife was very ill. Will was angry. Maybe it was anger at himself. Because he couldn't do anything, Charlie said. That's why the doctor deliberately played along. The doctor said Charlie was so worried about him and Will, Charlie replied, because they were very dear to him. Then the doctor asked, so Will calls Charlie grandfather. Charlie asked, can he call him the same? The doctor said he didn't mind, but when they were alone, he would contact Charlie later. He had some things to do. Charlie went to the kitchen and said hello to the chef. The chef was no longer stressed. The chef said that he had prepared a gift for Charlie. These were knives that professional chefs use. Let him touch them. Charlie picked up the knife and said, heavy, the boss said. Charlie must have heard of such. It's a cast iron knife. Good knives enhance the flavor of ingredients, Charlie said. And its weight makes it feel comfortable in the hand. In the evening, Charlie was working at home when his grandmother called him and asked if Charlie was busy. Charlie replied, no, what? Grandma said she's in the hospital now. If everything's okay, maybe Charlie can come. Then Charlie asked which hospital she was going to, and Grandma replied, the one in Seoul. Charlie said he knew where it was and he would be there soon. Charlie got ready and came to the hospital. Grandpa said, so Charlie finally arrived. Charlie asked what was wrong with Grandma. Julius replied, she is undergoing a CT scan. The doctor said she is better, but more tests need to be done. Charlie took his grandfather's hand and said, everything will be fine. There is no need to worry, Grandfather replied. He understands, but his heart does not. Then Charlie asked if they had made up. The doctor replied, what was Charlie talking about? That was long ago in the past. Grandpa asked if Charlie taught calligraphy. Charlie laughed and said he was just an amateur. Then the grandfather asked who teaches Chinese in the first year. Julius answered, Professor Khan. Grandpa said that if Professor Khan teaches incorrectly, Charlie will discipline him. Grandma came in and Charlie ran to help her. Grandma said she was so glad Charlie came. She was worried, but when she saw Charlie, she calmed down. Charlie replied, it's okay. It's not difficult for him. The doctor showed the picture and said that the picture showed the patient's tumor. It was getting smaller. The blood test also showed that the liver condition had improved, Grandpa said. He had no doubt about it. The doctor said that although everything was fine, hospitalization was still needed, the grandfather asked, even after the improvement. Thank you for your concern, but she no longer needs their treatment. The doctor said they represent two different branches of medicine. But they both save people, Grandpa asked. Is he confident in his methods? The doctor replied that he knew there was no ideal way. Then the grandfather said, it is worth listening directly to the patient's opinion. The grandmother said she wants to go home. The doctor thought for a moment and said, time well spent must be the best treatment. Charlie said he would cook some delicious food for her today. Julius asked if Charlie could cook. Grandpa told Julia that Charlie was a very good cook, perhaps even better than his mother. Then Grandpa called the doctor with them. In the morning, Charlie studied hieroglyphics. Charlie is confident in his knowledge, but the problem is different. The scientist had no weak spots in his memory, and after a long time, the director contacted Charlie. The director said they hadn't seen each other for a long time. He heard that Charlie entered the University of Oriental Medicine. He said it would be great if Charlie appeared on his new program. Episode 119 of Royal Cooking became the most watched and significantly improved the show's ratings. Charlie asked, perhaps, how much they would pay him. The director replied, 500,000 won. Then Charlie asked if it would be next month. The director said no, next Tuesday. Charlie thought. He was sure it was too short a time. And yet Charlie agreed. The director hung up and said, he invited him, damn. He's forcing this kid to appear on his show. Charlie's been recruited, so we need to invite that guy. It's a show where young chefs promote the sponsor store. The day of filming came. Charlie came to the pork ribs restaurant. Charlie was thinking. Pork ribs are not edible unless they taste good, they say, since the owner's wife was hospitalized. The business is in decline, the food is tasteless, the meat doesn't smell like pork at all, and the director doesn't provide any information. Is he deliberately hiding everything? Ian came up and asked. Has he improved his skills? Charlie asked. So he was invited too. How were things? But Ian wasn't particularly happy to meet. Ian asked. Went to University for Oriental Medicine. Does acupuncture. He was just pretending to be a cook. Charlie got worried and said, well, it's a little difficult to explain, so the director called them. And he told him to get ready for filming. Ian called Charlie and said, advises him to get ready well. Filming has begun. The host said that the participants of the 119th episode of Royal Cooking are with them. Today, they have two culinary heroes. Charlie said hello and introduced himself. Then Ian introduced himself. The host said, congratulating Charlie on entering the University of Oriental Medicine. Charlie thanked him. The host asked Charlie if he would try to cook the healthiest food with herbs. Charlie replied, a little awkwardly, no. He was still a freshman, so he wasn't very good at it. The presenter immediately decided to move on to the pork ribs restaurant. Ian thought. Charlie alone in the spotlight. The restaurant owner came over and said, this is charcoal from Gangwon-do province. The host said it looks amazing. The presenter asked what Ian thought. Ian replied that the key to a good grilled dish is quality charcoal. If it is good, then the dish will turn out the same. Charlie tried the side dish and asked what was wrong with the side dish. The host said there was a slight problem with the pork ribs. First of all, they should try them, Charlie suggested. They fried the meat and tried it. But Charlie spat the meat out almost immediately because it stank, and Ian decided that Charlie was trying to attract attention to himself. The host asked why Charlie didn't like it. Charlie replied that it had a very strong pork smell. Then Ian also spat out the meat and said there was too much seasoning. He noticed the camera and smirked. And he said that even an ordinary visitor would draw conclusions about the sharp taste from the appearance. Wouldn't that be true? Charlie said that he thought the texture was pretty good, and the host asked what needed to be done to improve the taste. Ian said we need to move in the direction of improving the smell with seasonings. Charlie stood up and said it was time to go to the kitchen. Ian was angry that Charlie was dragging everyone along at his own pace. In the kitchen, Charlie asked the owner if he could show him the spices and ingredients. The carrots were fresh. We need to check the meat, it was also fresh, Charlie said when the owner prepared the meat. The owner replied, "This morning." Charlie asked, "He always prepares meat in the morning. Business is down, so the meat is lying around." The owner replied, "Yes." Charlie asked if he reduced the transaction size, the supplier would waive the original price. The owner answered, "Yes." Charlie asked if the owner could show him the meat that was usually used. The presenter said that knowing the problem can help to solve it. The owner said that there is old meat ahead. Charlie asked if the owner usually uses it and puts the new one in the back. The owner replied yes. Then Charlie said he'd take a bunch of fresh meat and some old meat. He saw the seasoning box and asked if those were the ribs that were seasoned yesterday. The owner answered yes, Charlie asked. From old meat, the owner answered again, yes. Then Charlie asked to take them out. The owner opened the box and Charlie tried it. Charlie decided to compare the two types of meat to see which meat looked more elastic. Ian said the old meat looked quite elastic. Maybe it's because of aging at low temperatures, Charlie replied. He thought so too. Then Charlie said he would try to bake it. The host asked why. Charlie replied they would find out later. A little later, Charlie said he cooked them separately. Ian and the presenter tried the meat. The presenter asked if the meat had a smell and was fresh. Ian replied that it did, and that the quality was good. They tried something else. The host asked if this meat tasted better. Ian replied that maybe it was vacuum-packed and aged. Charlie said, well, the quality of the meat is better now, but it still smells like pig. Ian replied, good meat is quality meat. The presenter asked, so there is still a problem. Charlie said the problem is the freshness of the meat. If only fresh meat is used, the problem will be solved. The host asked if the problem was not in the seasonings. Charlie replied that he would like to change the recipe a little. First, you need to decide what to do with all this. You will have to throw it all away, the owner asked. Charlie replied, the food industry is not just selling food, the owner asked. Then what? Charlie replied, it is trust and honesty. Food doesn't lie, so if he makes it honestly, using fresh ingredients, its taste won't change. And clients build trust by feeding off that honesty. He's there to erase past feelings. Also, winning back the trust of customers with honesty is something he needs to do right now. Mom and Sumi were watching the broadcast and Mom said that her son was saying such correct things. Sumi said, Charlie is cool, isn't he? Mom asked if her son is a genius. Sumi replied, it seems so. Charlie was preparing spices. His mother asked what kind of powder it was. Charlie replied, medicinal herbs. Sumi asked what kind of medicinal herbs. Charlie replied that he put a little in so that it wouldn't smell like pig. Mom asked what he could tell her. Charlie replied, it's a secret. There are problems in the restaurant owner's family. And my mother said, right, he has a sick wife, Charlie replied. His wife worked a lot on the restaurant. So even if the business was going badly, he did not sell it, but endured it until the end, when his wife returned. The owner wants to show that the restaurant is okay. He wants to keep this sauce as a secret recipe for this restaurant. Sumi said her boyfriend is cool. Mom said yes, she understands, she won't ask questions. Next week their show will come to the aid of the newlyweds, Mom asked. Charlie is participating in the filming. Charlie replied, no, the filming was over for him, his mother said. Let him tell how it was, Charlie replied. You can watch it on TV. Mom said he probably already got his participation fee, but she would treat them anyway. Charlie said he would take Sumi there. Charlie said he would like to buy a car. Sumi asked with what money. And Charlie said he had savings and filming offers kept coming in. Sumi asked if it was not possible to take the bus. Charlie replied that he wanted to take Sumi, but Sumi said she was fine. Charlie said that on a date it was nice to sit in the car together and listen to music, watch movies. Sumi said it sounds great, but there's no point in buying a car just for dating. Instead, how about saving up for other things? Charlie replied. Okay, he'll save up for tuition. Meanwhile, in the conference room, The girl said how many comments there were. She told, "Opinions were divided," the director said. "The release was designed for a lot of bad comments." "Charlie is too charismatic," the girl said. The director asked if he was better than the other kids. "Those who can't get into character and love tofu. He behaves more maturely, like an adult. In cooking there must be faith, philosophy, honesty, and trust. Such a cold but charming image." Charlie was walking down the street, looking for something, when suddenly someone took him by the hand and called him. It was Ken. Charlie asked him how he was doing. Ken said the same as always, and Charlie is now a TV star. Charlie asked if there was anything he could do to help. Ken said yes, but only if Charlie wasn't in a hurry. "One of the actors in the play was injured. We need to find someone who knows martial arts and could remember the script." Charlie replied that he was into martial arts and had some acting experience, so he could help him. Historical drama, Empress Manson, is the story of Queen Min. The role of Charlie the Ninja. The guy came into the room and asked, "I've changed my clothes, I need to hurry to the stage and rehearse." Charlie went with him and gave him the blade. Then the boy asked him to watch carefully and learn. The ninja swung his blade several times, and the boy dodged his attacks. Then the guy hit the ninja in the stomach a couple of times. The guy asked Charlie if it was difficult. Asked to repeat, Charlie replied, "No, everything is fine," and repeated the movements. The guy asked him to wave a little faster. Then Charlie attacked the guy. Swinging his blade, the guy dodged his attacks. Then the guy punched Charlie in the stomach and he jumped back. The guy said, "He's a good guy." Ken was there too. He asked Charlie how Charlie remembered the moves the first time. The guy replied that he was the #1 ninja. He was a master of martial arts, so he remembered things quickly. His actions were natural. Ken asked Charlie if he could handle it. Charlie said he would. Then Ken said if that was the case, then he would buy him a pork belly after the show. The guy said that the ninja has a lot of fight scenes with him. They all have to look colorful and lively. The moves are a bit tricky, but if you pull it off, it'll be some pretty cool action. Charlie asked what happened to that actor. The guy replied that he landed badly, and he twisted his ankle, but Charlie shouldn't worry. Everything will work out if he trains. The actor attacked the ninja again, and Charlie watched their game and thought now he understands. Why did the actor tell him this? The ninjas can't keep up with his speed. He deliberately slows down. Then the actor suggested that Charlie try the same. He would tell him if something was wrong. Charlie responded and attacked the actor. The guys began to fight. The ringing of blades was heard throughout the hall. The other actors watched their fight and said it looked like a full-fledged action movie. The guys finished the fight, and the guy said to Charlie, "Great, he can do it." The day of the game began. The actors and spectators gathered. The guy said, "The enemy is close. They need to run." Empress Ming said she was the mother of this country, and he suggested that she flee. The audience listened attentively to the actors. The Empress thanked the guy. But the guy said he came to the palace for her. She was the meaning of his life. She was the flower of his life. And if he lost, his life would be useless, Charlie thought. It was time to go. At that moment, 3 ninjas jumped out of nowhere. One of them was Charlie. The ninja asked the boy where the ruler of the state of Kor was. The boy told him. Let him not dare to pronounce that name with his dirty mouth, Charlie thought. The acting was superb. "The ninja said we need to catch the queen before she can escape," the guy shouted, only over his dead body. The bad guys were happy with this. They all attacked the guy at once, and a battle scene began. The guy deftly cut down the first ninja, then the second. The spectators watched the game attentively. But suddenly Charlie attacked the guy, cutting his leg. But even with such a wound, he was able to attack the ninja, Charlie said. "So in Joseon there is a samurai like him," the guy objected to him. "He is not a samurai, he is a Joseon warrior." The scene of Charlie fighting with the main actor began. The audience was shouting how cool it was. They were really fighting. The actor fought and thought, he hears joyful cries, it's so exciting. He can't control himself. The actor ran at Charlie and he thought, oh no, he's in ecstasy. It's dangerous, he parries his blows one after another. The sword doesn't move according to the script. He lost control of what to do, act according to the script and block it. No, we need to break his sword, right? The body absorbed the discharge, the actor continued to attack. Charlie was thrown off stage by the blow. The audience screamed. It was crazy. He literally flew off. The actor dropped his blade and thought, oh my god, what did he do? Charlie thought, I think he got electrocuted. He was involved in some kind of strong flow, and all this energy came from his sword. Charlie winked at the actor and ran up to him. Charlie motioned for the actor to watch closely. Ninja Charlie shouted, he will not lose. He tried to hit him. The actor dodged the blows. Charlie thought, he got it. Now he had to hit him on the wrist, make his sword drop. The guy hit the ninja on the wrist, and the ninja dropped his sword. Now the battle will be done with bare hands. There's only a minute left. He must correct his mistakes. Charlie must attack him. The battle began. The guy pounced on Ninja Charlie and hit him, but he blocked the blow. Then Charlie hit the guy a few times. then gathered all his strength and hit the guy hard. The battle was so exciting that the audience was screaming. It was like a scene from an action movie. The ninja threw the guy, then ran up and took the sword, then cut the guy down. The end. Charlie went backstage, and Ken said they could watch the recording after the show. Then Charlie said, "Everything didn't go according to the script." Ken said, "It's okay. The fight scene was much better than the original." The actor ran to Charlie and apologized for getting out of control. Charlie replied, "It's okay. He understands." The actor then responded that thanks to Charlie, he had a great action movie. A few days later, Charlie was reading reviews of the play, people writing about how much they enjoyed the performance. They say that the actor was chosen to play an action actor, and there was a film director in the audience that day. Meanwhile, Charlie passed his final exam in the first semester, and the holidays began. It was morning at the entrance to the hillside of Kendo Province. With the start of the holidays, the first and second year students had gathered in front of the mountain for the herbal exam. This is a test where the professor will check the effectiveness, validity, and toxicity of the herbs collected by the students. The curator said he watched episode 119 and asked if Charlie had studied herbal medicine. Charlie replied, "Maybe a little." The curator said, "Herbs are very easy to confuse with each other. The fact that Charlie didn't study herbalism is a big minus." The curator said it was time to start the test. This is the mountain where Charlie and Grandpa used to gather herbs, the place where the basics of herbalism are learned. Charlie was walking past some bushes when he noticed some ginseng and stopped to pick it. He pulled out the root and thought, "Just like that, it looks like it's 40 years old." Charlie decided that he should give it to his grandmother and put the root in his backpack. Then Charlie fell to his knees and thanked the mountain for giving him such valuable medicine. Then Charlie went to the waterfall and washed the food. He sat down and started eating. Then the guys came up to him and said hello to Charlie. The girl asked if he was having lunch. Charlie replied yes. Then he thought, they look like freshmen, but he just can't remember their names. The guys asked if they could join. Charlie said sure. The girl asked if he only had doenjang with him. Charlie replied, "There are wild vegetables growing nearby," the guy asked. And Charlie collected all of it himself. Charlie replied, "He likes wild greens." The girl took out a large lunchbox and Charlie asked why so much. The girl answered, "To share." Charlie tried the kimbap with wild greens, and the girl asked if she could try rolls this way too. She wrapped the roll in a leaf and ate it, then said it was bitter but still delicious. The girl suggested eating fried tofu. Charlie laughed and the girl asked why he was laughing. Charlie replied, "Nothing. He just remembered his girlfriend. She told him not to eat fried tofu. Made by someone else. Fried tofu is so easy to make, right?" The guy asked if it was easy to make. Charlie replied, "Of course. To make it you need a simple kit. It's much simpler than kimbap, and fried tofu is said to be a heartier dish." Charlie said the thing is that fried tofu is usually given to someone you love. The girls were surprised. Then the blonde suddenly began to eat all the fried tofu. Charlie said she seemed to really like fried tofu. He could calm down. He wouldn't eat it. The friend remembered how they cooked fried tofu at night. The blonde didn't want to buy tofu. She wanted to cook it herself. After all, Charlie is a participant in the 119th edition of the Royal Cooking. Her friend wished her good luck. The blonde thought how ashamed she was. Her friend whispered to her to stop eating. She would get indigestion. A friend asked Charlie if he had already collected the herbs he needed. Charlie replied that he had eaten them, so he needed to look for them again. Then the friend whispered to the blonde, "Let her act." The girl choked. Charlie handed her some water. But then he noticed something and asked if she could give him her hand. He took her hand and said, "Her hands are very cold. She is cold." The girl answered, "No." Charlie asked. Her pulse was also jumping. She was stressed. Her friend thought, "My boy, this stress is because of him." And Charlie said he thought she needed acupressure, and the girl thought he was going to give her a massage. She asked what he would massage. Charlie replied, "Hands and elbows and so on." A friend asked where Charlie was going with Isabel. Charlie said he was going to give a massage. "Need a place hidden from prying eyes?" Girlfriend asked. "He's not trying to do anything weird," Charlie replied. "No need to worry." Charlie and Isabel sat down and Charlie began to massage her arms, then her shoulders. Isabel accidentally burped and was embarrassed. She thought, "Damn, that just came out on her own." And in front of Charlie, what should I do? Charlie probably smelled the smell too. Charlie asked if she was okay. Isabel replied sheepishly, "Thank you." Charlie said, "Okay, she's going to throw up soon." Isabel suddenly ran away and threw up. She was upset that she threw up in front of the person she liked. The friend came back and told the guy to get ready. They were leaving, the guy said. But they didn't finish eating. The girl said, "It doesn't matter." Charlie and Isabel returned, and the girl thought that in such a situation, it would be better to get away quickly. The girl said something happened. They needed to go. Charlie said she still wasn't feeling well. It was better to stop and rest. Meanwhile, the boys collected the plants and thought that even if they were medicinal, It didn't matter since no one knew the name. The curator approached Charlie and asked him if he had collected a lot, and if it was Charlie who said he didn't understand herbs. He saw the bag and said there were medicinal herbs in it. Charlie said he could show it himself. The curator asked, "Does it mean that Charlie does understand herbal medicine?" Charlie said, "It's just wild ginseng." Then the curator asked if he was sure he was wild. Perhaps Charlie had confused him with the domesticated one, but the curator quickly realized that it was wild ginseng. Another teacher came up and asked. Charlie found it. The teacher asked Charlie how old he thought he was, and Charlie replied that he was probably about 40. Then the teacher asked what the difference was between wild and cultivated ginseng. Charlie replied that domesticated ginseng has a thicker and shorter root than the wild one. But wild ginseng, on the contrary, has a thin and long root. The teacher was very surprised. He thought, oh my god, the ginseng had been in the ground for 40 years, and a freshman found it. The teacher asked Charlie if he remembered the place where he found the ginseng. Charlie took him to that place. There he called the professor and told him about the wild ginseng. He asked what to do. The professor replied that they don't pay students, so let them give him a scholarship of 1,000,000 won. Later, Grandpa called Charlie and asked if Charlie had found wild ginseng. Charlie replied yes, and he asked if he needed ginseng. Grandfather said, 700,000 won for 40 years. Why didn't Charlie sell it? Charlie replied that he thought that if he gave it to his grandmother would eat it, so he dug it up for his grandmother. Grandpa asked if he could give the root to Grandma himself. Charlie replied that he would do so. Charlie thought. He dug up wild ginseng, earned money, took care of his grandmother. He should write it all down in the book of experience. At the fast food restaurant, the director said, "It's filmed. Everyone did a good job. Now they can have a drink." Charlie said he's driving today, so he'll refuse. The director said he would pay for the driver. Charlie said no. Then the director asked if he had a passport. Charlie asked why. The director replied that there might be a special episode abroad. Ian replied that he had it because he often had to go to Chinese cooking competitions. Then the director said, Ian's going to China, Charlie's going to Japan, Charlie's going with Sunny. Ian asked if this was a revenge match after the royal cookout, and thought it was a last chance to wash away his shame. The presenter said finally, their team 119 is going abroad. The mission is to introduce Korean restaurants to Japan and China. Ian knows a lot about China. And Charlie, what does he know about Japan? The host asked. Charlie answered that each country has its own threshold of saltiness and sweetness. Whatever the case, he will think first and foremost about the taste of the food, Charlie added. Charlie flew in and Sony rushed to hug him. Charlie asked if she could hug him like that. Sony replied that it was possible. She was not popular in Japan yet. The director said that she should not do anything like that on the bus. On the bus, Sony asked, "We just need to follow the script. The first restaurant is a lamb ribs restaurant." The restaurant opened during the Korean wave. Everyone was interested in Korean cuisine, but the problem was the taste. The dishes were too spicy, which was unacceptable for the Japanese, so the hostess reduced the spiciness of the taste. But that was the thing about Korean ribs, so the guests stopped coming. They arrived at the restaurant and Sony asked what it said. Charlie replied, "Spicy in Japanese, spicy in Korean, and very spicy." The hostess prepared some food for them and Charlie tried it and said that she was a good cook. And the hostess replied, "Thank you, but she is far from Korea." Sony said that everything will work out for her. Charlie tried the next ribs. The first ones were too sweet. The second ones were delicious. The third ones were too spicy. Charlie said they were delicious. Sony said they weren't spicy enough, but they were delicious. Charlie said the second one was very tasty. The third one was too spicy. The director prompted Sonia's question. And Sony asked, "If everything is so good, then why is business in decline?" Charlie answered, "It's just that they are Koreans." "For Koreans, the food here is delicious, but they are in Japan," Sony asked. "So what should they do?" Charlie replied, "There is only one answer. When people go to Rome, they should cook according to Roman laws. When people come to Japan, she must transform them to suit the requirements of Japan. So, what needs to be done for this? First of all, you need to find out the tastes of the Japanese." Charlie suggested going to the nearest store, and at the store he asked to see the most popular products. The guy asked what exactly he wanted. Charlie said 2 types of ramen, 2 sandwiches, 2 drinks or appetizers. They returned and Sony asked why he bought groceries at a convenience store. Charlie replied that 24-hour stores are where regular people shop, and the most popular items reflect what they like. Then they tried what they bought. Charlie asked if he could choose what was the tastiest. Sonia chose a sweet and Charlie tasted it. A wonderful whipped cream taste, he thought. Charlie asked what the most popular restaurant nearby was. The hostess replied that there was a ramen house restaurant nearby. Then Charlie continued walking there. They arrived and saw a huge queue. Sony said they were standing in line even though the restaurant hadn't opened yet. The director said that the restaurant opens in 30 minutes. Charlie replied that there was nothing to be done. We would have to wait. They finally walked in and Charlie noticed that most of the customers were eating tonkotsu ramen and ordered that dish. But when the boys tried the noodles, they didn't like it at all. Charlie said it was too greasy. Sony said that without onions and spices it is not tasty at all. Why do the Japanese like it? She asked if Charlie had found a way to fix it. Charlie replied, "There's still something else that needs to be checked." They returned to the restaurant and Charlie thought this was the owner's restaurant layout. There is a main door through which visitors can enter and a small side door on the right side of the store. But it was deliberately filled with boxes, and the tables were designed for only 4 or 6 seats. Charlie said it would be better to use the side door as an entrance. It would be better to divide the restaurant into 2 areas. When he went to Ramen House, there were many single customers. The owner replied, "Japanese people often come alone and eat a lot." Charlie asked, "So why doesn't she make single tables? When a person sits at such a table, the place becomes occupied." The hostess said, "But you can sit next to her," Charlie replied. "No one likes it when people sit next to them. The Japanese value silence and politeness and do not want to cause inconvenience to others. And here there is not a single table, only 4 and 6. If a visitor comes alone, he will have to take 4 seats. Nobody wants to cause inconvenience to others." The hostess asked how she could fix everything. Charlie said, "Okay, he'll help her. Let him put the single seats by the side door, and the double rooms are near the main one. It would be better to write on the side door that entry is only possible individually. This will make it more comfortable for visitors," the owner said. "But it's the same restaurant." Charlie replied, "It doesn't matter. It just gives the buyer the feeling that he can come alone." The hostess asked, "That is, it is enough to simply create an appearance," Charlie answered. "No, just appearance is not enough. Inside the restaurant will be divided into 2 large areas, with seats by the entrance door on the left and by the side door on the right. The seats on either side of the side entrance are occupied by single tables, while those by the front door, as before, are 4-seater tables. And the 6-month-old tables would be better removed," the hostess said. "But suddenly a large company comes," Charlie replied. "Then you can put a single table next to the 4-seater. The hostess said that if a group of 4 people came, a 4-seater table would be enough for them. And if there are 6, then 1 table can be put in place." Charlie asked if the director could help them with the arrangement. The director said everything would be ready by tomorrow. Charlie said we had to wait a little. Sony asked when they would start cooking. Charlie replied when the interior was finished, around noon. Then Sony said that when the rearrangement inside the restaurant is finished, they will come and improve the taste of its dishes. The next morning, Sony said, "It was amazing," Charlie added. In one day, the restaurant had changed beyond recognition. The hostess greeted the boys. Charlie asked how she was doing here. The hostess replied that she really liked it. Charlie said he would get rid of menu number 1. It would be useless to improve Japanese taste. The hostess asked why. Charlie replied, "It was better to focus on the spiciness, the restaurant's strong point." But the owner said that the Japanese don't like such a spicy taste. Sony said that she doesn't think that experiments with spiciness are justified. Then Charlie confidently said, he will make them love the spicy taste of food. He took out a bag and said, "So he brought this." Sony asked, "Cans of cream and corn." Charlie asked if she remembered how they ate ramen. Sunny asked him about how she said it was impossible to eat without onions and spices. Then Charlie replied that the ramen was so greasy that he didn't want to eat it. Sony asked, "So this fresh cream and corn act like green onions and spices for the Japanese?" Charlie said he wanted to add some Japanese flavors to the dishes. Sony said she was looking forward to it. They started cooking. Charlie asked Sony what he thought was the best thing to eat after spicy food. Sony asked if it was milk or sweets. Charlie replied that it was best to eat something fatty. Because fat dulls the spiciness, the soup is tasty and tender, like castella. Charlie finished cooking and served the dish. Sony said it was so tender, the hostess liked it too. And Charlie asked, "But it's a little lacking in sweetness, right? He'll make up for the sweetness with this cream." He added cream to the soup and let them try it. Sony said it was very tasty. Charlie asked if he wanted to make some really spicy ribs for the whole team, and Sony said sure. He shared soup with them. They cooked ribs, based on the spicy 2 out of 3 menu. Charlie suggested that everyone try it, and Sony said that it was much more enjoyable to eat together. The director said that when you eat ribs after soup, the spiciness is muted. The hostess said that the soup complements the spiciness. Charlie said, "Now let the Japanese visitors judge directly the next day." The restaurant was full of customers. Everyone said that the food was very tasty. The owner thanked Charlie for saving her restaurant. That evening, Charlie came out of the shower, and the director said he would like to have his body for just 1 day. Charlie asked why the director was still awake. The director answered, An urgent message came, Charlie asked. What happened? The director replied. Ian had some difficulties in China. The audience reaction was not very good. Charlie asked what restaurant he was at. The director said the Korean restaurant, Samgyeopsal. There, the visitors' opinions about the dishes haven't changed at all. Everything was fine at the restaurant before. But then it was ousted by competitors due to its lower price, and there were no more participants from Korea. Charlie said he knew little about China, didn't even know the preferences of the Chinese. The director asked why he sent Ian. Then Charlie took out the book and thought, Ian has good skills, but Samgyeopsal. Charlie asked the book what the problem with Chinese business was. The book replied that there were many restaurants around that served exactly the same dish. Then he asked what should be done. The book answered that it would be nice to add Chinese style to the Korean Samgyeopsal. The director shouted, Isn't this too much for China? The first thing to do is send a video with the material. Charlie came out and asked the director, was he too loud? What was he talking about? The director replied, about shellfish. He says it's a good addition to Samgyeopsal, Charlie replied. He's never tried it. The taste was okay. The problem was that no one wanted to come to a Samgyeopsal restaurant for the shellfish. Charlie thought that adding something to the dish wouldn't work. In the case of the spicy ribs, the soup smoothed out the consequences. But he didn't try it, Charlie asked. There's a 24-hour store there, right? Let him ask them to show him some of their favorite dishes. The director said he would pass them on. Charlie asked what this was. It looked like seeds. You could roast them and eat them. He called Ian and said that if he asked for help, he would give him a hint. Ian said no thanks. Charlie said he could help him. Ian said he didn't need help. Charlie asked, Really? Ian replied. He thinks he doesn't realize that samjang sauce should be added to samgyeopsal. That's a hint. Then Charlie said, peanut, sunflower, walnut, seeds. Then stopped and asked if he could say one more thing. And he said gochujang is a traditional Korean soybean paste made from glutinous rice. Then Charlie said, Don't worry, the director asked. Charlie helped him. But how? Charlie replied. He'll see when he edits it, the director thought. You can just say it. Morning at the airport. The girl asked if he could stay alone for a while. Charlie replied, No need to worry, they won't be idle. The director gave him an envelope and said it was local currency, Charlie thought finally. His first trip abroad. The trip. He will try to find the key to solving the mystery of the Book of Experience. Charlie left the airport. Charlie went to the museum and saw a painting of a man holding a Book of Experience. He read the inscription in the photo, Kimura Paulo, a missionary from Spain. According to the data, a scientist, missionary, and warrior, was knowledgeable in astronomy, gunpowder, medicine, geography, Charlie thought. Missionaries usually study medicine and a few other subjects, but a warrior. While on a mission in Japan, 350 enemy soldiers attacked the village where Paulo was a missionary. The 3 survivors said that Paulo died after being hit dozens of times, and only then did Charlie notice the book. The pattern of the magic circle. Charlie took out his phone and took a picture of the painting. Charlie came out and looked at the photograph, he thought. No matter how you look at it, it looks like a book of experience. An old man called him and said, It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Charlie asked how he was doing. The old man asked if something was wrong. Charlie replied that he had contacted him because he thought he had connections in the Japanese museum. He is there and one of the paintings caught his eye, so he decided to see if he could see it separately. The old man asked, That is, close up. Charlie asked. It's difficult, the old man answered. He doesn't know what kind of painting it is. But it must be a masterpiece. Then the original is kept in the museum safe. Charlie apologized for the unreasonable request. The old man asked if this painting was important to Charlie. Charlie replied that it seemed to be the most important painting in his life. Then the old man replied that it was difficult to see the original, but he thought that it was possible to look at the photograph. Charlie replied that it would be great. He thought that if there was a super high-quality photo, everything would be visible even if you zoomed in. The old man said that there was a special person in the museum. Let him go to the staff and explain the situation. He would warn them. Charlie returned to the museum and greeted the employee. The man said that he had been warned. Charlie could pass. He needs missionary Paulo, the man asked. Charlie answered yes, and they showed him a photo. Charlie looked at the book and thought, This is definitely a book of experience. There is the same magic circle here. The man asked what he was looking for. Charlie replied that he was interested in learning about the strange magic circle in the paintings of the 1500s. Then the man thought that the Ministry of Education and Culture had informed him about who he was. Charlie asked the employee if he knew anything about this book. The man said that the book was donated to them. Then Charlie asked if he could find out who it was. The man replied that they do not disclose personal information. Charlie took a copy of the file and left. In the cafe, he continued to look at the book. He thought it was his book, or there was another one like it. He Googled about missionary. In 1580, The Spanish missionary Paulo led a mission to Japan. 13 samurai attacked him, thinking that the missionaries were ruining the country. Missionary Paulo fought with his bare hands, while the samurai were armed with swords. Throughout the battle, missionary Paulo protected the samurai from injury. Even though Paulo was a missionary, his skills were impressive. Eventually, he accomplished his mission. The samurai, impressed by his words, became Paulo's students. However, in 1592, when Hideyoshi decided to suppress the missionaries, the soldiers attacked the village and burned it down. Paulo fought alone to protect the inhabitants. He was hit by dozens of shots and died on his knees in a prayerful pose. Charlie wondered why he fought alone when he had 13 samurai apprentices. It is useless to ask the Book of Experience. It will not reveal the name of the former owner. Charlie noticed the name, Kimura, and remembered that Kimura was the man who had drawn Paulo. Maybe she is a descendant. Charlie decided that he needed to find her. He finished eating and went to the store. He was looking for a book. One of them should contain her details. Finally, he found the right book. It turns out that she is a history professor at the university. He found the department number and decided to call. Charlie introduced himself and asked if he could speak to Professor Kimura. Kimura asked why he was looking for her. Charlie replied that he was curious about the persecution of missionaries in Japan. She wrote a book about it. He asked if they could meet at her free time. Kimura replied that she could come to college during dinner. They met, and Kimura said it was not a very popular book. Charlie said he had received valuable information about persecuted missionaries in Japan. The man who painted the picture of missionary Paulo as her ancestor, asked Charlie. Kimura answered yes. He held out the phone and said, "In the picture, the missionary Paulo is holding a book with a strange symbol in his hands." Kimura asked if he meant chronicle. Charlie asked what she meant by chronicle. The woman replied that in the story left by his ancestors, the missionary Paulo wrote down his daily life in this book. Charlie asked if there was anything else. Kimura replied that according to the story, when the ancestors wanted to read this book, it was empty. Then Charlie thought, this is definitely a book of experience. He asked where this book is now. Kimura replied that after the death of missionary Paulo, no records were left. Charlie thought that this question was the main purpose of his visit. He asked, that is, whether the book was with him at the time of death. Kimura answered, she thinks so, Charlie asked. And she doesn't know where she is now, Kimura answered. Yes. Charlie said she must be very busy, but thanks for her valuable time. If he could contact her if he had any questions, Kimura replied. Of course. Charlie went out and thought, and nothing came of it. He needed to relax. There was no need to rush. He came back and his parents asked. He only came back today, Charlie replied. There was something urgent. Charlie gave his parents presents and said he bought this at duty free. Dad said, belt. Daddy is happy. Mom asked him how he knew she liked the brand. Charlie replied. Last time they went shopping. She looked at him with shining eyes. The mother thanked her son. Charlie said he would go into the room and take something. He went into the room and asked the book if there was a missionary's experience in the book. The book answered that there was. Charlie asked, the experience of one person or many? The book answered, many. Charlie asked how many experience books there are in Japan. The book responded, 1. Charlie used 200 experience points in exchange for the experience of persecuting missionaries in Japan. Then the book told him that today he was attacked by samurai, and because of his faith he retreated and surrendered. Charlie thought this was definitely written by Paulo. If so, it meant that he was the former author of the Book of Experience. But how did this book get from Japan to Korea, looking at the previous owners of the Book of Experience? French, Chinese, Spanish, Japanese, and now Korean. The order may be different, but the composition is roughly the same. So where the hell is she from? Why is she collecting experience? Who created her and why? Charlie shouted. My head hurts when I have a lot of thoughts. It's best to take a shower. Later, Charlie read the comments on his episode, and people were writing positive comments. The director said their show has been breaking all records lately. Thanks for that. He asked Ian if he had decided on a career. Ian replied that he would most likely work at Bogson's restaurant. The director asked if this was where Chef 10 was, and Ian replied, yes. Charlie asked why the director called him. The director replied that the show had good ratings, so he had a bonus for them. Each person received 2 million won. Then the director asked to cancel all plans for the 29th. They won Best Couple, Ian said, but they're both guys. The director said yes, but on screen they complimented each other perfectly. Ian said he didn't have a suit. In order to go to the award ceremony, the director said that if he went, he would lend it to him. They are also nominated for the best show according to the audience. The director said goodbye and left. Charlie asked if, since they had been nominated for Best Couple, Ian wanted to go for a ride in his car. In the car, Charlie asked if Ian was going to university. Ian replied that he would learn more from his boss than he would at college. Charlie replied, also correct. Ian will learn a lot from the master. Ian thanked Charlie. Then Charlie asked why. Ian replied. He suggested, thank you for her, Charlie replied. He just gave the idea. While there is no information about the Book of Experience, Charlie decided to visit one place with his grandfathers. Gangwon Province, the soldier said. Just looking at this place makes you feel good. The director said the garden was still the same. The soldier said if there was such a place in Seoul, he would like to buy it. Grandfather said. But he has been having money problems lately, the soldier replied. It was a joke. The director asked if he was okay. The grandfather replied, of course, thanks to them. Charlie looked at him and the director said, he was born and raised in Cheongseon. He knows the history of this place better than anyone, Grandpa said. But he didn't see this. Charlie greeted him. The director said, this is his former student. He may be young, but he knows a lot, Grandpa said. In fact, he has something to show them. They came in and all sat down at the table. The grandfather took out a poster and started writing something. Charlie thought that the old man's handwriting was not at all like that of an old man, but rather like the handwriting of a scientist or a general. The doctor asked if he was thinking the same thing, right? The old man replied. Yes, Charlie thought. It seems they are discussing something. The old man said he wanted to go to the toilet. They weren't serious, really. The doctor said it wasn't that bad. Let him write again in 10 minutes. The old man asked Charlie if he would like to go to the library. Charlie asked, now, the old man answered. Great works of ancient masters have been kept there for centuries. This is the building, the old man pointed, and Charlie said, okay, then he'll go to the library. The director asked why he sent him there. The old man said that he hoped that his predictions would be correct. The right path does not lead to the right path, the director said. That's what it means. That there is no specific path or method to attain truth. The doctor said there are those who are blinded by prejudice. Apparently that's what he meant. The old man said, this phrase is often used as a metaphor for ambition. He hopes things won't take too much time. Charlie was reading a book and the old man asked, so young, and yet he was reading this? Charlie replied, he knows a little kanji. The old man asked if he could bring him a cup of tea. Charlie replied, if it's not too much trouble. Then the old man replied, of course, he was his guest. He poured Charlie some chrysanthemum tea. Charlie tried it and said it was a little bitter, but had a pleasant aftertaste. The old man replied that it was sweet when fresh. Apparently his companions were having a serious conversation. Charlie replied, yes. The old man looked gloomy. Charlie said, he looks worried. The old man said that old age was costing him dearly. Charlie said that he needed emotional release. But the old man asked, Charlie is young. What can he know about the heart? Charlie asked for his hand. The old man gave him his hand and Charlie felt his aura. He asked if his grandfather was angry with his body. Does he have any problems or concerns? The old man said. Reads ancient texts. Is knowledgeable in medicine. Charlie is definitely not an ordinary student. Charlie replied. Anger causes anxiety and that is harmful to health, the old man replied. That's what he's talking about. He felt more comfortable when he was involved in the independence movement during the period of Japanese colonization. The old man turned out to be ancient, Charlie asked. He took part in the independence movement. He has evidence. He can show it, said the old man, Charlie replied with pleasure. This is the house he lived in back in the Joseon dynasty, and now it is a place where guests come from time to time. Charlie asked if it was probably difficult to live alone. He had children. The old man replied that they lived separately. He took out the box and, putting it on the floor, said that he hadn't taken it out for a long time. The old man took out a bloody shirt and said that he was kept behind bars. The people behind bars shouted, "Long live independence!" The old man began to cry and repeated after them. Charlie asked, "So it was on the day of liberation, August 15th?" The old man replied, "Yes, that's right," Charlie thought. The clothes he was wearing on the day of his liberation. Charlie asked if he could touch it. The old man said of course, and held it out. He looked at her and thought, he was tortured cruelly. But his grandfather said that it was harder for him now. When he was involved in the independence movement, Charlie asked what was going on there. The old man got nervous and said, "Nothing." Charlie said, "Okay," and then he saw the posters. He asked, and this, the old man answered. He wrote in his free time. Charlie came closer and thought, "The handwriting is soft and flowing." Charlie said he liked it. The old man replied, "Of course." He had been practicing his craft for years. He saw and looked at the last one and thought, "This handwriting is different from the others." Charlie asked if his problems were somehow connected with Taoism. The old man said, "That's enough." Then Charlie asked if the gentleman could write something for him, since he was a master. The old man agreed and began to write a third of the ink. Charlie watching him and thinking as if he were another person. Surprisingly, the old man asked what he should write. Charlie answered, whatever he liked. He wrote his favorite phrase, Yugong moved mountains, an idiom to overcome all obstacles. Charlie thought this meant that if you persist in doing something, it will definitely bear fruit. Then Charlie asked for his signature. The old man asked his name. Charlie replied yes. Charlie said it turned out well, then asked if he could write him something as a thank you. The old man replied, of course. Charlie wrote something, and the old man said, it seems Charlie wants to tell him something. Charlie replied that it might sound presumptuous, but he was worried about him for mentioning the right path. The right path can be interpreted as, there are no obstacles on the way to the right path. I wrote this for him because Grandpa is worried that young people might not know the difference between the right path and the correct path, but Grandfather is not young, and he must know it. How about following your heart? Not following conventions, but your heart. They came back, and the director asked, so now he is selling this place? The old man replied that it was not a sale, but a transfer. The director asked if he wanted to say what he was going to transfer, sell, or give away. Isn't that so? The old man said. This is the place where Korean scholars and calligraphers have lived since time immemorial. The director added, it's true, you can't just take and abandon this tradition. Grandfather said he thinks so too, but for it to continue, followers are needed. He asked if they knew how many people visited this place per year. Only 2,000 people. Most of them are students in practice, and there are less than 100 adults studying calligraphy. The director thought he wanted to say that no one really needed this place. Nowadays all documents are printed on computers, but in the past everything was written by hand. So many students came to Cheonsawan and learned calligraphy, the soldier said, however. The doctor stood up and said, he will speak first. The soldier thought, he has his own perception. It must be difficult to be the director of a large hospital that only has pills, the doctor said. He trusted them, so he needs help. He must have a plan that he made in advance. They would like to know him, the soldier asked. So the doctor encourages the sale of this place. The doctor replied that those who want to learn do not come here. There is only dead knowledge and traditions. The soldier asked how he could say such a thing. The doctor said whether the promised land made sense. If she is on a desert island where no one can find her, and if there is no sense, you need to go where it will be. The soldier asked how science and traditions can be turned into a business. The doctor replied that everything was connected with business, because people cannot live by traditions and history. The soldier shouted, this is nonsense. Then the old man asked him to calm down and listen to him. The doctor asked to tell them everything so that he and his friends could help him. The old man said he was going to move and buy land in Kanbuk. The doctor said the land prices there were very high, and finding a job is not easy. How does he plan to raise such a huge amount of money? The old man replied, he is thinking of selling his land and buildings. The doctor asked if he was talking about Cheonsawan, and the old man replied that he was talking about him too. Then the doctor thought how stupid. He thought that Cheonsawan was outdated, and it would be a good idea to move it and modernize it. To attract visitors, he would rather help him open a branch, but he decided to sell. The doctor said, this is the right way. All ways are good to achieve it. He is definitely the person they know. The old man replied that he was the owner of this place, and the doctor asked if he had any respect. How can he sell his native land and Cheonsawan? They respect traditions, history, and spirit, but not him. The old man replied, it is just a building and land. The real Cheonsawan is the people who live here, and those who love calligraphy. The director said that during the Imjin War, his ancestors left Hanyang and founded this place. He seems to be meddling where he shouldn't, Grandpa said. But if they don't do anything. The director looked at the poster and said, looking at the text, the owner does not see the signs, but neither do they. They went out and the owner said, no need to leave like that. Let them at least eat. The director said there was no point in worrying about food now. The owner said he had already prepared dinner. The lawyer thanked him for his concern and asked if the owner still intended to sell Cheonsawan. The owner replied, yes. The director asked if he really didn't care if Cheonsawan disappeared. Then he shouted at him to name the real reason why he was doing this. The owner responded that the fact was that last year a resort company contacted him and discussed the purchase. The director asked if he was going to turn Cheongsewan into a resort. The owner replied that a new building should be built next to the main buildings. The soldier shouted, no way! The director and the old man asked him to calm down. But the soldier got to the old man and shouted that he was trying to turn this place into a hotel. Charlie thought. Now he understands why the owner was so worried. He asked the director if this place would be sold. The director answered. Most likely yes, Charlie thought. This place is going to be sold. It's not right, but he understands it. At a nearby cafe, the director said that he was going to buy Cheongsewan. The old man said that he was moving and selling Cheongsewan. He wanted to buy it and leave everything as is. The doctor said that it was clear what he meant, but his upkeep would also cost money. The director replied that if there is a desire, there will be people who will help. The doctor said, looking at him. It doesn't seem like he's ready for such responsibility. The director said that if the doctor is afraid to trust him with Cheon So-won, he'll do it himself. The doctor replied that he would be the only bad guy if he didn't help him. The old man said that everything would work out if they worked together, Charlie asked, since they had already taken on this matter. Would they like to play for high stakes? The doctor asked. That is, to attract more people. Charlie answered, yes. The soldier asked how. Charlie asked if Cheon So-won had no other patrons. The director asked, and Charlie suggested to gather them all. Charlie replied, Cheon So-won is a place where calligraphy and discipline are studied. Instead of taking on all the responsibility, why not distribute it a little bit among everyone? The doctor said, collective responsibility instead of individual responsibility. Well said. He thought that everyone was afraid to bear such responsibility, but it was possible to divide the duties. The doctor said that now it was time to call all his friends. He called Professor Vila. Charlie said that it wouldn't solve all the problems, and they would come back later. The director asked what problems. And Charlie replied, traditions, history, science, we need to preserve this, but there is not enough money for everything. The director said that there seemed to be more and more problems. Charlie said that Cheon So-won should be independent and provide for himself. The soldier asked how. Charlie replied that they should tell him and thought about how to save the place where traditions and calligraphy live. Now it's not the restaurants that need saving, but the culture, while the grandfathers were pondering the Cheon So-won problem. Charlie and Ian won the award for Best Couple. Ian said he brought coffee here because there were a lot of people there. Then Charlie thanked him and asked if since they were the best couple, Ian was going to take care of him. Then Charlie asked if he was going to go to China alone soon. He would be bored. Ian said it could be dangerous there alone. He remembered being in China and seeing a shoe around the corner. He asked where it came from. Ian wanted to look around, but the man stopped him and said, "Don't go there, it's dangerous." Charlie asked if it was human trafficking. Ian replied the victim had struggled and fallen, so it was probably an attempted kidnapping. The guy didn't go into details, but it was scary. You need to be careful in the city. Ian asked where exactly Charlie wanted to go. Charlie replied that he wanted to go to Mount Wudang. The director came in and asked if, since they had won the award, they could go out for a drink together. Ian replied that after the award, he had to go to work. Then the director said, "Okay, then have a nice trip." Charlie said, "Good job. See you after the holidays." Ian said, "Have a nice trip to China." In the toilet, Charlie was washing his hands when a guy came up to him and asked if he was Charlie's cook. Charlie recognized him. It was a famous Korean actor, Mr. Kim. The actor asked if Charlie knew him. And Charlie replied, "Of course. Is there anyone in Korea who doesn't know him? His girlfriend is a fan. Maybe he could get an autograph for her," Kim asked. "For that, maybe he could ask for a favor." "Food is memories, those are his words," Kim asked. Charlie replied. "Yes, he said that when he cooked for Sonia." Then Kim asked if Charlie could make kimchi stew from his memories. He would be very grateful. Charlie asked if he could cook for him. Kim replied that was his request. Charlie thought that perhaps this was a memory of his beloved. He would try not to ask unnecessary questions. Then Charlie asked when Kim ate it. Kim replied, 5 years ago, when he was not yet famous. He was a poor, unknown actor, and his live-in girlfriend cooked kimchi stew, and he ate it the next day after the drinking binge, and he still remembers its taste. He misses it so much, he went to many restaurants, ate the best dishes, but he did not find anything like this. Charlie asked what the ingredients were. Kim replied, "Sometimes tuna, sometimes tofu." "How does it taste?" Charlie asked. Kim replied, "Very tasty and filling?" Charlie asked. "It tastes like pudajjigae." "Why not ask that girl to cook it again?" Kim replied. They just didn't part on very good terms. Charlie asked to give him the contacts. He would think it over and contact him. Kim gave him the number and left. Then Charlie thought, an actor without money, kimchi the next day, after a drinking binge. Suddenly, Charlie got a call from an actor who told him that the Queen's production had gone well, so now he had a lot of offers for roles. The problem is that he is hungry. Charlie asked if he doesn't need to eat well. The actor replied that his schedule doesn't allow it. Charlie asked why he doesn't hang out with the other actors. The actor replied that he can't have a proper meal with them. After drinking, they eat all the snacks, which are simple things that can be bought in the supermarket. A week later, Charlie was eating with the director. Charlie said, "They were filming a movie here. Tell me you love me." And when actor Kim visited this place, it became famous. He heard that the director bought Cheon So-won. The director said it is now called the Traditional Korean Calligraphy Cultural Center. It is important not just to buy, but to service and manage. This is the most difficult thing. This Chinese restaurant was originally small and shabby, but thanks to the actor, it became so amazing. Charlie asked why not bring attention to Cheon So-won in the same way. The director asked if it was possible to hire a famous actor like Kim. Then Charlie said he would deal with it. And that evening he called the actor and said hello. He asked if Kim could have a drink with him. Kim replied, Filming is almost over. Charlie suggested meeting at his house, Kim replied. But he didn't have anything, Charlie replied. He'd bring something. They met, and Charlie said let him choose what Kim often ate 5 years ago. He did buy some groceries at this grocery store, Kim replied. Ramen, ham, makgeolli. They then went to the actor's home. The man greeted them, and Kim said, "This is his manager." Charlie took out a newspaper and spread it out on the floor. Kim asked why he brought the newspaper. Charlie suggested eating, like 5 years ago. The manager said he didn't know if he could drink it like that. Kim said, let him drink it for him. McCall traditionally drinks from a tin bowl. Kim drank a little and said he thought he was drunk. Kim took off his clothes and told Charlie to take off his clothes too. Then he asked if Charlie did martial arts. Charlie answered how he knew. Kim said he was a fan of cooking shows. He had seen every episode. Then Charlie asked if Kim was cold. Kim replied that he hated the cold because it reminded him of the times when he had no money. He had to work himself to death to save up for heating in the winter. Kim asked when they had managed to drink so much. The manager asked if he should go and buy more. Kim replied, "No, there is another way. A mix of soju and makgeolli, when you have no money, is the best solution." The manager said it was the best drink he had ever tried. Charlie watched Kim and noticed that Kim loved fatty foods and ate mostly vegetables and chicken breast. In the morning, when the manager and Kim were sleeping, Charlie woke up in the morning and thought about what to cook for himself. First, you need to take yesterday's ramen and remove the noodles, leaving only the broth. Collect the remaining tofu from the kimchi and fry it in a large amount of oil. Do not throw away the kimchi itself. And put it into another pan, pour in all the canned tuna left over from yesterday's cooking. Charlie tasted his concoction and thought, ramen can't be tasteless. Hope Kim likes it. Kim woke up and said he felt bad. Charlie said let him eat then. He put the ramen on the table and said he didn't know if it would taste exactly the same. Kim tried it and immediately recognized the taste. Charlie asked if it was similar, the manager said. "This is the taste that Kim can't forget," Kim said. "Thank you for helping him feel this taste again. It's a delicious but painful taste because it's the same," Kim added. The manager asked why there was a kimchi stalk there. Kim said that when there is no money, everything goes to waste. Kim asked. Charlie brewed it to remind him of this, as he guessed. Charlie replied that the memories were all Kim's memories. Then Kim asked what Charlie was talking about, and Charlie replied, it was Kim who bought these products, a few weeks later. Charlie asked Kim to appear on the show, and the director agreed to film an episode about cooking and calligraphy in Cheongsawon. Also, at his request, the chef and the owner helped with the preparation of traditional food. More influential bloggers and YouTubers visited the place and shared their opinions in videos. They actively praised the beauty and traditions of Korea, and with the help of his friends, he saved Cheongsawon, which was on the verge of extinction. Thus Cheongsawon became a popular destination for tourists from all over the world. And while Charlie has no filming to do, in order to find the source of the power of his book of experience, he goes to China. Charlie flew to China and thought that this was not how he had imagined the village, and the mountain itself had not changed in 500 years. He climbed the mountain when suddenly he heard screams. He ran up and saw that the child was lying covered in blood. Charlie asked what happened. The child replied, "A wild boar attacked." Charlie thought it hit him in the stomach. Unfortunately, Charlie didn't take a needle with him. Then he noticed a river nearby and decided to wash the wound. Charlie did so. Then people ran up and the grandmother rushed to the child. The man asked who he was. Charlie introduced himself and said that he specializes in Oriental medicine. Then the man asked if he could help the child. Charlie said that for this, he needed some herbs. He wrote the title and asked the man to hurry. The granny asked him to save her grandson. Charlie thought, there's nothing he can do now. He'll try to use the power of the wind. Then he took some hair from his granny and somehow made a needle out of it to help. Charlie asked to move away a little. The child needed air. There was still something that needed to be done. The child woke up and Charlie asked. He said a boar attacked him. The child said he went to the mountains to collect herbs. But the boar appeared out of nowhere. Charlie said if he felt like vomiting, he shouldn't hold back. Charlie hit him on the back and the child coughed up blood. But everything went according to plan, Charlie asked. How is he? Is it easier to breathe now? The child answered. Yes. After providing first aid, it would be nice to try to heal the wounds. There were wounds on his stomach, but no internal organs were damaged. Charlie realized this when he touched it. Then a man came running and said, "Here are the herbs the doctor asked for." Charlie thanked him. Charlie mixed the herbs with water and placed them on the child's wounds, then bandaged the wounds. The grandmother asked what was wrong with her grandson. Charlie replied that he had done everything he could. He would heal in a few days. Then they thanked Charlie for his help. Charlie asked if he had anywhere to spend the night. There was a hotel nearby. The man said he was the village headman and he could spend the night with him. Charlie replied, "Okay." Then the man picked up the child and asked Charlie to follow him, Charlie thought. In this village he will try to solve the mystery of the Book of Experience. Charlie asked what it was. The man said, "The old library. It's a place where bachelors who studied in the village keep books they don't need. These books are over 500 years old, but they are well preserved." Charlie asked if he could read them. The man replied, "Of course, it's a diary." Night fell, and Charlie continued to read books. The village was attacked, and when he came out, Eugene was fighting with masked men. The man hit all the ninjas and told his students to find shelter immediately. The shamans were attacked. The diary ended, Charlie thought. And that's it. This is a book about martial arts. Then Charlie took out the experience book from his backpack and asked him if there was experience in fighting enemies among the experience reserves. The book answered, yes. The book contains the experience of dynastic wars. And then Charlie learned something interesting. It turned out that that same Eugene was the owner of this book of experience. Then Charlie decided to find out about the owner of the book.